Hello everyone, welcome to whatifissei becomes the strongest Red Dragon Emperor Part 4. Chapter 17. Summertime Barback Part 2. The beating he deserved. Issei's POV. It's me up against 16 weak devils. I can totally do that. I didn't expect Riaz to use the card. The only way she should have needed to use it is if they were getting overwhelmed. Which is what happened. I guess this guy cheated and used his family for his selfish needs. Herr Iser. I called out to him. He looked towards me, meaning I now have his attention. How does it feel? You're about to be humiliated in front of basically the entire underworld. I told him. I could tell that he wasn't going to have it. Here's what's going to happen. I began. I snapped my fingers and Issei and Cherry appeared. What's up? Cherry asked. Hey. Issei said as she took off her headphones. I need you two to make sure no one escapes. And I mean no one. I demanded. Yes, Issei. They responded to me in unison. Riaz and everyone else was getting treated for their injuries. Which luckily were minor thanks to all of our training. Kaneko woke up. She had a bandage over her head because she got tag teamed on with no energy left to fight. She looked up and saw that Riaz, Akeno and Asia were in the room. President Kaneko tried to call out to her. Luckily she was loud enough that she was able to hear her. Kaneko. Riaz walked to her because she couldn't run. What are you doing here? Did we lose? Kaneko asked her waiting for her to answer. No. We didn't lose yet. I'm pretty sure we're going to win. Riaz smiled at her. What? But you're here. Doesn't that mean that you gave up? She asked. No. I did not give up. Kaneko pointed towards the television in the room showing a stream. What's that? She asked. That's Issei. Riaz answered her. What? What's he doing here? Were we not good enough? She looked down at the hospital blanket disappointed in herself. Don't say that. You fought very well. You've exceeded my expectations, Kaneko. You were able to take on 5 of them. Don't feel bad. Riaz said trying to comfort her. Well, what's going to happen now? Kaneko asked. Well, they're Issei's problem now. So I'm afraid whatever he has in store for them is going to be horrible. But let's be glad it's them and not us. Riaz said to her. Yeah. He deserves it anyway. He's a big cheater. Kaneko reminded her. And that too. Riaz chuckled. Riaz and everyone turned their heads to the screen waiting for something to happen when suddenly Sona and her peerage walked in. Riaz. Sona greeted her. Hey Sona. What are you doing here? Riaz asked Sona. Well, I'm sorry that game went the way it did. You and your peerage should be very proud of yourselves. Sona praised Riaz's peerage for putting up a good fight. Thanks Sona. Riaz thanked her. So what happened? Sona asked her. I don't want to say right now. Riaz answered her. Well, when the match is over, they're going to question you about what happened. Sona reminded her. Well, let's just sit back and enjoy watching Riser's pride get crushed. Riaz said as she turned her head to the screen. I totally agree. Sona said. Saji sat on Kiba's hospital bed to watch it and everyone else found a spot in the room to watch the show. Surziches and Grafia were completely shocked by what just happened. They stared at each other in complete shock. Grafia. What's the Red Dragon Emperor doing here? He asked her. I have no clue Lord Surziches. It seems he's came here to save your sister from her planned marriage. Grafia answered his question. Grafia. Do you perhaps know anything about Riaz having a relationship with the Red Dragon Emperor? Surziches asked her. I do. Remember that Issei she was talking about? Grafia asked him trying to remind him. Yes. He's the Red Dragon Emperor. I bet her feelings for him are still sticking to him even though he's what he is. Surziches said. I mean, he's powerful, he's nice. Nice? Surziches questioned. While his past behavior shows that he kills without reason, he shows that he isn't like that anymore. Grafia answered him. Hey Kreiser for example, I told you about what he did to him, right? Grafia asked him. Yes. You did. I believe you showed me a video in full detail. Surzich responded to her. See? Riser attacked him first. So he didn't attack him without reason. Grafia made a point. I guess you're right. And like you said, it would be good to have him on our side. Surziches said. And in case you need any more proof of their relationship, Grafia pulled up the stream on the screen. The title of it was Saving the Ruined Princess. I guess they do love each other. Surziches concluded. Should I stop the rating game? Grafia asked. No. I want to see what he does. Surziches answered. Yes. Grafia bowed and then sat back in her chair next to him to watch the show. Look everyone. This time, we're dealing with the Phoenix family. They have cheated in a rating game against a first-timer with no experience. What do you think should happen to them? I asked the stream. The chat started to give many ideas as to what I should do to them. Drown them? That's pretty ironic. Sure. I snapped my fingers and then everyone was trapped inside of a tank. They all knew how to swim, but there was no way for them to get any air. They couldn't use any of their magic before they're all engulfed in water. Look. Is that what you wanted? The entire live stream full of about 550,000 people watched them beg for air and try to use their powers to get out. They all died slow and painful deaths. I snapped my fingers and brought them all back to life with ease. You thought that was going to be it? Oh no. I have a show to put on for 500,000 people. People want to see you die. I want to see you die. Why? It's because you're all scum. I'm pretty sure everyone watching this will agree in one way or another. I said. The chat started to spam stuff like agreed and totally. See? Look how much people hate you. They're gonna hate you a lot more after this. I said. Please. Spare us. Riser was now on his knees. Look at the scum begging for his life. You shut your fucking mouth. I snapped my fingers and brought back the butt face. Look. You're getting embarrassed. All of the people watching this are laughing at you. Not with you. I find it hard to believe that you've won anything in your life. Look at you. All of you are at my mercy. I decide whether you live or die. I said to them, putting fear in all of their hearts. Alright. What should I do to them next? I asked the stream. People once again started to spam their suggestions in the chat. I saw one that really stuck out to me for all the wrong reasons. It was a gross but probably one that they would deserve. Put shit in their mouths and make them chew and swallow it. That's absolutely disgusting. Sure. I said nonchalantly as I snapped my fingers once again. Shit was summoned into all of their mouths. Issei, Cherry. Bring me the one in the pink dress. I demanded. Issei nodded and began to levitate her over to me. Ravel was the only one who hadn't been suffering my punishments. Please. Stop this. Ravel begged. I'm afraid I can't do that. You're lucky I like you a little. You get to sit right here and watch the magic happen. I said, placing her in a cage in the air above everyone. Meanwhile, everyone else was too busy choking on shit. Issei, Cherry. Make sure they don't spit it out. Make sure they swallow all of it. I demanded of them. They both nodded and got back to watching them chew and swallow it. They made sure to keep a very close eye on Riser. By the time Riser was done, everybody had sickened expressions on their faces. Meanwhile, the live chat was cheering me on and still giving me more suggestions. Please. No more. Riser begged on everyone's behalf. Doesn't sound sincere enough. And be happy I'm not the one choosing what happens to you. Because I was the one deciding what happened to you, believe when I say, I would have left you dead. I gave him a hard kick to his stomach. This made him gag really hard. So hard in fact that he began to throw up. All the shit that he swallowed in its chunks were seen. Alright. New suggestions anyone? I asked talking to the live stream. There was one getting requested an awful lot. This request seemed to date back to when I broke out all the devils from those torture prisons. But what I did with those fall into them? What do you mean? I sat there wondering for a moment what they were talking about. It then hit me like a boulder. Oh. That. Sure, I guess. Usually, I don't like to go that far, but I'm going to honest, I was kind of thinking of that too. Guess we think alike, huh? Alright. I snapped my fingers and summoned some large naked goblins. You know what to do. I said, signaling them towards the bunch of girls in front of them. Here's your torture warning. Make sure you give them the most miserable time ever. I demanded. All the goblins nodded towards me and began to slowly make their hicks harder. No. We will not have those large monsters inside of us. Eubeluna tried to use her magic but discovered that she couldn't. What? She wondered with a shocked expression. Oh, yeah. I yawned. I forgot that I disabled your use of magic just now. I revealed to them. What? Nai said. She watched as the goblin approached her. One blow from a goblin's breath was all it took to rip all of their clothes off. What? What is happening? Riser wondered. In case you thought that was going to happen to you, it's not. I said. For some reason, he seemed relieved by this. What are you sighing for? I have something way worse for you. As I was talking to him, a goblin approached him and ripped his arms off. Riser screamed in pain. Yeah. It's not just that. There's a lot more to look forward to, so make sure you stay alive. That was a joke. I hope you die from this. I said. How do you like? It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Please stop. I beg of you. I'm begging you please. Eubeluna screamed in nothing but pain. There was nothing but pure pain in her voice. These are the sounds I've wanted to hear from them. The sound of their first time getting taken from them in the most forceful way possible is the best. More screams would soon follow after that. Odd, I really hope Asia isn't watching this. I thought to myself. If Asia saw something like this, it could scar her for the rest of her life. The goblins continued to shove their hard cocks into the virgin pussies. Their pussies were not even wet, so they were getting scaped inside. No. 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 Please. We beg of you please. Let us go. Eubeluna continued to try and beg her way out of this. It's not going to work. Here. Let's get a closer look. I said, getting closer to them. The sounds of their pussies getting teared open and Riser getting beaten was the absolute best. Look. There's blood coming from there. I was right. There was a lot of blood leaking from their pussies. The goblins were relentless with them, showing them no mercy as I expected them to. Alright. I think it's time for anal. I decided. I looked towards the direction where the screaming was coming from. Oh. You all don't want to see that. Riser just got his hick bitten off. I said. The stream was really interested and wanted to see it. I'm sure I've already violated multiple guidelines on super media. So why not break a few more, huh? I moved my camera towards Riser. His hick was missing from in between his legs. Blood was gushing out from where it used to be. Everyone else was getting hicks plunged into their asses. You can hear the pain in their voices. Well, I think that this is fun, it's about time they got an unwanted pregnancy. I snapped my fingers and all the goblins came inside of the girls. The goblin that bit Riser's hick off decided to improvise and pee on him instead. Oh no. We'll get pregnant. Please. Il and Nell begged. They were all dropped to the floor once the goblins finished coming inside of them. Ape over. Still more torture though. I snapped my fingers and they were now completely healed up like nothing happened. Well, they were no longer virgins. So I guess that's the only thing that's changed. Okay. One more suggestion. I kept looking at chat for a suggestion. This last one that I picked looked like a good one. Overwhelm them using my aura. Sure. I began to exert some of my aura. I exerted too much, making them faint. Oops. I used too much. Don't worry, they're fine. I snapped my fingers and they were electrocuted awake. Alright. Time for some of my own fun. I said. Before I began, I felt someone tap me on my shoulder. To my surprise, it was Issei and Cherry. They both went up to each of my ear and whispered the same thing into both of my ears. Wow. It's that bad? I asked them. They both nodded in unison. I guess I have to wrap this up quickly then. Riser was listening to what I was saying. He was a bit relieved to hear that it would be over soon. Don't you dare think for a second that it's going to get less painful from here. That's just what I can do to you physically. I said as I summoned my pistol and began to shoot everyone in their leg. They all screamed in pain as the bullets hit their leg. Please. Stop this, Red Dragon Emperor. I'm begging you. Ravel begged as she shook her cage. You like that? Those are light bullets. My hatred used to be towards fallen angels. Now I realize that it's devils like you that make the underworld how it is. Look at how cocky you were before and during the fight. The moment Riaz used that card, her trump card as you could call it, you started to get scared. You got that piss you pants feeling like the first time we met. I explained to him. You're nothing but a hussy. It's not the fallen I should have had a hate for, it's the devils. No matter what, you're all the same. What's the point of trying to change a world that doesn't want to change? Huh? I asked Riser. Riser was completely in shambles. He did not know what to say. You think that you run this world, you have every little thing at your fingertips. Well, guess what, you don't have control over anything. You want to know why? It's because I'm here. I have all the power I need to destroy this entire world and everything in it. I've met Office, you know. She's absolutely nothing compared to me. Riser sat there with his pride completely shattered. He was about to cry. He began to make little sob sounds for the stream to hear. Oh, look. He's crying. Are you sure you want to cry in front of almost 1 million people? I asked him. That question didn't stop him from bawling his eyes out. I didn't speak for a second. I decided to let him cry for a few minutes and let him realize where he is. His entire peerage watched him cry like he had never done before. That's right. Look back at how many people you've made fun of. Just because they don't have the same things you do, or because they're not as talented as you. Or maybe because they're different from you. I said to him. Riser's peerage now had all their eyes directed towards him. Let me tell you something. I was once a boy. I was happy. Nothing more, nothing less. I would smile at any situation that came my way. I was often made fun of for it. Not only that, but my voice used to sound like this. I then played a 3-second clip of my old voice. Hey, Mom. Can I go outside and play with Arena again please? The recording played and then ended. I looked down at the chat and saw them laughing at my old voice. To be honest, I can't blame them. If I could laugh at me, I would. Yes. It did sound like that. I didn't ask for much. All I'd ask for was that. To play with my only friend. She sadly moved away after some time. Fast forward to a few years later. About a year or so ago. I got followed home by a devil. I know because she made a mistake and I ended up catching her. I didn't know at the time she was a devil, so I helped her with her injury and she went along with her day. I added to my story. I get home I paused for a moment. I found out that two fallen angels had murdered my parents. I found out it was because of me. They were everything to me. Just taken from me. Just like that. But you know what I did? I asked him. He nodded his head no. I found out I was the Red Dragon Emperor. I also met someone else. He said he'd give me all the power I would ever need. But I would have to work for it. I worked as hard as I could every day of my life from that day forward. From that day, I was brought into a world I wanted no part of. I said to him. Well, I'm sorry about your parents. Riser was interrupted by a light shot to his chest. He screamed in pain. I didn't ask for your sympathy. Nor do I want it. Shut up, you stupid devil. This is how you all live. This is why you're all the way you are. It's because you didn't have to work for anything a day in your life. I said to him. You high-class status, that was handed to you. Your peerage, they were handed to you. You're nothing but a worthless piece of shit who's never had to work for anything a day in his life. I lost an eye. I had to give up my humanity to be where I am now. I can't laugh, I can't smile, nor can I yell. What have you given up? Your virginity? I bet it's not even worth much. I said to him. Riser started to ball up his fists. What are you, a worthless piece of shit, going to do to me? Hit me? Go ahead then. Give me an excuse to wipe out every single devil in this damn world. But you don't care, do you? I asked him. I'm sure your ego's that big that you don't care about anything or anybody else, do you? You're that selfish. Because that's what your peerage is all about. If Riser says suck his hick, then I must. That's how it works, isn't it? They're too busy working to satisfy your every little need. I bet you've never even had to cook a day in your life. I had to hunt for my food. Every little thing I had to save it for when I needed it. But what the fuck does your family know about saving? I said to him straight in his face. You're set up an arranged marriage to a girl who wanted nothing to with you. In fact, why did you want her? Was it her personality? Was it how nice she treated everyone she ran into? Or was it the thought of her hussy on your tiny hicket for you? She doesn't care about you. She doesn't give a flying motherfucking dog shit about you. Why the fuck do you think she was with me all the time? It's because I cared for her. And she cared for me. I explained to him. But don't you already have those two succubus to milk you dry? He asked me, trying to argue with me. I had to put him back into his place, so I shot him in the foot. This is not how this is going to go. This isn't an argument. I'm speaking, and you're listening. I made it clear to him. He nodded in response to what I said. You don't even care about her. You just wanted to fuck her. If I asked you right now what her best quality was, I bet my whole life that you would say it's her hussy. Am I right? I asked him. He slowly nodded his head yes to my question. Come on, man. It's clearly her breasts. I joked. Wah, hey. Ria suddenly covered her subconsciously. I'm joking. Obviously. But that still doesn't change the fact that you don't get it. You see women as objects. Nothing more, nothing less. That's what's wrong with you. You need to get it through your thick skull. I'm pretty sure it's not your fault. I said. Riser put his head back up, wondering what I meant. I'm sure your parents are just as bad, you know what? Let's not go there. I mean, if I'm talking about one of you, then I'm pretty much talking about all of you. I declared. Riser was completely speechless from everything I just said. Everything I said to him made sense, and it was true. He hadn't worked for anything he had now. So? How do you feel? I asked him. Destroyed. Like I don't matter. Like no one's ever loved or cared about me. He answered as he was about to break down again. Exactly. Because it's all true. You don't matter. Not to me at least. I could give less than a dog's ass about you. You've proven yourself to be scum by trying to cheat against someone with no experience whatsoever. Now for my last question. Why? Would you do it? I mean, surely he has a reason for doing what did, right, stream? I asked, talking to both Riser and the stream. Riser sat there speechless. He didn't have an answer, nor did he have an excuse for what he did. Which is what me and everyone else expected. Now get up. I demanded. Riser did as I demanded him to do. Drop all the phoenix tears on you. Now. I demanded. About 30 vials dropped from his shirt and pants. You little trash bag. You were trying to assure your victory, weren't you? I asked him. He didn't respond to me. Look at that. Well, you know there are consequences for cheaters. My large dragon wings sprouted from behind my back. I flapped my wings and everybody was sent flying into the ground, including Ravel, who I trapped in a cage. Lord Risery, everyone. Knocked out. Even Grafia was a little stunned by what just happened. Alright. Come on. You must pay for your actions. I grabbed him by his hair and threw him across the field. He wasn't even trying to defend himself anymore. Come on, it's not fun for me anymore. Everyone wants to see how powerful you are. That's what it's about, right? I asked, summoning my flames. I threw one towards him for fun and it just bounced off him as it was supposed to do. He didn't even flinch. He really broke him. He's not even himself anymore. He won't defend himself. Wow, he's really done it. Sona said to Riaz. Yeah. But I can't help but feel just a bit bad for him. That was a lot for him to take in. Riaz said to her. Yeah. Let's just see it until it ends. Sona and Riaz continued to watch what was going to happen. You give up? I asked, holding him up by his hair. Iris ein, he muttered. As he was starting to disappear from the arena, I made sure to tell him one last thing. You should kill yourself where no one will find you. I told him. And with that, he disappeared from the arena for treatment. Well, no treatment's going to heal what I did to him. Lord Issei wins the game for Lady Riaz. Grafia announced. The stream was cheering for my victory in the chat. Well, I'm afraid that's it for this one. See you all later. I said goodbye to everyone as I stopped the stream. Come on, Cherry. Yurei. Let's leave this place. I opened a magic circle and walked through it. Cherry and Yurei followed me through. And with that, he's gone. Congratulations, Riaz. You won. Sona congratulated her friend on her victory. Thank you, Sona. She said to her as her peerage left the room. Thank you, Issei. Riaz thought to herself. I guess torture part is over too. Issei's residence. We just got home from the raiding game. It was weird. Why would he cheat if she had no experience? I guess it's because I was teaching them, huh? He should have just accepted his loss and moved on. Well done, you two. I praised Cherry and Yurei for following my demands. Now. I'll be sure to listen to both of your requests after I shower. I said as I headed upstairs to my room. Hey mom. Hey dad. I greeted them as I headed upstairs. Hey. Yurei greeted them. Hi, you three. You should probably go shower with him. My mom suggested to them. Yeah. I love it when your mom and I bath together. My dad tried to convince them. Cherry and Yurei looked at each other and nodded. I was now in the shower. I had a lot of stuff that I needed to wash off of me, so I started with my body. As I was about to start, I heard multiple footsteps coming from the door. Hey. Cherry greeted me from the door in her towel. Yurei and Cherry are coming in. Yurei said. What? I wondered. Let us clean you? Cherry suggested. Fine. I sighed and allowed them to do what they wanted. It has been a while since we've all bathed together. So I decided to allow it. Okay, then. Cherry and Yurei let the bath towels off and hopped into the bath with me. Here. I'll wash your back. Cherry said as she rubbed her breasts full of shampoo and began to rub my back with them. What kind of washing method is this? I asked her. Yurei will wash Issei's front. Yurei said with shampoo in her hand. She rubbed her hands full of shampoo and began to lather my head with it. At least Yurei's acting normal. I thought out loud. What's that supposed to mean? Cherry took offense to what I said. Come on. You know what I meant by that. I said to her. She got back to rubbing my back. Yurei knew what she was doing, so she was able to move very fast. She was already down to my abdominals. Cherry was trying to have a little fun. That's just how it was. No one said anything for the most part. We just enjoyed each other's company. Yurei's gotten to Issei's penis. She felt the need to announce it. I'll do that myself. I think I should clean you too now. I suggested. I grabbed some shampoo, rubbed it in my hands, and then started to lather it in their hair. I made sure to get all of the dirt of their hair. We were outside a lot after all. After I finished washing their hair, I moved on to their bodies. I began with their neck, slowly transitioning my hands lower the more I cleaned them. Issei. Are you trying to clean us or arouse us? Cherry asked as she moaned from me rubbing her breasts. How do you know I'm not trying to do both? I asked her as I continued to rub their breasts. Yurei started to moan a little bit also. I was soon done with their breasts and I soon got to their butts. Wait, stop, Yurei begged me. What? I'm just cleaning you too. Nothing weird going on here. I said, acting casual about it. Time skip. Soon, we were out of the bath. I chose not to wear a shirt because it makes sleeping easier. Even though it's not even 9 p.m. yet, I still feel tired after what happened. I walked into the room with Cherry and Yurei waiting for me in the bed. We've been waiting for you. Cherry told me when I walked in. I know. I said to her. Both sat up from their positions on the bed and removed their pajamas. Their huge breasts couldn't be contained by their pajamas. We want you, Issei. It's been a while since we've done it. Cherry said to me. I guess she was right about that. Alright, then. Did you take it? I asked them. They knew what I was talking about. Of course. We don't want to have one yet. Cherry said. Okay, then. I laid my back onto the bed. Come on. Let's do it. I said. Cherry smiled excited and Yurei kept her smug expression. I could tell she was happy though. Here's your lemon warning. I watched them undo my pants and my hick sprang back up from its place. Wow. I forgot how big it was. Cherry said. Issei was already ahead of her. Issei began by licking the tip. Cherry went for my long shaft. I don't know why, but it feels a lot better than it should. Did these two practice? Why does it feel so good? I asked. I looked at them and I saw them smiling at me. Like they knew something I didn't. But I didn't have any time to think. I was too busy focusing on what these two were doing to me. Every time I try hold back, my body doesn't let me. Issei? How do you feel? Issei asked me as she began licking circles around my tip. She was also doing it extremely fast. I feel good. I answered her question. You wanna hum? I bet you wanna hum, don't you? Cherry stopped using her mouth and began to stroke my hick very slowly. She began to slowly speed up her pace. Oh. Shit. I said. It's okay. Let it out all wherever you want. Cherry teased me. Issei then began to lick my tip faster than ever before. And Cherry was stroking my hick very fast. No one would be able to survive this kind of stimulus. Crap. I'm coming. Out of pure instinct, I grabbed Issei's head and shoved my hick down her throat. I then let out all my hymen down her throat. I could feel her throat tightening up from me shoving my hick inside it. This made me want to hum down her throat even more. You better drink all of it. I demanded from her. I slowly took my hick out of her mouth. She was sucking the tip of my hick dry of anything it had left. After she did, I pulled my hick out of her mouth. She then proceeded to swallow all of my hymen that I poured down her throat. She opened her mouth to reveal that she drank all of it. Ah. I drank all of it. She said to me. Good. Now I believe it's time for the main course. What do you two think? I asked them. They both nodded their heads yes rapidly. Alright. Both of you. Get on your stomachs. I demanded of them. They both nodded and got on their stomachs, revealing their soft and tender asses. I guess it's been a while since you two have had a filling, hasn't it? I asked them. They were both like dogs in heat. They were both panting erotically. Well, don't worry. I'm going to fuck you both so hard, your legs will start to shake. I playfully threatened them. I guess your pussies are ripe and ready to go. I said. I took my hick and began to tease Cherry's hussy by rubbing our parts together. What are you waiting for? Hurry. She demanded. Wow. You really want it that bad? I teased her. Yes. I do. I want your huge hick inside my hussy. Please. She begged me. As you wish. Not giving her any time to think, I picked her up by her arms and shoved my hick into her hussy. I. Yes. She screamed out of pure pleasure. Wow. Your hussy is so tight. It's been so long since we've done it, hasn't it? Have you been holding back all this time? I asked her. Yes. We've been holding back from masturbating just for this. It was so worth it. She moaned loudly. Well, guess what, I'm going to make sure this is the best sex you two ever have. I said as I began to thrust into her hussy rapidly. She made lots of moaning sounds. It was like music to my ears. It's happening again. I feel like coming even though I'm holding back a lot. I pinned her down to the bed and continued to thrust into her. I decided to knead her breasts as I continued to feed pleasure to her hussy. No. Not my breasts. It's too much. She moaned. Is it now? I teased her. I began to thrust even faster into her. This is the fastest I've ever thrusted into them. No. I can't take it anymore. I'm coming. Ah. I could feel her hussy tightening and her legs beginning to shake. I continued thrusting into her, not letting rest. Her legs continued shaking as I continued thrusting into her. This is your sweet spot, isn't it? I can tell because your moaning gets louder every time I poke at it. I pointed out to her. I don't know anything about that, she said to me. All I can think about is coming. Oh no, it's happening again. Cherry screamed in pleasure once again. I can't get enough of these two. I'm coming. She screamed as her legs began to convulse again. How have you not came yet? Cherry asked as she continued coming from my hick. So you two have done something. What is it? I asked them. We just wanted to make you feel good. You're always looking out for us. Always taking care of us. So we decided to try making something that would make your erogenous zones really sensitive. We're sorry. I'm coming again. She moaned as she apologized to me. Don't worry about it. I'm very close to my limit. Wait, I'm closer than I thought. I'm coming. I said as I let out all my hymen inside Cherry's convulsing hussy. No. This is too much. I can't take it. What's happening to me? Cherry asked me. I also did something to you. Remember the pill that you had to take before this? I asked Cherry. Yes. What about it? Ah. It's still happening. She screamed. It makes it so not only do you not get pregnant, but the orgasms you have also feel almost 50 times better. I explained to her as I kept on letting my hymen out into her womb. Her hussy wouldn't stop convulsing. So it made me keep coming inside her. Eventually her orgasm calmed down, and so did my ejaculation. Her hussy was not gonna let go of my hick. I had to forcefully remove myself off of her. "Thank you so much," Issei Cherry muttered as she started to fall asleep with heman inside of her. All the heman that was stored inside of her started to overflow and spilt onto the bed sheets. "I'm sorry, Issei. It's spilling out of me. I don't have any energy to do anything about it." She apologized as she finally fell asleep. I put the blanket over her and kissed her as she fell asleep. "No need to apologize," I said to her. "Issei. Yurei is still here. Yurei reminded me." "I know. How could I forget about you?" I questioned her before I gave her a straight kiss on her lips. She was quick to return it, and that started our 5-minute makeout session. She made sure she held on tight to me. We soon had to break our lips apart. "I want it," she said as she began to slowly stroke my hick. "Yes. I know you do. Come on. Let's head to the other bed and let her sleep," I suggested. She nodded and I carried her over to one of the other beds in the room. I made sure to place her gently onto her back. "Are you ready?" I asked her. She nodded her head yes. I immediately shoved my hick into her. Her body was twitching after I put it inside her. "Did you just hum?" I asked her. "It can't be helped. It's been so long since we've done it," Yurei told me. "Well. Are you ready to have the best sex of your life?" I asked her. "I should be asking you that," she answered. "Here I go," I told her. I began to slowly thrust into her like I did to Cherry. She didn't moan as much because she was a lot more quiet than Cherry, but her face was still easy to read. The sound of my hick slamming against her hussy echoed throughout the room. "Oh no. I'm coming," she said. Her hussy began to convulse just like Cherry's, and her legs were starting to shake like crazy too. "No. I want this to last longer." "But it's your hick. I can't take it anymore," Yurei began to moan a bit louder than she usually did. I couldn't help but be turned on by the fact that she's been trying to hide her moans. It shows that she's feeling good. "Do you want this to end?" I asked Yurei. "I think yes. Can we please do it some other time? When I have more energy?" she asked me. "Of course. We can do it anytime you want," I answered her. She seemed to smile at me after I gave her this answer. "Okay. That makes me happy. Now hurry up and give me all of your heman," Yurei demanded. "Okay. Fine." I began to thrust very fast into her. I couldn't even pay attention to my pattern. I was getting distracted by her boobs bouncing from her thrusting into her. "I can't hold back anymore. I'm coming," I said as I let out my load into her hussy. I could feel her squeezing onto me as I let out all my heman inside her. After I let out all my heman inside her, she lost her grip and fell onto the sheets of the bed. I could hear her panting heavily. "That was so good. Yurei is satisfied," she mumbled as she fell asleep. I decided to put her next to Cherry so they would have each other's company while they slept. I of course left some space for me to be in between them. I gently hugged them as they went to sleep. "Lemon over, I wonder how the others are doing. I should probably start cooking dinner," I said as I hopped out of bed. After the rating game third person's POV, Riaz and the others were getting ready to leave. They had to leave and head back to Issei's house. Since that's where they lived now. They were happy that they won the game. As things were going the way everyone hoped, a magic circle opened in the room. Two people appeared once the magic circle closed. Brother Riaz greeted him. "Good day, Riaz." Surziches greeted her back. "First. I came to congratulate you all for your first rating game victory," Surziches announced to them. They were all happy, but they knew he didn't come here for just that alone. "Thank you, brother. Now what have you really come here for?" Riaz demanded to know. Surziches slightly flinched at Riaz's aggressiveness towards him. "Is it okay if I talk to you alone?" he requested. "Sure. Everyone, go on without me. And if I don't catch up with you all, tell Issei that I'll be home later," Riaz told everyone. Surziches was caught slightly off guard hearing that everyone was living with Issei. "Riaz. I want you to know that I know about your relationship with the Red Dragon Emperor and that he helped you win the rating game." Surziches started. "Yes. What of it?" Riaz asked with her arms crossed looking away from his direction. Riaz was slightly annoyed. "And I want you to know that I approve of your relationship," Surziches said with a smile. "Wait. Really?" Riaz was caught off guard by his words. "Of course," Surziches said to her sister. "Thank you, brother. Thank you." Riaz ran up to Surziches and gave him a big loving and appreciative hug. "Of course. That's why the next thing I'm gonna say is really hard." Surziches prepared her sister for what she was about to say. "I'm afraid I need you to keep an eye on him," Surziches said to her. "Wait, you mean like spy on him?" "No. I'm not doing that, brother. Why would you ask such a thing?" Riaz was now getting angry. "You saw what he did to Rizer, right?" Surziches asked her trying to make a point. "We all did, brother. He broadcasted the whole thing to the whole underworld. But he deserved it," Riaz said. "Well, I do agree that Rizer did deserve it, it's still not an excuse for him to be doing that." Matter of fact, how did he even get into the game? Surziches asked her. Riaz was quick to show the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Riaz pulled out the card that she used to summon Issei into the game. This is a card that Issei gave me. You'll have to ask him how it works. He likes to keep what he does to himself. Riaz handed the card over to Grafia. Grafia brought the card over to Surziches and they both began examining the card. They couldn't find anything on how it works just by looking at it. Look, Riaz. You know how dangerous he is to everyone and everything he touches. And I know you heard what he said while he was breaking down Riser's pride. I'm just worried about you, Riaz. I don't want him to hurt you. Surziches explained his thoughts to her. I know you're worried about me, brother. But please trust me when I say he would never hurt me. He's very protective over the things he cares about. You should know that about him. Riaz said, trying to defend Issei. Look. All I ask is that you and your servants be careful around him. Surziches tried to warn her sister. Riaz sighed and then said. Fine. I promise to be careful. Riaz assured her older brother. And we're going to keep the card. We need to examine it to get more information on the Red Dragon Emperor. Is that okay? Surziches asked for her permission. Sure. She answered. Well, I believe that's all we came for. We'll see you later, Riaz. Surziches said as Grafia opened up a magic circle. They both disappeared along with the magic circle formed the room. Be careful, huh? Riaz thought to herself out loud. I'm skip Issei's POV. I was busy cooking dinner. I decided that chicken would be a perfect fit, seeing that I roasted the shit out of the bird. I made sure to make it all nice and crispy. Oh shit. I might have made a little bit too much. I said as I looked at the serving plate full of chicken. While I was complaining about the fact that I had so much chicken, I heard a knock at the door. Wonder who that could be, I thought as I walked over to the door and opened it. Behind it revealed Kiba, Kaneko, Asia, Riaz and Akeno. The whole gang was there. Wow. You're all he. I was interrupted by Riaz suddenly kissing me on my lips. I decided to return the kiss to her. Everyone watched as Riaz and I made out in front of the door. I decided to break away from the kiss. Oh my, President. Akeno said in her usual tone of voice. Wow. Welcome back to all of you, I guess. I welcomed them all back to the house. They all walked into the house. Good to be back. Kiba said. So what's for dinner? Kaneko asked me. Well, chicken. It's the perfect celebration for you winning your first rating game. I also made a lot, so feel free to dig in. I said. Everybody was celebrating the fact that they basically beat Riser. It was a day to celebrate. That's all we did for the rest of the day until 11 p.m. Everyone had already showered and were in bed. Even I was ready to sleep. That was until I heard a knock on my door. Come in. I said to whoever was on the other side of the door. The door opened, revealing that it was Riaz behind the door. Can we talk? She asked me. Me and Riaz were in my bed just making out with Yurei and Cherry by my side. I had her sit on my lap as I made out with her. She seemed really into the kiss. We even got to a point where we started to use our tongues. Our tongues danced together as we started to rub against each other. We continued to kiss until one of us eventually needed to breath. As expected, it was Riaz who broke the kiss. There was a little string of spit in between us. I licked my lips to get rid of it. I carefully waited for Riaz to say something after listening to her pant heavily after our kiss. You're really good at kissing. Riaz complimented me. Thank you. I accepted the compliment from her. She lapped on my lap in the silence with me. Hey Issei. She said, trying to get my attention. My attention was now on her. Would you ever hurt me? She asked me. Who wants to know? I asked her back. Damn it. I do, Issei. She fumed at me. I didn't even flinch. I could tell that she was worried about something. I carefully brought her in for a hug. I then carefully caressed her crimson red hair to calm her down. I would never hurt you, Riaz. Not you, not Akeno, or anyone in this peerage you have. They're all good people. I think you know that. I said, answering her question. Thank you. I wanted to know. And so did my brother. She revealed. Oh. I guess he told you to be careful around me, didn't he? I guessed. Yeah. He's worried about what would happen if I entered a relationship with you. She revealed to me. But did he accept it? I asked Riaz. Yes. Him and Grafia did accept our relationship. Riaz told me. Good. Now I don't have to kill them. I joked. Riaz chuckled a little at my joke. Please don't. Riaz said. That was the last thing she said before the room went completely silent once again. It stayed like that for a while. We listened to each other breathing. It was very relaxing for both of us. Issei. Thank you for everything. For getting me out of that marriage, for helping the others get stronger. I can't thank you enough. She said as she smiled at me. Don't worry. It's practically nothing. I said to her. Issei. I've decided. I want to give you all of me. I want you to accept me as a reward. she said as she began to undress herself. Starting from the top, working her way all the way down to her panties. At long last, she had everything off. It's not like I haven't seen her naked before. I've seen her naked plenty of times. I heard what you said when you were torturing Riser. Are my boobs really the best part of me? She asked, rubbing them onto me. I was joking, of course. Well, your body is great, the kindness you have and what you do with it is greater. I said to her. Thank you, Issei. Now, do you accept my reward? She asked me as she opened her arms up. Of course. I answered her. Here's another lemon warning. I pinned her down to the bed and began to massage her breasts. She began to moan, but noticed that she was moaning a little bit too loud. So she covered her mouth with her hand to muffle the moaning noises she was making. Don't worry. There's a noise barrier around us. You can make as much noise as you want. I said to her. She removed her hand from her mouth and started to moan like crazy. Your nipples are so erotic. I said to her as I began to pinch them lightly. No, please don't pinch them like that. She moaned as I continued to play with her nipples. I soon started to suck on them. Ria's moaning started to get even louder. You're beautiful, Ria's. I said as I continued to suck on her nipples. Your hands are so big that they cover my whole breast. Ria's said. I continued to experiment with what I could do with them. I fondled them, sucked on them, pinched them, and even managed to suck on them both at the same time. All while watching her moan like crazy. How long are you going to be doing this to my breasts? She asked as she continued to moan. As long as I want. I said. That's not what I meant. She said, which confused me. I want to use mouth. She said. We ended up switching positions to where I could fully see her hussy in front of my face. She took off my shorts and under them revealed my 12-inch hick. It's so big. This thing is going to go inside of me. I don't know why, but I can't wait. Riaz thought to herself. So what are you going to do? I asked her. I'm going to give you a blowjob. Courtesy of me. She immediately started licking the shaft of my hick, eventually getting to my tip and trying to swallow my whole hick. For her first time, she's doing really good. I thought to myself. I can't be the only one feeling good here. I said as I lifted her up to where she was still able to suck me off, but my face couldn't reach her hussy. What are you going to do? You can't lick me from there. She pointed out as she started to lick circles around the tip of my hick. Oh, that's no problem. My tongue extended from where it usually was. I was now able to control how long I could make my tongue. I started by licking her thighs, trying to tease her a little bit. Her responses were immediate. What is that? Is that his tongue? It feels so good. Riaz thought to herself. My tongue slowly made its way up to her hussy. His hick has a certain smell. But I like it. No, I love it. It's Issei's scent. Riaz thought to herself. I continued to lick at her hussy, occasionally sticking my tongue into her hussy just to get a taste of it from the inside. Ria's hussy tastes so good. And her hussy is starting to convulse. I think she's about to come. I thought. This made me start to go faster with how fast I licked her hussy. I could hear her moaning as she was sucking my hick. The sounds of her moans were something that I could never get tired of. Oh. I can't hold back anymore. I'm coming. She announced. That's right, Riaz. No need to hold back anymore. Spray everything onto me. I said to her. All of a sudden, Riaz began to squirt all over my face. After she was finished squirting, I let her down gently onto the bed. She looked at me with lust in her eyes. I gently let myself onto her for a kiss. She returned the kiss almost immediately. After kissing for a while, we separated our lips from each other. Issei. I want you. I absolutely need you. Please, she begged. Riaz. How much do you want my hick inside of you? I asked her. Right now. Please. We can do any position you want. I've been studying. Which one do you want to do? Her response was almost immediate. She asked me what position I wanted to do her in. Riaz, calm down. It's your first time. And I don't want to hurt you or for you to hurt yourself. Okay. So let's take it slow and do it just like this. I suggested. Okay. Sorry, Issei. It's just I've been wanting you to do this to me for so long that I lost control. Please forgive me. She apologized to me. Riaz looked up at me with hearts in her pupils. It was a cute sight to see. Okay then. Here I go. Are you ready? Oh. And take these. I don't want you to have child. Yet. I said. I gave her a pill and she swallowed it easily. So considerate of you, Issei. I hope that we get to a point where we can have a baby one day. Riaz hoped. We will. Trust me. Now are you ready? I asked her. Yes, Issei. I've been waiting all this time for you. Please give me your cock. She begged like a dog. Okay. As you wish. I carefully started to push my hick into her virgin hussy. I could feel my hick already reaching her hymen. As soon as I broke it, she screamed in pain. Issei. Don't move. Please. She screamed as she latched onto my back. It's okay, Riaz. You can tell me when I have to move. I told her. She nodded as tears started to stream down her face. I could tell she was scared. The pain of a girl losing her virginity is like no other. I decided to hug her back to help make the pain go away faster. Issei, she mumbled as more tears started to stream down her face. I helped get rid of some of the tears on her face. Don't cry. It ruins your beauty. Please. I said. Ria seems to have calmed down. How do you feel? I asked her. The pain isn't gone, but I think I can handle it. She said. Are you sure? Because your face says otherwise. I told her. Don't worry. This happens to all girls when they lose their virginity. I'm fine. She said as she wiped a tear off of her face. Please start, Issei. I want you to show me how much you truly love me. Ria said with her arms out, trying to invite me in. Okay. Here I go. I accepted her inviting hug. I began to move my hick in and out of her hussy, slowly trying not to hurt her in any way. She moaned, trying not to let any moans of pain come out. I think the pain's gone now. You can be a little rougher on me. Riaz told me. Are you sure? I asked her. Yes. Please make me feel the pleasures of being a woman. She requested to me. I started to move my hick faster. Her moaning started to become more apparent the more I moved. Yes. It's starting to feel good. She said. So does that mean I can shove the rest in? I asked her. What? What do you mean the rest? Riaz asked me. Only about half of it's inside right now. I'm going to put the rest inside of you now. Giving her almost no warning, I shoved my entire hick inside of her. I'm coming. She announced. I could feel her hussy convulsing with my hick inside of it. Watching Riaz in pure orgasm was one of the best things I've ever seen. Do you want to stop? I asked her. No way, I haven't made you come yet. She said. I don't care how many times you make me come, Issei. I want us to keep going until you let out your white love inside of me. Riaz said to me. Okay then. Let's keep going. I did as she asked me. I continued to fuck her in many positions. And no matter how many times she came, I just going just like she asked. How many times have you came now, Riaz? I asked her. I've lost count. She yelled in pleasure. I'm about to reach my limit. I'm going to let it all out. I announced to her. Really? Are you going to let it out? Hurry up then and let it out inside me. Hurry. Riaz really wanted me to come inside of her. After a few more thrusts, she got her wish. I'm coming. I then began to ejaculate lots of hymen into her hussy. Yes. It's finally here. You're pouring all of your white love into me. It feels so good. Riaz screamed out of pure pleasure. I could feel her tightening her hussy on purpose so that I would want to come more. Her trick worked as my ejaculation began to slowly fade away, but my massive orgasm stayed. After a few moments my orgasm started to fade away too. Riaz kissed me straight on my lips. I was quick to return the kiss to her. We continued to make out a lot before breaking our lips apart for the final time of the night. Riaz. I got her attention. I summoned a necklace and a ring. What are those? She asked me. It's jewelry that I give to my mates. I told her. Riaz couldn't believe what was happening. She covered her mouth in disbelief. Riaz. Will you become one of my mates and do you promise to stand by my side forever? I asked her. Tears began to stream down her face. Yes. 1,000,000 times yes. She answered me and gave me a bone-crushing hug. I put the necklace over her neck and the ring on her finger. It was the same process I did for Issei and Cherry. So now you belong to me. And I belong to you. I said, handing her a pawn piece. Wait, as this Riaz didn't know what to say. She was in complete shock. I heard you could use a pawn. I said. This piece will capture any being you want. Including me. It won't make a devil though. So don't expect me to become a devil. I explained how the piece worked to her. Issei, she gave me another hug. She decided to use the pawn piece on me because she had wanted me in her peerage for the longest time now. I guess this was like a dream come true for her. Well, I guess I'm a pawn now. Eight pawns exactly. I said. We got back to cuddling on the bed in silence. Congratulations, President. You got yourself a new pawn, a new boyfriend, and you lost your virginity to the person you loved. How lucky you are. Akeno laughed as she walked in. Akeno? What are you doing here? Riaz asked her. We came to see how you were feeling. Kaneko popped out from behind the door. Looks like you were feeling good. Kiba smiled at her. Wah, hey. All of you, back to bed. Riaz demanded. Oh my, I think we've made her angry. Akeno said as she and everybody else exited the room. Asia was asleep, I guess. Me and Riaz got locked on each other's eyes again. Thank you, Issei. Thank you for everything. Riaz thanked me. You're welcome, Riaz. I'll always be here to save you. Always. I promised her. We headed back to bed where Issei and Cherry were sleeping and we drifted off to sleep in each other's arms. Chapter 18. Hurt broke in Issei's trial. Issei's POV. They say everything you do will come back to bite you one day. I just didn't expect that the thing that was going to bite me would be a girl. I was in my regular sleeping position. Me and Riaz finished doing it to each other for the night. Issei and Cherry seem to think I'm food. The reason why I'm thinking that is because right now they're chewing my arms. It didn't hurt, it was just kind of annoying. What are you two doing? I asked them as I rose awake. Huh? Oh. Cherry was first to wake up. She noticed that she was chewing on my arm. She thought it wouldn't be a problem for me and decided to continue gnawing at my arm. This time you know you're doing it. That's enough. I gave them a hit on their heads to get them to stop. Issei woke up and realized that she too was gnawing on one of my arms. You two, go get ready. We unfortunately have to go to school. I told them. They nodded and headed to the bathroom to get ready. I stayed in bed and watched Riaz sleep. Riaz yawned and stretched her arms as she woke up. She looked around the room and saw that I was looking at her. Good morning, my pawn. Riaz greeted me according to my piece in her peerage. Good morning, my king. Or queen. You look like you've slept well. I pointed out to her. Of course. I was sleeping with you. She smiled at me. Is that why you're so happy? I asked Riaz. Yes, Issei. That's why I'm happy. I officially have you all to myself now. She said as she gave me a hug, pushing my head into her breasts. So I said, I was able to get Riaz's attention. Do you want me to start calling you president? I asked her. No. Please just call me by my name. She requested of me. Alright then, Riaz. How about you go and get yourself ready with the others? I'll get ready after you all are done. I said to her. She nodded to me and walked herself to the bathroom. Wow, partner. You seem to be doing well for yourself. Drake said to me. Oh. Hey Drake. I forgot that you were a part of me. What's up? I greeted him for the first time in a while. Nothing really. I've just been watching you and seeing everything you do. The way you just broke Riser down. You did what many wanted to do. Not only that, but you made the whole world watch it happen. You also managed to bang the hottest girl at your school. Drake went on and on about what I've achieved. Don't put it like that. She said that she loved me, she had a problem, I helped her with said problem, and now we're mates and I'm a pawn in her peerage. I explained to him. Seems like a good life, huh? I just came to say congrats. You keep doing what you're doing. Drake said to me. Yeah. I will. Riser definitely won't be the last person's pride that I break. I said. Issei and Cherry were getting themselves ready in the bathroom. They were minding their own business until they saw Riaz walk in. They noticed that she had the same necklace and ring that they had. I see you're one of his mates too. Cherry pointed out. Yes. I am. Riaz said to them. I guess it means that Issei loves you, doesn't he? Cherry asked her. Yeah. I've also loved him for a long time. Riaz told Cherry. Welcome then. I hope we get along. Cherry said as she got back into the shower. Thank you. Riaz said nervously. Issei could more or less care about it. It didn't mean I didn't love her less, it just meant that I had to share my love with Riaz as well. Time skip. Everybody was already in their normal school clothes. All they were waiting for was me to serve them breakfast. I guess you're all happy that's all over, huh? I asked them as I began to plate their breakfast. Looks delicious. Asia smiled. Let's eat. Kaneko grabbed a fork and immediately went for her first bite. I guess you're all very hungry, huh? I asked them. Well, then. We'll be on our way. Take care of yourselves. My dad yelled from the door as he and my mom were about to leave for work. See you later. I said loud enough that they could hear me. The moment the door closed, Riaz rose from her seat. Wow, President. Where did you get the jewelry? Akeno asked her, intrigued about it. Actually, Issei gave it to me as a sign of us being together. Mate jewelry he calls it. Riaz answered her. I also have something to tell you all. Riaz said, getting everyone's attention. I would like to introduce to you my new pawn. Issei. Riaz revealed to everyone. Everyone gasped in shock as the news was delivered to them. No way, Kiba muttered. Everyone all of a sudden was just staring at me in disbelief. Yes. I'm her new pawn. I confirmed for them. Welcome. Kaneko was the first person to welcome me into the peerage. She immediately went back to eating her breakfast. From then on it was pretty much quiet. Everyone just ate their breakfast in silence. It was hard to tell who finished first. We were all eating at a similar pace. Issei. Can I talk to you for a second? Alone? Asia asked me, which broke the silence. Sure. Come on. Let's go. I finished my breakfast and then followed her to her room. She made sure to lock the door behind us. So what did you want to take cab? I was interrupted by Asia jumping at me, landing a kiss on my lips. I was confused but decided to kiss her back. The kiss didn't last long and our lips eventually had to break apart. Asia, I looked at her. Her cheeks had a very deep red blush on them. I'm sorry for suddenly kissing you like that. It's just I can't stop thinking about what you said to Riser. She started. I didn't know where she was going with this, but I decided to continue listening. You said that you gave up so much. Your humanity, you can't laugh, you can't smile or yell is what you said. It made me sad just thinking about it. Asia began to start crying. I know that some things I said while I was confronting Riser would be emotional to some people. I had a feeling one of those people would be Asia. I'm sorry, it's just I can't imagine what it's like not being able to smile. Asia cried. I helped Asia wipe some of the tears off of her face. The old me used to wonder that too, you know. I said, trying to make her stop crying. I promise that I'll make you smile again. I won't stop ever. I don't care if I have to die trying, I will make you smile, Issei. Asia said with determination like I've never seen before. There's the Asia I know. I look forward to it then. I said. I ended our conversation with a kiss to her forehead. Oh yeah. That was also my first kiss. Asia's blush came back onto her face. What? Asia. You should have saved it for someone that you love. Not me. I told her. But Issei. I do love you. She revealed to me. You've done so much for me. You've given me a home, you saved me from horrible people many times, and I've made so many friends because of you. I feel like I can't possibly thank you enough for this. She looked deep into my eyes. You also have a very attractive body. You're strong and you're good looking. It'd be impossible not to have any attraction towards you. Asia added. Asia, I love you too, Asia. We went in for another kiss. This time it lasted a lot longer than the first one we had. Once we broke our kiss apart, we stared deeply into each other's eyes. Issei, I want us to be together forever. She proclaimed to me. Don't worry. I'll make sure that you're always by my side. Nobody and nothing will ever separate us. I purred as I brought her in for a hug. We stayed like that for a while until Riaz knocked on the door. Asia, Issei. I'm coming in. She announced to us. She immediately opened the door and saw that me and Asia were cuddling. Oh. Was I interrupting something? Riaz smiled teasingly. Asia turned around and hid herself in my chest. Come on, Riaz. You're embarrassing her. I told Riaz as I ran my hand through Asia's blonde hair trying to calm her down. Riaz giggled a little and then apologized to Asia. I'm sorry, Asia. I didn't realize your love for Issei rivaled my own. Riaz apologized to her. Come on. We can't be late for school. Riaz rushed us. Alright. We'll meet you guys outside. I told Riaz. Hurry up. She said before she closed the door and left. Me and Asia were staring into each other's eyes once again. I could Asia giggle a little every now and then. Now then. We need to go. We can't be late for school. I reminded her. She nodded and we ran to catch up with the others at the door. Time skip. We all went to our classes. Yurei and Cherry made sure they were with me throughout the entire day. Asia and I also had all of our classes together. So we were able to spend most of our time together. Unfortunately, Asia had a little encounter with someone I wish didn't exist. Hey Asia. Looks you have yourself a little crush on Issei. Aika teased her. Oh. It's Aika. I turned away from her direction. She was also a pervert like the pervert duo themselves. Come on, Asia. If you like him so much, why you ask him out? You know, get him to be your boyfriend. Aika asked Asia. Huh? Boyfriend. Asia stuttered nervously. I decided to get involved and stop Aika from trying to embarrass Asia. What's going on here? I asked the two girls. Oh, it seems you're quite lucky, Asia. It seems that Issei is very big. Not only physically but sexually as well. She said. Sexually? Asia wondered, not knowing what she meant. Hey. What's your plan here? I asked her. Oh. Nothing, Issei. I was teasing Asia about her little crush for you. Aika answered me nervously. Aika then started to feel my body. From my chest all the way down to my hips. I suggest that you take your hands off me before I start to hurt you. I threatened Aika to stop touching me the way she was. Huh? Don't you know you're not supposed to hit females? And was that a threat? She asked me. Yes. But I don't see you as a female. And no. That was a promise. I always keep my promises. I said as I began to crack my fists. Well, I'm definitely a female, so you're not going to hit me. She smiled, acting like what she said was going to save her. Say I won't. I demanded. Whoa, her words were interrupted by me suddenly giving her a sucker punch to her face. Her glasses broke when my fist hit her face. The girls in the class screamed and rushed over to her to see if she was okay. Issei. You're not supposed to hit girls. You meanie. Asia said and turned away from my direction. She had that one coming. Trying to tease you. Come on, let's go. I demanded. Time skip, Issei. You know there's no excuse for that. What's going to happen when Sona finds out? Riaz asked as her facial expression showed that she was obviously angry at me for what I did. Nothing. Like every other incident that's been put into her hands, she'll throw it away. I answered her. No. I can't deal with this now. Ria sat back into her seat at her table. I went to the couch to relax with Yurei and Cherry accompanying me. Oh my, Issei. I heard what you did. Akeno walked in holding a plate full of tea. Yeah. She had it coming though. Touching me like that. I muttered to myself. Oh my. Akeno laughed as she poured some tea in a cup for Ria's. Thank you Akeno. Your tea is always delicious. Ria's thanked Akeno for the tea. Issei. We're going to go out and get more contracts. Asia, come with me. Ria's requested of Asia. Humming. Asia responded. Yurei. Cherry. Head home without me. I'm going to stay here for a few more minutes. I said to them. They nodded and used teleportation circles to get home. I heard another magic circle in the room open and then I heard it close. I decided to stay back and relax for a few minutes in the old schoolhouse before I headed home. Just before I was about to take a nap. I heard magic being used, meaning someone was still here. I opened my eyes to see who it was. To my surprise it was Akeno switching her school clothes to a white robe that looks like it was meant to absorb water. Akeno. I didn't realize you were still here. I said trying not to pay too much attention to what she was wearing. Issei. How about some tea? Akeno asked me if I wanted some tea. Sure. I took her teapot and poured myself a little bit of tea in a cup. I also summoned another cup for Akeno to drink her tea out of. I poured her some tea and we drank our tea in silence. Issei. Do you know why we're all alone right now? Akeno asked me using a seductive tone of voice. No. I thought it was just a convenience. But Ria's always takes you with her. You're her queen. So why did she let you stay back and take everyone else? I asked her. Might as well put the lemon warning Herrick. Well, she got into a crawling position and began to slowly crawl her way over to her lap. She also made sure that her butt was sticking out as she crawled towards me. Akeno. What are you doing? I asked her as she rested on my lap after she finished crawling towards me. Isn't it obvious? I'm trying to seduce you. Is it working? She whispered into my ear. I guess it is. But why are you doing this? I asked her again. You see, I overheard you and Ria's talking. She told her that she loved you. You also said that you would never hurt us. Hearing you say such things to her made my heart and stomach start to have butterflies. It made me so happy. I also managed to listen in on you two doing it with each other. She explained to me. I've never heard Ria's make such sounds before. But enough about that. She said trying to cut whatever she was about to say off. When you left to talk to Asia, I asked Ria's and everyone to do me a huge favor. Ria's and everyone were okay with it and I was super appreciative to them. And when you left for class, Ria's filled in Asia on what was going to happen later. She added to her explanation. And now we're here. Akeno finished her explanation. I still don't get what this is. I said to her. In other words. This is a confession. Akeno revealed to me. Oh. I said finally getting why she was doing what she was doing. I want to play a game with you, Issei. Akeno said seductively. Huh? What kind of game? I asked her kind of intrigued to play whatever game she had in mind. It's a simple game. A game of cards. Whoever draws the lowest card has to take off a piece of their clothing. Akeno explained the rules of the game to me. Okay. Weird game, but fine. I summoned a deck of cards for us to play with. I made sure to shuffle them well and divided the deck equally between the two of us. We both had our top cards ready to flip them over to see who would win the first round. I flipped my card over and it revealed a jack. Akeno's card was a queen, meaning that she won. Which piece? I asked her talking about my clothing. My shirt was always off so she couldn't choose that. Your pants. Akeno chose for me to take off my pants. I did as she told and now I was only in my boxers. Oh my. It's not even erect, yet it's so big Akeno muttered to herself out loud. Alright. Next round. I said as I flipped over my next card. The card revealed a king and Akeno's card revealed a 6. Oh my. I guess I have to take off this. Akeno removed her robe and it revealed her entire body in all its glory. I couldn't help but gulp really loudly as her robe slid off her. Her silky smooth thighs looked so appealing from here. Oh my. You like what you see, Issei? She asked me. I stayed silent not knowing what to say. My first instinct was to grab her breasts and give them a good squeezing. She started to moan really loudly. Luckily I couldn't detect anyone nearby so I allowed her to moan as loud as she wanted. I continued to knead her breasts for a good while. I could tell she was enjoying it by how she was moaning. Oh my, yes. Issei squeezing my breasts. Akeno moaned in pleasure just from me squeezing her breasts. Her breasts are so big. I said as I continued to squeeze them. I noticed that she started to moan a little bit more louder the harder I did it. Is it hurting? I asked her out of concern. Oh. No, it's not. Please keep going. She requested. She seemed to be fine, so I continued to squeeze her breasts. I slowly moved my hand to her nipples and began to pinch them. It got her to moan even louder than she already was. Issei, she moaned my name. So this is what your nipples look like? I asked her as I began to suck on them. Wait, don't suck on them like that. I denied her request and continued to suck on her breasts really hard. It got to a point where I could see her starting to rub herself on me. I looked down towards her crotch and saw that she was drenched down there. Would you look at that? You're all wet down here. I told her as I slowly moved my hands from her breasts to her hussy. I began to rub her clitoris with one hand and I squeezed her breast with the other. We decided to move to the couch because it would make our foreplay a lot more easier and fun. She was on top of my lap grinding her hussy onto my hick. I continued to massage her clitoris with my hand. After doing that for a while, I decided to stick my finger into her hussy. No. She was obviously feeling good from it. You're also a virgin. That's odd. You're such a beautiful girl, yet you're still a virgin. I talked to her as I continued to finger her hussy. I was saving myself for you, like Ria's was. Akeno said to me as I continued to finger her hussy. Your fingers are so big. It's impossible to not feel good from this. Akeno screamed as she experienced her first orgasm. She held onto me as she began to spaz out of control. I was there to make sure nothing did happen to her. Akeno, are you okay? I asked her. All of a sudden, she kissed me on my lips. I could feel it. This kiss from hers wasn't a regular kiss from her. It was full of passion. She had a deep love interest for me. I guess I was oblivious to it the entire time I've been at this school. Akeno's never really talked to me much. I always assumed it was because she didn't like me or just wasn't fond of me. I decided to return the kiss to her. I could that she really wanted me to. Once I did, she started to get me to use my tongue. We started to tongue kiss and I decided to ease the mood by slowly rubbing her back. I could tell she liked it because she started to moan as we were tongue kissing. I continued to rub her back and our tongues continued wrestling with each other for about the next 10 minutes. Akeno decided to finally breath and she was the one who broke the kiss between the two of us. Issei, she panted as she looked at me straight in my eyes. I can tell. You've liked me for a long time, haven't you? I asked her. She gasped and then started to blush really hard. It was cute seeing her like this. Yeah. The truth is I never said anything to you. I was scared that you would reject me and that the whole school would make a big deal out of it. After all, I am number 2 after Ria's in the whole school. She admitted. Plus, the way you made Riser look like he was absolutely nothing was cool. I can't believe you did that all for Ria's. That kind made you look like a hero in my eyes. Akeno added. Wow. I've done a lot, haven't I? I asked myself. Issei. Akeno called out my name. I put all my attention on her. Since we've gotten this far, are you willing to listen to my request? She asked with clear nervousness in her voice. Of course. I assured her. She lit up with happiness. She whispered what her request in my ear and I listened closely to every detail she put into her request. Are you sure? Won't that hurt you? I asked her with concern. You're worried for me. I could ask for nothing more, Issei. She leaned me in for a hug. I accepted the hug and we let go after a short amount of time. Well, if that's your request, then I'll make it come true. I said as I snapped my fingers. Once I did, everything went black. Akeno woke up in a dark basement. She couldn't see anything. It was hard for her to tell whether her eyes were open or not. She sat there in the darkness for a while. Until finally, a light turned on. The light revealed me as the person who flicked the switch. I took off all the clothes I was wearing and threw them all aside. Akeno watched as I menacingly walked towards her. She began to shake out of fear for what was going to happen to her. In this fantasy, the world is corrupted where there are no laws and when someone is kidnapped, no one does anything to stop it. Akeno sat there waiting for her demise to arrive. As I walked closer to her, she noticed that she was tied up. Her hands had been handcuffed so that she couldn't fight back. And she was already stripped naked. I summoned a light whip. Akeno looked at the whip in fear. She was a devil, so light was one of her weaknesses. I began by whipping her ass because it was facing me. She screamed in pain for each time the whip hit her. On the outside, it looked painful. But on the inside, me and Akeno were just acting it out. I was her kidnapper who barely spoke and she was a girl who was afraid of being beaten like this. Please stop. She begged. I ignored her begging and continued to whip her until marks started to appear on her skin. She was seen crying, but she was actually enjoying this. I turned her position around and shoved my hick in her mouth, not giving her a second to think. After using her mouth like a hussy for about a minute, I took my hick out of her mouth and started slapping her with it. Ow. Ow. My hick was quite hard, so these were the reactions I was expecting to get out of her. I went back to using her mouth like a hussy. She would start to choke on my hick and would scream and beg me for some air. I wouldn't give it to her. I wouldn't respond to her pleas. I continued to thrust my huge hick in her mouth. I was able to hold back for as long as I wanted, so I decided to really take my time to enjoy using her mouth like this. After a while, I decided that I wanted to fill up her mouth full of my hum. I started to thrust really fast into her mouth. Akeno started to choke harder than ever. "I'm coming." These were the only 2 words I said. I let out all of my hum down her throat. I pushed her head down, making sure that she drank all of it. I made sure that she didn't leave a drop of it behind. I could hear the sounds of her swallowing my hum. Once I heard her finish drinking all of my hum, I took my hick out of her mouth. She was coughing so much after that. I decided to let her catch her breath. Once she did, I got back to whipping her on her back. She got back to screaming in nothing but pain and misery. After I felt like I had whipped her enough, I untied her from where she was bound. She dropped to the floor like she didn't matter and started coughing again. I pinned her against the wall and started to rub my hick against her hussy lips. "Wait, it's my first time, pppp, please be gentle." She begged with her life. I didn't listen to her and shoved my hick into her forcefully. She screamed in pain as my hick penetrated and broke all of her hymen. "I'm sorry, Akeno." I broke character for a second. "Ed, don't worry. I should thank you, Issei. No one would go this far for me. Thank you," she said as a tear slid down her cheek. I used some of my magic to help ease up the pain a little. While I know this was her thing, I didn't want to see her get hurt like this because of me. "Thank you, Issei. You can take us back to the room now," she said, being happy that her fantasy came true because of me. I snapped my fingers. "Returning us to the room. How about we go slow from here and slowly work our way up?" I asked her. She nodded and I slowly thrusted my hick into her hussy. "You seem really tight," I said, commenting about how much her hussy was squeezing me. "Is the pain gone?" I asked her. "Yes. Your magic made all the pain fade away," she answered me. I brought her in for a hug. She accepted the hug and I started to thrust a bit faster into her. "Oh yes. Your hick feels so good. I can feel it stirring up something inside me," she moaned as I went deeper into her with my cock. "I'm sorry, Akeno." I apologized to her. "What are you apologizing for?" she asked me. "Next time, we're going all the way with your fantasy. I promise," I assured Akeno. "Thank you, Issei." She thanked me as I was about to reach my limit. "Akeno, I think I'm about to let it all out inside you," I told her. "No. Wait. You're not using a condom and I'm not on birth control. Please. Don't come inside me." Akeno begged and pleaded me not to ejaculate inside of her. I didn't listen to her. I continued to thrust into her until I decided to let it all out. "I'm coming," I announced to her. I could feel her trembling from my hymen being ejaculated inside of her. I shoved my hick deep inside of her to make sure my cock's hymen was going into her womb. No, I'm pregnant now." I got pregnant during my first time having Hex. Tears started to slide down her face. "Well, since we've gotten this far. Here. Clean this for me. Using your mouth," I said, putting my hick directly in her face. While she was crying, she nodded and began to lick off all the hymen off of my hick. "This lewd smell, this lewd taste. His hymen and my juices mixed together taste so good. I can't get enough of it." Akeno thought to herself as she continued to go crazy licking my cock. She used her tongue to clean my shaft of anything it had on it. Once it looked clean, I decided that she had done enough. "Okay. That's good enough. We can stop now," I told her. But when I told her to stop, she started to take my whole hick into her mouth. She started to use her mouth in an up and down motion to pleasure my hick. "Akeno, we're done. You can stop now." Wait, I stopped talking as soon as I felt something coming. Akeno started to move her mouth faster as she had a clear indicator that I was feeling good. "Your cock is twitching. Are you going to come in my mouth?" Akeno teased me. She kept on sucking me off until I reached my limit. "I'm coming," I told her. She then removed her mouth from my hick, therefore not letting me hum. I don't know why, but that was so frustrating. I said to her, "You want to come in my mouth? Then you better give me the birth control you give to everyone else when you're doing it with them," she demanded of me. "I already gave it to you," I told her. "Huh? What are you talking about, Issei? You didn't give it to me." Akeno argued with me. "Remember the tea I gave you earlier? I put it in there. That's why it tasted a bit sweeter," I told her. "Oh?" Akeno was surprised. My method of giving her the birth control totally slipped past her. "You're not pregnant, Akeno. You can stop worrying about it," I told her. She was a lot more calm now that she knew she wasn't actually pregnant. "Oh, well then. Let's continue, shall we?" Akeno asked with a smile. I put my cock back in her mouth and suddenly let out my hymen once again. She was surprised as she had no idea this was going to happen to her. She coughed hard and took my hick out of her mouth. My cock was now ejaculating all over her body. Her breasts, thighs and her face were covered with my hymen. Oh my. You're still good to go. Even after coming this much. Akeno looked at me and was impressed by how long I was able to go for. She picked up some hymen from her breasts and put it into her mouth. She made sure I watched her swallow it. Issei, please make an even bigger mess of me. Akeno requested as she spread her hussy open for me to see. Hymen started to flow out of her hussy slowly. As you wish. I said as I put my hick back inside of her. We then went on to do it for about 3 hours. I made sure to hold back everything I could while I was thrusting inside of her. The lewd sound of skin slapping against each other echoed throughout the room, and the lewd and erotic smell of hex flowed throughout the entire room. Akeno's moaning was the loudest I've ever heard her moan. I could feel that she having a lot of orgasms. I decided that after her 30th orgasm, it was time for me to stop holding back and let out all my hymen inside her. I'm coming. I announced to her. I let out all of my hymen inside of her hussy. She screamed as my hymen hit her inside her womb. Her legs trembled from all the orgasms she had, and she was about to have another orgasm because of this. I'm coming. Akeno screamed as her legs began to shake once again. Once her orgasm stopped and I stopped ejaculating, I removed my hick from her hussy and watched all the hymen overflow from her hussy. We sat back on the couch and I let her catch her breath. You're so intense. Akeno said in between breaths as she panted her. I love you, Issei. She proclaimed to me. She buried herself in my chest. I love you too, Akeno. I ran my head through her hair to help calm her down. Welcome to the peerage. Akeno welcomed me. Thanks. I accepted her welcome. Lemon over, come on. Let's head home. I'll teleport us into my bathroom. Can you walk? I asked her. After watching her struggle to get up, I picked her up bridal style. I opened up a magic circle and it teleported us right where I wanted it to be. Come on. Let's wash each other off. I said to her. We then took our sweet time washing each other's fluids off of us. Once we did, we went our separate ways towards our own rooms. With barely any energy to walk, Akeno managed to get up and started heading towards her own room. While Akeno was heading towards her own room, she was met with Rias waiting for her in front of it. Third person's POV. President, I'm sorry for coming home this late. Akeno bowed and apologized to her. Don't be. Let's have a quick talk inside your room. Rias was acting serious. Akeno followed Rias into her room and made sure to lock the door behind her. Rias sat on her bed. She padded to a spot beside her, inviting Akeno to sit next to her. Akeno accepted her offer and started to limp her way to the spot next to her. Rias couldn't help but chuckle at Akeno limping a little. What's so funny? Akeno asked her with a smile. Nothing. It's just that's exactly how it was when we first did it. Rias said, revealing that she knew Akeno and Issei did it. Oh. So you know Akeno felt a little bit embarrassed. Rias chuckled as Akeno's embarrassment. So how was it? Rias asked her with a smile, referring to her confession. It went better than I thought. He actually accepted my feelings. I thought he would reject me because I was a fallen angel. But I guess I was wrong. He has powers to make anybody's dream or fantasy come true. Akeno explained how her first time went. Sounds like you two had a lot of fun. Rias smiled at her. Yes. We did. He is very thoughtful when it comes to the people he cares about. And now I'm one of those people. I hope, Akeno said to Rias. Did you tell him you loved him? Rias asked her. Yes. I did. Akeno answered her. Did he say he loved you too? Rias asked another question to her. Yes. He did. Akeno answered her. Then stop worrying, Akeno. You love him, he loves you, why are you sad? Rias asked her. I don't know. I just feel like he won't love or protect me like he does to you. Or those other two. Akeno revealed to her. Don't worry. I can assure you that when he says I love you to someone, he means it. That comes with his absolute protection. I mean that. Rias told her. Do you really think so? Akeno wondered. Well, we know he's not afraid of the law. Rias said to her. That's because he is the law, Rias. The two girls laughed at their own jokes that they were making about Issei. Well, I have to go sleep with Issei. Maybe you can join. Rias asked Akeno if she wanted to join Issei's bed. No, thanks. I'll just stay in my own room tonight. Akeno gave her answer. Okay then. Sleep well, Akeno. Rias greeted her queen a good night. Time skip Issei's POV. Alright, let's begin this meeting. Rias announced. We're going to tally up this month's contracts. Akeno formed 11, Kaneko formed 10, Hyoudou formed 8, and Asia formed 3. Rias tallied up everyone's contracts. Very impressive, Asia. Rias praised Asia. Not bad for a rookie. Kaneko said. Oh, I almost forgot about you, Issei. You've formed no contracts. Rias joked. I'm not even a devil. I don't need to make contracts. Plus, if I want to get more powerful, I can do it anytime I want to. I told her. Sorry for interrupting, everyone. My mom suddenly walked into the room. "Oh, you're not interrupting anything. What's up, Mom?" I asked her. "I brought something for you all to look at," my mom said, holding up a photo book. "Mom? Please don't," I said as she passed the book to Riaz. She then left, closing the door behind her. "What are these?" "Aw." Riaz awed as she opened the book to see baby pictures of me. "Issei, you're so cute in these photos," Riaz said to me. "I understand how you're feeling, President," Asia said as she smiled while reading the book too. "We've never seen you as a baby either, Issei," Cherry pointed out. "If you wanted to see me as a baby, you could have just asked," I said as snapped my fingers. I transformed myself into a baby. "Issei picked me up. Cute," Issei said about my baby form. "Aw. Issei. Why do you look so adorable?" Akeno asked. Everyone suddenly heard a really wet fart come from me. "Which one of you bitches is going to change my diaper?" I asked them. My form changed, but pretty much everything else about me stayed the same. "Hey. That's no language for a baby to use," Asia scolded me. Everyone started laughing at us. "Such a vulgar child," Akeno commented. I transformed back into the 17-year-old that I was. "Hey Issei. What's this picture?" Kiba suddenly asked me. I walked over to him to see what picture he meant. "Oh, shit. It's Irina. I forgot she used to dress up like a boy a lot. Man, I miss her." I described what was in the picture. "What about the sword?" he asked. Looks like a holy sword," I answered. "Time really does fly, doesn't it?" Kiba said, talking to himself again. I looked at him confused about what he meant. "Time skip. I can't believe that Kaneko got triple booked this time. I guess since I'm a part of her peerage, I have to help everyone now with whatever problems they have." I got to the door and I knocked on it. Behind the door was a man with a strange haircut and looked to be in a robe. I sighed and just decided to do what I was sent to do. "You summon?" I sighed out of regret. I always hate going outside to have to deal with people. Wow. I didn't expect somebody so big. "Yeah. Come in," he said, inviting me into his house. I already knew what this guy was after. If I had to take a guess, this guy was trying to kill me. I already know he's a fallen angel from his aura. I went into his house. It was kind of cozy, to be honest. He doesn't look like he's from here. He suddenly came out from behind the door with a bunch of beer-making utensils. "Here. Have a drink," he offered me. I wasn't a drinker and I didn't plan to be anytime soon. But I was doing this for Kaneko and I wouldn't want to disappoint her. So I took the drink out of his hand and drank it all. I was going to plan this guy's game better than him. I made sure I didn't leave a single drop of the drink behind. "Oh. You're quite the drinker, aren't you?" he asked me. "No. First time." I answered him in my usual tone. I knew that the drink he gave me was a poison. I just had to act like it worked. Unfortunately, I couldn't make any facial expressions, so I just had to rely on this guy's stupidity. What did you put in that drink?" I asked him as I started to act like it was working. "Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. Just relax if you're not feeling well," he said. I could see the dumb smirk on his face. "I just need to keep up this act for a bit longer." "Alright, if you say so." I decided to lay down on the couch in a slouched position. I then pretended to pass out to make the stouch believe that his trap actually worked. I began to snore a little to make it more believable that I passed out. I heard someone else appear via magic circle. I decided to go use something I haven't used in a while. Ghost. Just like that, my spirit was now out of my body and I was able to see everything. "Can't believe you got him that easily," Valerie said to him. "It was kind of easy. He was just trying to be nice and I took advantage of that." "Seriously, people are so easy to take advantage of," the old man said. "Yeah. Next time, try to hide yourself more, Azazel," Valerie said to him. I wanted to give this whole act and just launch myself at him. He was the leader of the fallen angels. My chance to kill him is right here. But I needed to see what his plans were and if anyone else was involved. My questions would be answered as another magic circle opened. "I see you got him, Azazel," Serzicha said with a smile. He along with 6 other people appeared. 3 of them I was able to recognize. Grafia, Serzichas, and Serafol. I didn't know the names of the other people that were there. "Looks like you got him," Grafia said. "Now we can finally put him on trial in front of the entire underworld," the angel of the group said with a smile. "Yes, indeed, Michael," Azazel told him as he looked in my direction. "Yes," Serafol said quietly. Despite knowing this was the right thing to do, she was still one of the people I loved and she knew that. She knows that I'm not that horrible of a person. She looked at the ring and necklace that I gave her. "Sarah, are you alright?" Serzichas asked her. "I get that you two have a relationship, but you have to understand that he's a criminal we've been trying to catch for a while," Azazel told her. I know. She said. He must pay for his relentless crimes on our kind. He's ruthlessly murdered many without a thought. Remember that. Come on. Let's take him away. Surziches demanded. Grafia was responsible for my body. Everyone went through their respective teleportation circles. I was with Grafia as she teleported us away somewhere. I'm sorry, everyone. I'll be gone for a while. Please take care of yourselves. I promise I'll be back soon. I thought to myself as the final part of my body was transported through the magic portal. Time skip third person's POV. Riaz and her peerage were dealing with another Rouge Devil. They didn't have Issei for backup in case things got bad, so they had to stay alert. Tiba during the whole fight couldn't pay attention to his enemy. He had his head mixed up with what he saw this morning. Asia was tending to everyone because they needed healing. Everything was fine until everyone heard a loud and audible slap. Everyone turned to the direction it came from. Did that wake you up a little bit? Riaz asked Kiba. One little mistake and someone could have died. Riaz said, trying to wake him up. I'm sorry. Kiba apologized sheepishly. What's wrong with you? I've never seen you like this before. Riaz asked her knight. Today hasn't been the best of days for me. I'll have to excuse myself. Kiba bowed to her and then walked the other way, away from everyone. After he felt like he was far enough from everyone, he began to talk to himself. I can't believe I lost sight of it. My purpose. Why I'm here. Vengeance. Kiba talked to himself. The holy sword Excalibur, its destruction is what I live for. Kiba said to himself. Kiba was a part of a holy sword experiment that was deemed to fail. Many of his older friends died in the experiment and he was the only one that survived. I will never forgive the Excalibur. He said. Time skip. Two exorcists were coming to the church late at night. They both just so happened to be people Issei ran into on his quest for a more powerful sword a long time ago. Geez. This place looks so run down. One of the exorcists pulled down their hood from their head. Are you sure he's gonna meet us here? The blue-haired exorcist asked. Of course. I lived here back when I was little. The brown pigtailed exorcist said as she held up a photo of her and Issei next to the holy sword. Issei's residence, Riaz. Cherry called her name, waking her up. What's wrong? Riaz asked her. Have you seen Issei? He's not here. She asked Riaz. Oh? No. I'm sure he's alright. Just trust me. He can take care of himself. Riaz said as she went back into the covers. You're right. I'm sure he's fine. Cherry stopped worrying and went back to sleep. Issei's POV. I was transported to this weird place. I was definitely in the underworld where devils and fallen angels reside. I didn't know where I was though. I was inside of some tube where it was made impossible for almost anyone to escape. They had barriers around the place that prevented people from using magic or was supposed to suppress the power of the people inside of the barrier. I guess they took very heavy precaution when it came to dealing with me. Sadly, all of their efforts will be in vain. I can easily break out of this. But I still want to see what their motive is. I know for a fact some of it has to do with trying to kill me. Maybe they want me to work with them and sign a peace treaty. Right. With the way these guys are operating, there's no way I'm ever going to sign a peace treaty with them. These guys fucking suck. And once I get out of here, I'm going to break their pride to absolutely nothing and kill them for everyone to see. Maybe if they're lucky, I'll consider not killing their entire race. The way these guys operate sucks. Wait. I went in Kaneko's place because she was booked by more people than I count. What would they've done if this was Kaneko? What would have happened if she was here and not me? I swear to God, I'm going to absolutely beat these upper beings to the ground. I'm going to show them how little they matter. I thought to myself. I heard someone starting to approach me. I went back to pretending to be asleep. Hey. Wake up. My tube was suddenly banged on, giving me very loud high-pitched feedback. I couldn't cover my ears to muffle the noise so there was nothing I could do. A fallen angel was banging on my tube a lot. Once I woke up, I stared directly into her soul, giving her the scare of her life. You don't matter. Kill yourself. You absolute piece of shit. The fallen angel started to hear all these negative voices. It finally pushed her over to the edge and she summoned an light spear and offed herself by stabbing her heart with it. What's going on? Surziches and Grafia ran into the room to see a fallen angel on the ground, dead. I stared at them as Grafia stared right back at me. What did you do? Surziches asked me. I didn't answer him. I didn't ever plan on answering to these freaks. Whatever. The world's going to see how truly disgusting you are. Surziches said to me. Your trial begins in a day. You better be able to answer for your crimes. Grafia said to me as she and Surziches walked out. Valerie walked into the room wearing nothing but knee socks, panties and bra. All while she was wielding a whip. I guess torturing me was a part of their plan. Well, rival. We meet again. She greeted me. I didn't answer to her. That's how it's going to go around here. Well. Who would have thought this would be the circumstances, huh, Albion? Has your host recovered from the ass beating she took from my host? Drake asked Albion. You shut your mouth, Drake. How is your host going to make it out of the situation he's in now? This is the most secured cell in all of the underworld. There's no way he can get out. Albion told Drake. Trust me when I say we're making it out of this alive. My host has something up his sleeve. You're going to have to wait to see what it is. Drake said. Valerie started to laugh at the two dragons bickering. Well, I look forward to that. Until then, you're stuck with me, rival. Prepare yourself. Valerie demanded. I stood in my place ready for whatever she had planned until my trial. School third person's POV. It's been almost a day since Issei's been kidnapped. Issei, Cherry and the other girls have been worried sick about Issei and his whereabouts. They weren't able to get into contact with him using anything. Issei said his name. They were starting to feel unwanted, depressed, and other kinds of sad feelings. Issei. Cherry. Are you okay? Asia asked them. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Cherry answered her. She about to start crying. She and Issei hadn't been by themselves without Issei for so long. Look, I'm worried about him, too. But let's try to not worry so much about him. He can take very good care of himself after all. Asia said, trying to cheer the twins up. Let's just go to the orc room. You can relax there. Asia suggested as she got the twins to follow her to the room. Riaz and Kaneko were in the room. They were clear on the reason that the twins were crying already. Still no sign of him, huh? Issei. Why did you disappear so suddenly? Riaz wondered. And there's still no sign of Hyoudou. Where is he? This is so unlike these two. Riaz got frustrated. Riaz. I've brought visitors. Akeno announced. Sona and Tsubaki walked into the room and they were already able to tell what was wrong. Still no Kiba? Sona asked Riaz. No. He's been gone for the whole day. I'm worried for him. And still no Issei either. Riaz answered her with sadness in her voice. I'm sorry about that. Well, I have something that I would like to talk to you about. Sona said. Well, what is it? Riaz asked her. Please accompany to my house so we can discuss it there. No one will be able to interfere over there. Sona requested. This sounds serious. Riaz said to Sona. Yes. It is indeed serious. Sona said. Okay then. All of you, head home to Issei's house. Riaz demanded. Everyone nodded and went straight home. Riaz and Akeno accompanied Sona and Tsubaki to their house. Inside a dimension was a passage. That passage led to a sauna that was built for Riaz and Sona. They would often go there to gossip with each other over stuff like family problems and stuff like that. I presume that we aren't here to gossip. Riaz said. Sona and Tsubaki nodded to confirm that. This morning, I was in contact with two affiliates from the church. Sona said. Contact? Akeno questioned. What were they here for? Riaz asked them. They've asked to talk to you. Sona revealed to Riaz and Akeno. Church affiliates wanting to meet with a devil. You have to be joking. Riaz said. In any case, this can't be good. So how did you respond? Riaz asked her. I accepted it. After school they will meet you at the church. Sona answered her. However. There's one thing that worries me. Sona added. These church affiliates had a holy sword with them. Tsubaki revealed to them. The holy sword church affiliates with a holy sword. This can't be good. Riaz stated. Riaz. Are you going to watch what's happening tonight? Sona asked her, turning her attention away from the church issue. What do you mean? Riaz asked. It might tell you where Issei's been all this time. Sona said, holding out her phone in front of her. On the screen read as follows. The trial of the Red Dragon Emperor. It can't be. They caught him. Riaz was shocked to say the least. And it's being broadcasted everywhere tonight. Sona added. In that case, we need to head home immediately. See you later, Sona. Riaz said as she put back on her clothes and exited through the passage. I wish you the best of luck, Issei. This situation you've been put in is impossible for many not to escape. Sona thought. Riaz and Akeno headed back to Issei's house. Asia, Kaneko and the twins were there waiting for them. I guess you've heard too. Cherry said, judging by the look on her face. Yes. We should probably watch the event unfold. Akeno suggested. Hurry. I want to see Issei. Asia begged. Riaz was quick to turn on the television. Everybody sat back and watched as Issei's demise was about to come. Trial room. Issei's POV. Valerie's been trying to break me the entire time leading up to this point. She's tried punching me, kicking me, whipping me, pretty much every method you could imagine. It did absolutely nothing. I don't get hurt easily. And I was not about to take any scratches from this bitch, or any bitch in fact. I stayed silent with my blank stare as I was led to the trial room. Accompanying me were about 100 of the strongest devils and fallen angels. They were there to save anyone in case something went wrong. While I was being led to the room, I wondered why was my life like this? What did I do to deserve this? Was it Drake's fault or was it my own? Sure, I've killed without reason, but most of the time, they attack first, or I wanted to test out my power. I guess it's illegal to defend yourself. One of the guards opened the door for me, while the others tried their hardest to use force against me to push me through. I actually started to cry as my intrusive thoughts started to kick in. But not regular tears, these were tears of a dragon's blood. I was crying blood. I had blood streaming down my face as I walked into the room. I was leaving a trail of blood behind me as I walked to the stand. One thing I should point out was that these guards were all tall. They just weren't taller than me. The first thing I'm greeted with were the four great Satans, the leader of the fallen angels, the leader of the angels, and Graphia who was accompanying Surziches. Lucifer, Leviathan, Beelzebub, Asmodeus. I thought. They were all standing on these high pillars about 20 feet off the ground. Behind them was the audience who came to watch this trial. For their safety, there was a glass wall with flat screens on it for them to watch our conversation. It was also to make sure that the audience was safe at all times. Now then. Shall we begin? Red Dragon Emperor. You are on trial for your crimes against devils, fallen angels and angels. How do you plead? Surziches began the trial. There were also cameras everywhere, watching me. This also makes it so that can broadcast it everywhere. I stayed silent after Surziches asked his question. You realize that if you do anything during this trial, you will be labeled as the most wanted criminal. Serafal added. I stayed silent as more blood began to roll down my face. It's not like that's not going to happen. I already know the outcome of this. They're not even going to let me speak. I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling about this. Michael said with a smile on his face. Don't worry. He can't do anything to hurt us. We have him totally surrounded. Asmodeus said. We are going to play some videos of you committing your crimes. Serafal said as she turned on the television. The first clip they showed was back when I went to heaven to collect the Excalibur pieces. Serafal paused the footage she saw enough happen. She began to give me and everyone watching an explanation for the crimes that were committed. Your first crime was when you entered heaven without permission. Your second crime was for manslaughter. All of those poor angels you killed. Don't you feel bad at all? Serafal yelled at me. I still didn't speak. I just let more blood stream out of my eyes onto the floor. Surziches transitioned the footage to my time in the underworld. The footage was taken from far away, but they enhanced it and used facial recognition to confirm that it was me. It was me from back then. The footage showed me summoning a fireball and aiming it towards a town in the underworld. Not only did that explosion kill a lot of people, but the fire spread almost everywhere when I left. The fire killed additional people. Your third crime was for massive grieving of property. Your fourth crime was the people that were killed. Surziches added. The audience gasped and were shocked. You destroyed a city full of people and killed almost everyone living in it. Serafal said, putting me down. I continued to have my blank expression. Asmodeus transitioned the footage to my house. I was able to recognize it was mine biggest. It was the biggest house in the neighborhood. It showed my encounter with Office and the Cows Brigade. Looks like they've been watching me for a while then. Associating yourself with the Cows Brigade. Care to explain? Asmodeus asked me. I wasn't going to answer to these guys. The way they went about this was so wrong. I guess I put myself here, didn't I? I don't care what these guys said. Soon, Valerie appeared in her outfit from before. She looked at me with disgust and started to whip me again. You currently stand before 6 of the greatest leaders. Show your appreciation. She yelled as she whipped me harder than before. I didn't make any movement or any sound to her whipping me. I didn't show any kind of pain. This made her do it more, but I don't care. My super fast regeneration and my tough skin will take care of that. Issei. I'll take it from here. Drake suddenly spoke up. I have some questions for you, great Satans, as you call yourselves. How do you know any of this stuff you're saying is true? Drake asked them, trying to defend me. The Cows Brigade came to Issei's house. It's clearly shown in the video. Office was asking Issei to join them, but he declined. And the heaven incident. Yes, Issei did kill those angels, but he brought them back to life when he returned. You say you do your jobs well, but you're only using the parts of the videos that make him look guilty. Look at how far you all have fallen. Drake said, trying to put them in their place. Be that as it may, the video still shows that it's the Red Dragon Emperor killing them and committing these crimes. Therefore, we have to punish him. Graphia spoke up. What are the rules when it comes court, Graphia? Isn't it to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Don't make me laugh. You guys are a bunch of jokes. You're not even following your own rules. How about you show the whole video and have the audio play too? And how about you show when Issei returned the Excalibur pieces after he no longer had a use for them? Maybe then you can talk about fair play, you fat sacks of shit. Drake insulted them. Everyone flinched at Drake's comment about them. Thanks for sticking up for me, Drake. But it's no use. There's not going to listen. Watch. I thought to him, and Surziches spoke once again. How do you explain the city explosion then, Drake? He still killed many devils. There's no footage that shows him bring them back to life. Having the magic to bring someone back from the dead is a crime itself. Don't you agree, everyone? Surziches yelled, asking the audience behind him and everyone watching the broadcast. More blood started to stream from my eyes onto the floor. Valerie didn't like what she was seeing and started to whip me again. The marks the whip she used gave me weren't permanent. My regeneration took care of that. The audience roared in agreement to Surzich's statement. See? There's no point in fighting back. They'll just use something else against us. I thought to Drake. We should sentence you to death alone for the power you have. You don't choose to help people with it. It's inhumane and no person should have that power. Azazel pointed out. He was wrong about that. Drake began to speak up again. Oh really? So you all forgot what happened a while ago? Issei basically saved both of your sisters from a torture prison made for devils. He did what you couldn't. You don't care about your sisters or that fact that they got captured. You didn't try to help or do anything. Issei not only broke them out, but he saved everyone and made sure that the people who committed the crime got what they deserved. Azazel. You should be lucky Issei hasn't come for your head right now. After all, you're responsible for the torture prisons, right? Drake pointed out. What are you talking about? It wasn't me who set them up. It was probably the other leader, Kakabiel. Azazel said. And you didn't do anything to try and stop him. Just how self-centered are you guys? You really turned a blind eye towards those who were suffering. He kept this a secret from you guys for over 15 years. How blind could you have possibly be? Drake snapped at them. Everyone didn't know what to say. It was me who saved everyone after all. They had to say against it. It was just a fact. They all looked at each other trying to figure out what to say. That's enough, Drake. We will now come to a decision for his sentence. Surziches said. Everyone turned around to make their decision. Like I said, Drake. What's the point of trying to change a world that doesn't want to change? I asked him. Valerie got back to whipping me as the leaders made their decision. We have come to a decision. Grafia announced. Issei Hyoudou, the Red Dragon Emperor. We hereby sentence you to death. Surziches announced. The audience and everyone was shocked. I wasn't surprised by the least. I knew this was coming. They were going to make this decision. It didn't matter whether I had an argument or not. All 7 of them stood up from their chairs and the guards now had their weapons ready to fire them at me. This is ridiculous. Drake said. It's clear there was no reasoning with these freaks. Fire. Surziches commanded. The leaders fired all of their magic towards me. Valerie went into her balance breaker state to help them. They wanted to execute me on the spot. After they finished all of their attacks, there was a lot of smoke covering everything up. Once the smoke all cleared up, it revealed that I was gone. The audience was shocked and so were the guards and the leaders. Make sure everybody gets out of here safely, Grafia. Surziches commanded. Grafia nodded and went on her way to make sure everyone made it out. Surziches made sure that everyone had their eyes peeled for me. Surziches got his magic ready to use if necessary. Everybody was suddenly surprised when I suddenly came crashing down from the ceiling. The person I went for was Surziches. I grabbed him by his neck. He started to choke. Bloody tears continued to stream down my face. I made him look me dead in my face. You Surziches gagged as I added more pressure to my squeeze. Everybody had their magic pointed at me. Let him down, Issei. We can talk about this. Seraful yelled at me. It was all just a blur. I continued to choke Surziches as everybody got their weapons ready to fire at me. Issei I heard from somewhere. I could see Ria's face as looked at Surziches. I could see her despair as she watched me kill her brother. She's probably watching this right now. With all that in my head, I dropped him to the ground. He coughed, trying to catch his breath. I summoned my pistol and shot him eight times in his chest. He began to cough out lots of blood and began to seep out of his chest. You realize if you leave this room, you're now the most wanted criminal. Surziches said trying to get me to stay. I looked at him with blood streaming down my face. I opened a magic circle and left the trial room. I guess I'm a criminal now. Time skip third person's POV. Issei said as the broadcast came to an end. Everyone was shocked by what they just watched. Another time skip. Riaz and most of her peerage were on one side of the couch, while the church affiliates were sitting on the other side of the couch. We appreciate your cooperation. I'm Zenobia, and this is my partner Irina. Zenobia introduced herself and her partner. So for what reason did you want to meet with me? Riaz asked, getting straight to the point. 3 of the Excaliburs have been stolen. The ones we have are the Excalibur Destruction and Excalibur Mimic. We ask that you don't get involved. We can't be asked to deal with you. Zenobia said rudely. Well, let me make something clear to you. I would never side with a fallen angel. Riaz made clear to the exorcists. That's good to hear. I know that the sister of a Satan must now be stupid. Zenobia said, insulting her. Before they were about to leave, Zenobia noticed that Asia was there. "Are you Asia Argento?" Zenobia asked her. Yes. Asia answered nervously. "I never thought I would see a witch here." Zenobia insulted her. "Well, I did hear that you got exiled because you could heal both devils and fallen angels," Irina said. "Do you think it's right for a devil to believe in God?" Zenobia asked her. "Well, I can't just let it go. I've believed in him all my life," Asia answered as she looked down in sadness. "Then, let us kill you. Whatever sins you have committed, the Lord will forgive you," Zenobia said as she brought out her sword. As she was about to swing it, a large magic circle opened in front of her. A large man with his hair overshadowing his eyes appeared. As blood streamed onto the floor, everyone started to back up from the figure. He stood in between Asia and Zenobia. "Issei." Asia muttered his name. Issei turned around to reveal all the blood that was streaming down his face from his eyes. She started to fear him and backed away from him. Issei looked at the two exorcists. Blood dropped onto the floor and he stared intensely at them. "Who is this guy?" Zenobia asked. Issei muttered under her breath. "In other words, you need to be exterminated," Zenobia said, pulling out her sword. Irina did the same. "No. I'll be your opponent," Kiba said as he suddenly appeared. Hyoudou muttered, relieved that he was back. "No. You can wait. We have to deal with him first." Zenobia ignored Kiba's challenge to battle them. "Do you want to die?" Kiba asked the two exorcists. Issei walked over to Kiba and stared at him. Blood dropped from his eyes in front of him. Kiba then backed up from him out of fear. He then levitated himself over to everyone else safely. All without saying a word. Time skip. Riaz was afraid of Issei. He had blood streaming down his face from his eyes, and these two exorcists were going to challenge him. She would try to stop them, but knowing Zenobia, her stubbornness would not let Riaz talk to her. Everybody sat back as the match was about to start. "Start," Riaz announced. Irina and Zenobia were in their black tight suits. They put their swords in front of them and began to charge at Issei. Chapter 19. War. Issei's POV. "I can't believe I've just been labeled a criminal. Just kidding, I knew it would happen at some point. The way that went was so stupid. I was about to head home when I felt something at the school. I teleported in front of Asia to save her from getting attacked." Issei. Asia muttered my name. I looked towards her with blood still streaming from my eyes onto the floor. She was scared of me. After everything that just happened, the two exorcists wanted to fight me. I'm gonna make them pay for trying to hurt Asia. "Start," Riaz signaled. I was lucky enough to get their names right. The blue-haired exorcist's name is Zenobia and the brown pig-tailed girl's name is Irina, my longtime friend. I haven't seen her in such a long time. It's sad that it had to be like this. Zenobia got into their position with their swords out. They rushed me, trying to land an attack on me. Irina attacked me from the front while Zenobia attacked me from behind. As they tried to land a hit with their Excaliburs, my barrier came in clutch. Their swords bounced off of my barrier and they were sent flying into the trees. Zenobia had a harder landing than Irina. As they were both stunned on the ground, I started slowly walking towards them. They looked at each other, trying to think of a plan. They both dropped their swords away from them as they were flung away by the barrier. Irina went to fetch them their swords. As soon as she was about to pick it up, I stepped on her hand, rendering it useless. Irina screamed in pain as I put more pressure onto my foot. "Stop. Please," she begged. "Irina," Zenobia yelled. She tried to get the swords for them and was successful. Zenobia threw Irina her sword and she caught it. She swung at my leg trying to get me to stop. Her Excalibur mimic shattered into little pieces when it hit my leg. My mimic, Irina muttered out of shock. I put even more pressure onto my foot. I continued stepping on her finger until I heard a crack. Irina screamed in pain as I broke her hand. "You monster," Zenobia yelled as she tried to attack me with her sword. Her Excalibur would suffer the same fate of being shattered into pieces. "Why, you?" Zenobia tried to punch me, but I disappeared. She looked around, trying to look for me, but couldn't find me. I then punched her in the stomach hard, making her start to puke out some blood. I made myself visible again after that. "I give up," Zenobia said as she held her stomach in pain. Irina said that same thing. Everyone sighed in relief after they saw that I won. But it wasn't over yet. I walked over to Irina and then I grabbed her by her head and picked her up. Using one hand to hold her up, I began to rapidly punch her in the face. I made sure to do it hard. Nothing less than that. I saw that her nose was starting to bleed, but I didn't stop. "What are you doing?" "We said we give up," Irina said weakly. It didn't change that fact that they provoked me by trying to hurt Asia. No one hurts Asia. No one. I let her drop to the ground and let the blood streaming from my eyes drop onto her. "Ow. It hurts. It burns," Irina screamed. I stomped on her legs to break them so that she wouldn't try to escape. She screamed in pain even more. I summoned a flame and threw it towards Irina. She started to roll around on the ground trying to put it out. I looked towards Zenovia's direction. Whoa. Calm down, big guy. We give up. Zenovia said. I suddenly teleported in front of her. I gave her an uppercut that sent her flying into the air. I know I broke her jaw from that. I launched myself in the air to kick her back to the ground. She landed next to Irina. They both looked towards me to see me walking toward them. I towered myself over them and began to beat them down. I started with Zenovia. I gave her many punches, kicks and I broke all of her bones, but I made sure that she was still alive. She barely had any energy to open her eyes. Irina watched Zenovia faint next to her, knowing her fate was sealed. I began to give Irina the same beatdown that I gave Zenovia. I made sure to keep her alive while making sure she received a lot of pain. I broke all of her bones, and then I watched them faint. Issei. That's enough. You're going to kill them. Riaz yelled at me saying that the match was over. I didn't listen to her. Triple boost. Drag announced. I continued to pound them with my fists. I was mindlessly just beating them up. Issei. Akeno screamed at me. While I was beating them up, two people came to stop me. Issei, Yurei muttered. She rushed in to grab me away from the two fainted exorcists. As Yurei was pulling me away from them, Cherry was making sure they were alright. I levitated Zenovia over to me and continued to rip her apart like she was a doll. That what she was, a dumb doll. Issei. Let go of the exorcist. She's not a toy. Yurei demanded. I threw Zenovia towards the tree. She hit her head on the tree first, causing severe head damage to her. What's wrong with you? Cherry asked me. Don't you know how worried we were? She gave me a tight hug. We saw you on TV. What happened? Cherry asked me. I didn't answer her. Riaz and the others rushed over to the exorcists that I hurt. I started to walk away from everyone and head home. You're not just going to leave them like that, are you? Cherry asked me. The Issei I know heals people, even if they're his opponents. Hurry up and do it. Cherry was demanding me to do it. I got up and stood tall over her. She looked me dead in my face and I did the same to her. It was an intense staring contest. I didn't want it to go on any longer, so I snapped my fingers and healed their bones. I then walked away with the twins, all while leaving a trail of blood onto the ground. Zenovia slowly arose from her 5-minute coma. The first thing she did was run at me, trying to attack me again. I caught sight of it and grabbed her neck mid-jump. I gave it a good squeeze. Wait, Zenovia gagged as she tried gasping for air. I squeezed her neck for a long time. I didn't stop until I saw her pass out. I then let go of her neck and dropped her to the ground like she was nothing. We then started to walk home for the final time without being interrupted. What happened to him? Kaneko wondered. I don't know. Akeno said. Well, I'm sorry that he did that to you. But you did threaten Asia, so you did deserve it. Riaz apologized to them. No. It's our fault. We're sorry for picking a fight. Irina apologized as she rose up from the ground. Do you at least have a lead on who might be involved? Riaz asked them. The leader of Grigori, Kakabiel, is directly involved. We also know that Fried Selzen is involved. Zenovia answered. Akeno was shocked to hear that. Well, we wish you good luck. Riaz said. Thanks. Also. Who was that man? Zenovia asked her. Oh. That's Issei. My pawn. He's also the Red Dragon Emperor. Riaz answered her. They were both shocked to hear that, mostly Irina. Issei, Irina muttered. Make sure you keep him under control. Zenovia said as she and Irina retreated to the church that we're staying at. Orkroom third person's POV. Stop right there, Hyoudou. Where you going to go? I need you. I won't let you get away this time. Riaz told him. I'm sorry, President. Kibo apologized as he left the room, closing the door behind him. Hyoudou, Issei, what's wrong with you two? Riaz thought to herself out loud. A tear went down her face. Broken down church. Irina and Zenovia live at this old church. This is where they'd have to live. They don't have any money to buy anything with, so this is where they are now. Not even clean water to bath in. Another trial the Lord has given me. Irina said as she soaked herself in the dirty water. We would have had money if you didn't waste it on that stupid painting. Zenovia yelled as she pointed at the painting. What? That's a painting of a saint. The man at the gallery even told me. Irina said. Ugh. Why do I have to be stuck with you as my partner? Zenovia asked. We have no money for food, thanks to you. Zenovia said to her. Don't worry. We'll figure something out soon. Irina tried to assure her partner. Zenovia sat in silence. She was really thinking about something. She decided to pull out her phone and go to super media. Irina noticed that she was moving very fast. What's wrong? Irina asked her partner. This. Zenovia pulled up the video of Issei's trial. It showed Issei getting ganged up on by the leaders. Michael. Irina screamed. Pay attention. Zenovia was taking this seriously. The whole video played of Issei being abused and him snapping at Surziches at the end. Zenobia pulled up another post on her phone that showed Issei was currently the most wanted criminal and there was a huge bounty on him. Issei, I feel so bad for him. He doesn't deserve this. Irina had a lot of sympathy for him. What I'm saying is maybe he'll help us. No. No, he won't. Not after what just happened. Zenobia put her head back down, feeling hopeless. We also lost 2 of the legendary swords. What's Michael going to think? Irina started to worry. Time skip Issei's POV. A bit of time has passed. Nothing really has changed. Mom and Dad went out somewhere, I found out. I went to school for the day. I decided that it would be a good idea. Everybody stared at me throughout the entire day. Including the student council. I had Yurei and Cherry accompany me for the whole day. Blood was still streaming from my eyes. It would leave a trail everywhere I went. People were disgusted by it, but I didn't care. I went throughout the day as a criminal and a freak, as some people called me. I let Cherry and Yurei go home without me. They've done enough for the day, and I didn't want them to be seen with me anymore. I decided to walk through the city. People moved away from me, and others just got disgusted by blood streaming onto the floor from my eyes. I didn't mind it. I continued my walk through the city, but I noticed I was getting watched. It felt very familiar. I looked around and I noticed Kaneko hiding in a bush. I walked towards her direction. She didn't try to run this time. This time, she made herself known. I see, you noticed me. Again. Kaneko pointed out. I knew there was someone else there. So I searched the bushes with my hand and found a pawn, or 4. Kaneko? Would you bring me along? He caught us. Let's go back before our presidents get mad. Saji yelled, worried about what might happen to him. I brought you because even though you two don't like each other, I know you care for him too, Saji. Plus we need him to help us find Kiba. Kaneko said. I just ignored them and continued my walk throughout the town. Saji and Kaneko followed behind me. I didn't want anything to do with them or what they had going on. I didn't want Riaz or the others to get hurt because of me. Unfortunately, Sona and Saji are included in the list of people I don't want to get hurt because of me. Issei. Just stop for a moment, will ya? We need to talk to you for a second. Saji demanded and tried to push me in the opposite way I was walking to make me stop. I continued walking, not wanting to stop for anyone. I saw what happened. I watched every little thing that happened with Sona. We really feel bad for you. Riaz is worried for you and Kiba. You and him are her main pieces. She loves you both and needs you both back to her. Saji tried to convince me to turn back. Their attempts were good, but not good enough. I'm starting to get sick of the supernatural in itself. I might just end it all. While Kaneko and Saji were trying to convince me to go back, we ran into two women wearing white robes, begging for money. Do stray sheep beg for your blessing? Zenobia said. Please act in the Lord's stead and give us your blessing. Irina begged for some money. Everyone was staring at them. I walked over to them, leaving a trail of blood behind me. As I approached them, they looked up towards me. Oh. Issei. Irina was surprised to see me. What do you want? Zenobia asked harshly. I put my huge hand into their mouths and reached deep inside them. My hands were triggering their gag reflexes. Everyone around us was amazed as they watched me pull over $1,000 from their mouths. What? Zenobia exclaimed. Irina was also amazed. I handed them the money and I was then on my way. Irina and Zenobia were confused, amazed and happy all at the same time. Irina felt her robe get tugged slightly. It was Kaneko who was doing the tugging. Please help us. Kaneko requested. Now Zenobia and Irina were joining the chase too. Issei. Please stop. I get that you now have a grudge against devils too, but please just hear us. Kaneko was interrupted when I suddenly pulled my pistol and shot it near their legs, nearly hitting them. Everyone gasped and the people in the area started to run away out of fear. I put my guns away and continued walking, leaving a trail of blood behind me. Restart and third person's POV. Irina and Zenobia were indulging themselves in the food they bought with Issei's money. Yes, this is the stuff. Irina said. Zenobia agreed with her. After watching them eat for about half an hour, Zenobia finally asked why Kaneko and Saji wanted their help. So? Why did you want us, and why were we chasing the criminal Dragon Emperor? Zenobia asked harshly, referring to Issei. Criminal Dragon Emperor? Saji asked. We want to help you destroy the Excaliburs. Kaneko answered them. I see. We could use some help after all. After taking our humiliating defeat from the criminal Dragon Emperor, we realized that we could use some more help. After all, we'll be going up against a fallen angel leader, Kakabiel. We were sent as sacrifices. Our chances of survival are about 30% at most. So please, lend us your help. Zenobia requested. Oh Lord, please forgive us, for we are asking devils for their assistance in our mission. Irina prayed. Thank you so much. Kaneko smiled at the result that came out of this. Now we just need Issei. Saji said, pointing towards Issei. He was able to tell by the noticeable tears of blood streaming down his face, onto the ground. Perfect. Kaneko said, running outside. Everyone decided to follow behind her. Outside, they were able to catch up to Issei. Hyoudou. Saji called out to him. Issei. Please stop for a moment. Kaneko begged. Issei turned around with his pistols in his hand about to fire them. Everybody stopped with their hands up, showing they had no weapons. Issei. Please. We need you to do us a favor. Kaneko begged. Issei still wasn't listening to her. Issei walked up to her and held his pistols up to Kaneko's head, ready to pull the trigger. PPPP, please don't shoot. We just want a favor. You don't have to get involved. Kaneko added. Issei seemed interested. He put his pistols down and listened to her request. He really is the criminal dragon emperor. Zenobia whispered to Irina. Issei heard what she said and put his weapons up to her head. Zenobia gulped. She was really nervous, and upsetting Issei now wasn't the best idea. Please, Issei. Take us to Kiba. Kaneko requested. Issei put his weapon down and made everybody follow him, as he seemed to know where Kiba was. After a few minutes of walking, Kiba was finally in sight. Kiba. Saji acknowledged him. Kiba turned around and saw everyone walking towards him. What are you all doing here? Kiba asked them. Kaneko requested Issei bring us to you. Saji answered. Kiba looked up to Issei to see that he still had streams of blood rushing down his face. Heard what happened? Sorry, Issei. Hope things look up for you. Kiba said, extending his fist to Issei for a fist bump. Issei accepted the fist bump and began to walk away from everyone. Wait, Irina said, making Issei stop walking. Can you please give us back our Excaliburs? Irina begged. Issei took a moment to think before he snapped his fingers, and the Excalibur mimic in destruction suddenly appeared on the floor. Irina and Zenobia lit up and picked up their corresponding Excaliburs. Thank you so much. Irina stopped talking when she saw that Issei was nowhere to be seen. Oh. Well, I guess he's not all bad. Irina said as she out her Excalibur mimic in its place. After Kaneko explained what she and Saji planned to do, Kiba let out his thoughts on the idea. I see. But honestly, I'd rather not be getting permission to destroy an Excalibur from people who literally wield them. Kiba let his thoughts be known. Their thoughts are full of contempt. I heard that you ran away from the Grimoires. Zenobia said, making Kiba mad. If you're a stray, then I'll slay you right here, right now. Zenobia said, about to pull out her sword. Hold up. Come on. We're all fighting for the same thing here. Saji yelled. Zenobia put her sword away and tried to reason with him. I guess your hatred towards the Holy Sword Project is understandable. Even we both have some hatred towards it. Zenobia revealed. Kiba was wondering how they knew about his past. He then looked at Kaneko. His question was already answered. That's why the leader was deemed a heretic and was exiled. Zenobia said to everyone. His name was Balba Galilei. He's also known as the Archbishop of Massacre. Irina added. Balba, yes. That man he killed, my Kiba muttered. I'm sure he's in on this too. And I'm sure he has Exorcist working as his assistant. Zenobia added. We'll have to watch out for that then. Kaneko said. I guess I don't have any reason to refuse your help. After all, I guess we have the same goals. Kiba said. I guess that seals it then. Irina said. Tell the criminal dragon emperor we appreciate his little magic trick. Zenobia said as they began to walk away. I guess that went really well. Saji said with a smile. Yes. But President will be mad at both of us. Kaneko reminded us. President Rias. I guess the reason I met her was because of the Holy Sword Project. Kiba said. Day after day, they performed experiments on us. With our freedom stripped away from us, we were no longer treated as humans. Yet, with the belief that we were chosen by God and the hope of becoming heroes in our hearts, we withstood countless experiments. However, not a single one of us were able to use a holy sword. Kiba explained to them. The experiment was deemed a failure. We were immediately disposed of to hide every detail of the experiment. Spitting blood onto the floor, crawling on all fours to get away, we begged for God to help us. Kiba added to his sob story. At the very brink of death, President was there to save me. I honestly can't thank her enough for making me a part of her family. Kiba added. I was only able to escape the laboratory thanks to my friends. That's why I need to use their grudges to power my demonic swords and destroy the Excaliburs. Kiba finished, ending his story. Saji began to start crying hard. Kiba. I had no clue you went through so much. I don't care what President does to me. I want to help you as much as I can. Saji said with determination in his voice. Since this was my idea, I'll help too. Kaneko said. Thanks. I'll be counting on you. Kiba said with a smile. Should we go and get Issei? He seems like he'll be a really big help. Kiba suggested. Didn't you see him? He's clearly in a bad place. Plus we promised we wouldn't get him involved. Kaneko answered his question. Sona's secret sauna, I see. Kiba left. Sona asked Rias. Yes. Did I do something wrong? Riaz asked her. Isn't he a part of your family? Sona asked Riaz. Of course. No matter what Kiba says, I'm not going to let him go. Riaz said. The Grimoires sure do live to their reputation of caring for their family. His emotions may have gotten to the better of him. However, Riaz, do keep in mind that he's a Grimoire as well. Sona tried to remind Riaz. Thank you, Sona. Riaz showed Sona gratitude. Their conversation was interrupted by Akeno and Tsubaki suddenly appearing on holograms. Please excuse us. Akeno said. What's wrong? Riaz asked. Things of great concern. Tsubaki answered her. Sona and Riaz got serious for what they were about to hear. Time skip. Kaneko, Kiba, Saji, Irina and Zenovia were all at the church. Irina decided that it would be a good idea for the devils to dress up as priests. Alright. We're all here. We'll have to search all over the town. We'll check the east side. Kiba said. And we'll check the west side. If anything happens, give Irina a call. Zenovia said. With that done, they split up into the east and the west. They had a lot of searching to do and a long time ahead of them. After looking around for about an hour, they decided to take a trip back to a certain place. This place where we defeated Visor, that stray devil. Kaneko reminded everyone as they got closer to the place. The stray? Saji asked. We had to kill because lost control of her power. Kiba said to him as they got closer. Above. Kaneko warned as Fried came crashing down. Kiba was surprised when a strange tall man punched him into the tree. Fried unfortunately could not stick the landing. Issei. Kiba yelled out of happiness to see him. What's going on? We heard a noise. Zenovia and Irina came rolling in with their Excaliburs in hand. What? Not you again. Shit. I don't want to have to deal with you again. But I'm much more powerful than last time. So I bet I can take you on. Bring it. Fried said as he got up, grabbed his sword and rushed his way over to Issei about to chop him up. Issei. Watch out. He's dangerous. Irina screamed trying to warn him. Issei sat there and watched him sprint faster towards him. Issei let his huge dragon's wings out from his back. He began to flap his wings, creating strong winds, sending him flying away. Not this time. Fried yelled as he then tried to use his sword to slice the winds. Unfortunately, it didn't work. He landed on the hard ground stomach first. First, you take away my children, Fried said referring to their last encounter. Flashback, that must be it. As Issei made his way towards the door. He could hear someone running towards him, trying to attack him. And he knew who it was, so Issei sprouted his dragon wings from behind his back and flapped them fast to create strong winds again. The person that was running towards Issei was sent flying back into the hard wall. Those stupid wings of yours. Fried yelled as a hard piece of cement fell on his face. Thus goes to show how much more powerful I am than you. Now stay out of my way. Issei morphed one of his swords into a pistol and shot him eight times in the crotch. His screaming got more louder each time Issei shot him. No. You monster. He screamed as he held his crotch in pain. Flashback over, I still remember that. And now you're going to take away my dinner, I don't think so. Fried was about to get up, but Issei summoned his pistol and shot him in his balls 10 times. Fried screamed and rolled around on the ground in pain as he held his crotch. More blood streamed down from Issei's face as he watched Fried in pain. Ooh. As a guy, I feel for you, but what you're doing is not acceptable. Kiba said as he and Zenovia were about to rush Fried and try to kill him. Fried still had some power left in him. So he grabbed his sword, filled it with power and swung at them. They blocked their swords from his attack. As they were about to attack Fried again, someone appeared. Fried. You appear to be outnumbered. Bulba said, appearing from inside the building. Bulba Galilei. Kiba said as he was about to attack him. Fried jumped in front of him, stopping Kiba's sword. Perhaps, we should retreat for now. Bulba said. Fried pulled someone out of his jacket. Smell you later. Fried said as he threw the thing onto the floor. All of a sudden, a blue light flashed, making them disappear. Let's go, Irina. Zenovia yelled. Irina, Zenovia and Kiba ran off into the forest. While Issei took Kaneko onto his shoulders, snapped his fingers and all of a sudden, everyone was gone. Leaving Saji the only one behind. What? Where'd I get left behind, Saji yelled. Saji. Sona said as she appeared with Riaz, Akeno and of course, Tsubaki. Presidents. What are you doing here? He asked with fear in his voice. What are you doing out here? Sona said sounding furious. Listen. You've got to believe me. It wasn't just me. Kaneko, Issei and Kiba were here too. And those two exorcists too. Saji argued, trying to make them believe his story. I don't buy it. Sona said, not believing a single word he said. Wait. Look. Issei's blood is here. See? I'm telling you. There's no way I could pull this off on my own. Saji said pointing at Issei's eye blood. Riaz. Sona sighed. Issei lives with you, right? Sona asked her. Yeah. He hasn't been as talkative as he once was. Riaz answered her. Ask him about this. Sona requested. I will. I guess you're going to deal with him, are you? Riaz asked, pointing at Saji. Yeah. We will. Sona said, looking down at him. I'm skip Issei's POV. I just saved everyone from that encounter with that dumb exorcist. I decided to take Kaneko home with me and leave Saji behind. Why? Because I hate him. Issei. Why did you save us? Kaneko asked me. I didn't answer her question and just went into the kitchen. Kaneko decided to follow me. I carried her on my shoulder. I had to duck through some doors to get through them. I should really make these doors bigger. I left a trail of blood behind me as I walked throughout the house. As I walked into the kitchen, I saw Asia cooking dinner in nothing but an apron. Oh. I didn't notice you came home, Issei, Kaneko. Welcome home. Asia welcomed us home. Asia got back to cooking. Asia, why are you wearing that? Kaneko asked as she hopped off my shoulder. I wanted to maybe surprise Issei with this, but you came home earlier than I thought. Asia answered Kaneko's question. Oh. You were trying to cheer him up? Kaneko asked him. Asia nodded in embarrassment. I feel bad for what he went through and how he looks now. He doesn't even talk to President or anyone. Asia said. Like blood streaming down my face from my eyes, tears were rolling down Asia's face. There. Look what you did, criminal dragon emperor. Kaneko said to me as she comforted Asia. She then ran off to her room to get washed up. I decided to help Asia make dinner. It seemed to get her to stop crying. I continued to help Asia cook dinner without saying a word to her. She was enjoying it and she needed the help. That's how it went until Riaz and Akeno appeared via magic circle. I gave Asia a pat on her head before I was about to leave the room. Hold it right there, Issei. Riaz demanded. I stopped walking away from them and turned around to face them. I have some questions that I want to ask you. Riaz asked me. Did you get Saji and Kaneko involved in your plan to team with those exorcists? Riaz questioned me. I stayed silent and didn't answer her question. Issei, you realize you could have gotten them killed. I want an apology to Kaneko, Saji and Sona when you see them. Riaz scolded me. I was getting blamed for something I didn't have anything to do with. I don't care anymore. Everybody's the same. I don't even bother to speak my thoughts to them anymore. Kaneko was watching me get scolded by Riaz. I looked at her as Riaz continued to scold me for what happened. You realize I have to, Riaz was interrupted by Kaneko. Wait Riaz. Please don't blame Issei for this. It was my idea. I wanted to try and find Kiba and maybe offer them some help. Kaneko admitted. What? Kaneko, why would you do that? Riaz asked her. Because Kaneko sniffled. I'm worried about Kiba. I don't want him to leave. Kaneko said. Issei didn't want to get involved. All he did was tell us where Kiba was. Kaneko revealed to her. Oh? Riaz questioned her. Yeah. They thought about it and they said that they could use more help, so I said that we could maybe help them. Kaneko admitted to her. Oh. I had no idea. Issei. I'm so sore, I cut Riaz off by walking away from her to my room. Issei. Please I didn't know I'm sorry. Riaz apologized even more before tears started to fall down her face. This just proves my point. What's the point of trying to change a world that doesn't want to change? There is no point. I headed back up to my room and washed myself off. The bathtub was filled with the blood that was flowing down my cheeks into the water, making it dirty. I cleaned to the water and decided to shower instead of sitting in the tub. I ate the dinner I helped cook with Asia with everyone except Kiba. I made sure not to leave a trail of blood behind me when I left for my bed. The twins were waiting for me in it. Issei. Cherry embraced me. I couldn't help but embrace her back. Yurei also embraced me. I made sure to hug the both of them. We then went to sleep for the day together. And for the first time. Blood didn't leak from my eyes. I guess I had them open all day. I'm skip third person's POV. Light spears were raining down from the sky onto something or someone. Irina screamed as she was thrown around by the explosions from the light spears hitting the ground. Looks like I've found you. Fried said as he made himself known from the bushes around them. Because Irina had her guard down, Fried was able to use his Excalibur rapidly to slash and slice at her clothes and make her weak. Fried then pinned her against a tree by her neck. Now then what do we do with you? Fried asked getting really close to her face. Hold it. Leave her be. We may get some use out of her. The fallen angel from above them said as he smirked wickedly. I'm Skip, so no sign of Kiba. Kaneko asked them. We still haven't seen him. We would be able to if we had Issei. Akeno said. Because we're tired of waiting for him, we've all sent our familiars to look for him. Riaz stated. It was true. Everybody sent their familiars out so they could at least get a lead on him. But they found something worse. Everyone teleported to the location that was seen by Riaz's familiar. Oh no. Akeno said as Asia rushed over to her. Irina. Riaz said her name. Asia began to heal her and she woke up after being passed out for a while. Where did Kiba and Zenobia? Riaz asked her. There, and she answered weakly. Bran? Riaz wondered. Yeah, I just couldn't make it. He's incredibly strong. Irina warned them as she passed out again. Soon, Sona, Tsubaki and Saji appeared via magic circle. What happened? Looks like your healing isn't strong enough, Asia. Sona said. Twilight healing can't restore stamina that was already lost. Asia told her. My house has a healing room. Tsubaki. Sona called out to her queen. Tsubaki took Irina in her arms and transported her to Sona's house. What's happening? Wait. What is this feeling? Saji said as he held his chest and his breathing started to get heavy. Well. Looks like you little devil shits took the bait. Freed said as he suddenly appeared from behind the tree. Freed. What have you done? Riaz asked furiously as she got her magic ready to fire it at him. Sona also got to the front to use her magic to protect everyone. Whoa. Time out. Gotta chat with the redheaded dame for a second. Freed said, making both Riaz and Sona put away their magic. Chat. Riaz wondered. Yeah. My boss wants to. Freed said as the sky suddenly went purple. A fallen angel with 10 wings made himself known. A fallen angel. Kaneko said looking up at him. He has 10 wings. He's a leader. Riaz said. We haven't met before, daughter of the Gremories. My name is Kakabiel. Kakabiel introduced himself to everyone. Good day to you, fallen angel leader. My name is Riaz Gremory. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Riaz introduced herself to Kakabiel. What beautiful crimson hair. You look just like your brother Surzich's. The Crimson Satan. The very thought of him alone makes me sick. Kakabiel said with his sadistic grin on his face. So what is the purpose of this meeting? It's uncommon for a leader to come out and chat. Riaz asked him. I'd like to have some fun in the area around Cow Academy. Your headquarters in the city. Kakabiel revealed to everyone. Our academy. Riaz was shocked of what he was saying. If I do, Surzich's will have to come help. Isn't that right? Kakabiel said to them. That's only going to cause another war between God, the fallen angels and the devils. Riaz exclaimed. Kakabiel laughed at her. I expected Michael to come after the Excaliburs, but all he sent was a weak exorcist and two women that wielded holy swords. It's not enough. It's far from enough. Kakabiel said. Then your goal right from the start was to begin another war? Riaz questioned. That's right. That's dead right. I couldn't resist my boredom after the last three-way war. Neither Azazel nor Shemhaza wanted another war. That's why I took it into my own hands. Who do you think came up with the idea for those torture prisons you were sent to? Kakabiel revealed to them. That was Urias questioned him furiously. Yeah. It was. I wanted to get some of the Satans involved and start up another war that way. I kept it under the radar for a long time. No one even noticed it, nor was it talked about on super media. But my plan was folded by the Red Dragon Emperor and those minions he has. That bastard. I'm going to kill him if I see him. Kakabiel said with anger. Thank you again for that, Issei. Riaz thought to herself with a smile appearing on her face. Azazel wasn't just against the war, he started to collect these sacred gears and started to do research on them. The fallen angels, God and the devils are teetering on the brink of war. That means that one small nudge from me can tip them over the edge. Kakabiel said with a smile. You're completely addicted to war. Riaz told him. I'm going to have you devils start it this time. Sister of Lucifer, Riaz Gremory, sister of Leviathan, Sona Sitri. Your place of learning should be chock full of magical power, able to cause immense chaos. It's the perfect place for war. Kakabiel yelled out of excitement. He's crazy. Sona said. This guy's fucking insane. Saji yelled. Freed began to laugh maniacally. Don't you just love how my boss is just so fucked up? That's why I'm so enthusiastic about this. Freed said, revealing what he was hiding under his jacket. Wait. Are those? Akeno wondered. That's right. I have more Excaliburs. And I can use them all, so technically, I'm invincible. Freed said to everyone. Let's begin the war, little sister of Lucifer, Riaz Gremory. Kakabiel started to rain down light spears onto everyone. Everyone. Run. Riaz demanded. Ria, Akeno and Sona put a defense barrier that was quickly destroyed by the explosions. Where did he go? Sona asked. That way. Kaneko said, pointing towards Cow Academy. They're really going to do this. Riaz said. We can't let them do this. Let's go. Sona commanded everyone. Yes. Everyone responded to her. Cow Academy, behold at last, Bulba said. All of a sudden. A yellow beam charged itself up and let itself into the sky. My dream will come true. Bulba said with a smile. Issei's residence, Issei's POV. I watched a yellow beam appear. It let itself into the sky. Are you going to help them? Cherry asked me as she cuddled me even more. I didn't answer her question. Issei should. Issei whispered into my ear silently. I sat there pondering whether I should help them or let them all die. I don't know the most of what happened. But I do know something bad is about to happen. While I could save them just with the snap of my fingers, I feel like they don't deserve it. Or if I do go down there to help them, there's going to be some stupid plot twist where I get the blame on everything that happens. Issei. What are you going to do? Cherry asked me again. Issei Ure whispered to my name in my ear. Chapter 20. A futile attempt. Issei vs Kakabiel. Third person's POV. Everyone was at the school. Kakabiel said that he planned to start another war and he admitted that he was the one who set up the devil torture prisons. A giant dome was being made around the entire school. We've created a protective barrier around the academy. If all goes well, it should contain the damages. Sona said. Her peerage members were making the protective barrier around the school and planned to keep up for as long as they could. Thank you. This will be a big help, Sona. Ria showed gratitude to her friend. However, I can't guarantee it'll hold if the situation changes. Sona said. Tsubaki soon appeared behind them via magic circle. Irina's life is not in danger, thanks to you, Ms. Argento. Tsubaki said, talking to Asia. What a relief. Asia said with a smile on her face. I haven't seen Kiba or Zenobia. I hope they're alright. Saji said as he helped keep the protective barrier. I'm sure. And sorry for dragging you into this, Saji. Kaneko apologized to him. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to my butt for the ass whooping I got from Sona because of you. Saji joked. Saji. Sona looked at him with seriousness all over her face. Yes. He yelled and turned around. We'll do our best to keep the barrier up, but the school building may not remain intact. A very regrettable loss. Sona said. I won't let that happen. Riaz assured her. Riaz. We still have time. Call your brother. Sona suggested to Riaz. In that case, shouldn't you call your sister? Riaz also gave a suggestion to her. I'm sure your family loves you dearly. Lord Serziches will act if you call him. So please, Sona requested. I've already contacted your brother. Akeno said to Riaz. Akeno, I didn't ask you to do that. Riaz replied to her with anger in her voice. Riaz, although I fully understand that you do not wish to cause trouble for your brother, our enemy is one of the leaders of the fallen angels. This enemy is out of your league. Issei is not going to be solving this problem for us, so let's take the Satan's helping hand. Akeno said to her. Riaz sided Akeno's decision, but she smiled in approval at her. I appreciate your approval, President. Lord Serzich's reinforcements should be here in about an hour. Akeno informed Riaz. But grief. You're always one step ahead of me. Riaz smiled at Akeno. Riaz, Akeno, Kaneko and Asia ran inside the barrier to the school. We are going to storm the academy to prevent Kakabiel from releasing his power. Unlike our battle with Riser, our lives will be on the line. Riaz said to everyone. However, I won't allow any of you to die. My precious servants, come back alive so you can study here once again. Riaz commanded. Right. Everyone yelled. They went outside to confront Kakabiel. Everyone had their lives on the line. All they had to do was stall Kakabiel for about an hour until Serzich's reinforcements arrived. They looked up towards the sky and saw a yellow beam of magic eroding from somewhere. What is that? Kaneko wondered. I heard that this man's been dying to fuse four Excaliburs into one. Kakabiel said from above. Kakabiel? Riaz said. Is Serzich's coming? Or maybe Serafal? Kakabiel asked with a wicked grin spreading across his face. In the place of my brother and Lady Leviathan, we have come. Riaz informed him. Kakabiel snapped his fingers and a huge light spear appeared in his hands. He threw it towards the gym and after a few seconds, it blew up. Cement and debris went flying everywhere as people took cover. The gym? Riaz exclaimed. How dull. Oh, well. We'll have some laughs. Kakabiel grinned as the giant light spear he threw disappeared. I guess, since you've come so far, how about you play with some of my pets? Kakabiel suggested as he threw some magic to the ground. A hole opened and its entire interior was mostly enveloped in fire. A silhouette appeared in the fire. It stepped out of the hole. The being had 3 heads and was very large. Cerberus. The dog that guards the gates of hell. Akeno informed everyone. The gates of hell. Asia was terrified of the 3-headed beast. He summoned it to the human world. Let's go, Akeno, Kaneko. Riaz demanded as she got her wings out and her magic ready. Yes, President. Kaneko and Akeno said in unison as they got into their combat states. Asia, stand back. Remember that you're our support. Riaz reminded her. Right. Asia said as she backed up from the battle that was about to take place. The Cerberus blew its breath of fire towards Riaz. She flew around dodging it. Akeno used some of her magic to freeze the beast's breath of fire. Watch out, Akeno. Riaz warned her. Kaneko jumped to land a hit on one of the Cerberus's heads. Kaneko would continue to let the Cerberus have it as Akeno would join in on attacking it with her lightning. After they bombarded it with attacks, Kaneko kicked the Cerberus in one of its eyes, injuring it. The Cerberus then fell over to its side. Kaneko had her clothes ripped, so Asia rushed over to lend her some healing support. "Kaneko? Don't move," Asia said as she began to use her sacred gear on her. As that was happening, Kakabiel summoned another Cerberus. "Are they going to be okay?" Saji wondered from outside the battlefield. "We must believe, Saji. In Ria's Gremory and her family. After all, they almost took down Riser and won the game." Sona reminded him. Rias and Akeno continued to use their magic on the Cerberus, but it wasn't showing any signs of exhaustion. Rias and Akeno were though. They back off of the Cerberus for a moment to breath. At that moment, they had their guard down. The Cerberus they were attacking suddenly showed up from behind them. As they were about to be attacked, someone with a holy sword came in and sliced off one of the Cerberus's head. "Hey. I'm here to help," Zenobia said with a smile. Zenobia then proceeded to slice the Cerberus in half, destroying it. Zenobia then ran towards the other Cerberus and sliced that one in half as well. "Well, naturally, these demons are no match for a holy sword," Akeno said with a smile. "I hate to admit it, but I'm glad she came," Ria said with regret and a smile. Akeno and Rias powered themselves up to take the last Cerberus. But the Cerberus wasn't interested in them. It began to dash towards Asia's direction. "Asia. Watch out," Rias warned her. As the Cerberus inched closer, swords came sprouting from the ground, holding the Cerberus in its place in the air. "Hyoudou," Rias said with happiness as Kiba made himself known to the battlefield. "Kiba?" Asia said, relieved that Kiba came to save her. Rias smirked at Kakabiel and got her magical power ready to shoot it towards Kakabiel. "Take this," Rias yelled as she shot her power of destruction towards Kakabiel. Kakabiel smirked and redirected her magic towards the tennis court near them like it was nothing. The magic, of course, completely destroyed the tennis court. While all that was happening, a huge yellow beam made its glow frequency even higher than it already was. "At long last it's complete," Balba bellowed. Zenobia and Kiba were shocked by what he meant by that. Someone who was away from the battlefield was watching the whole thing go down. She smirked deviously as she got closer to it. "Upon the fusion of the holy swords, I will take the energy that will be released. That was our deal," Balba said. "You put that much power into an Earthbreaker spell," Rias exclaimed. "This place will be destroyed." Akeno added. "You better get out of here while you can. This whole place will be destroyed within 20 minutes," Balba said with a smile. Everybody now had their guard up and their weapons out. "If you want to stop it, you'll have to defeat me." Kakabiel brought out his wings. "What are you going to do, Ria's Gremory?" Kakabiel yelled insanely. "Do I need to answer?" Rias powered up some magic and launched in towards Kakabiel's direction. Akeno assisted Rias in attempting to attack him by summoning huge amounts of lightning and launching it towards him as well. Kakabiel smirked as he was able to catch all of the magic they launched at him in his hands. He combined both of their attacks to make a huge ball of magical power. Kakabiel launched it towards Rias. "President." Akeno tried to use some defense to protect them, but Kakabiel's magic was too powerful. Akeno's shield shattered and the both of them were hit with the magic. "Ah!" They both screamed in pain as the magic hit them. Akeno fell from the ground since she was at the front and she took the most damage. "Akeno." Rias screamed worried for her queen as she fell from the sky. Rias managed to catch her as she fell from the sky. "Akeno." Asia rushed over to give her some healing support. "We won't be able to last until Lord Serziches arrives with his reinforcements," Akeno said as she looked down at the ground. "We have to think of something." "Huh? Hyoudou?" Rias was trying to think of something, but Kiba caught her attention. Kiba was inching closer to Balba Galilei with his sword in his hand. "Balba Galilei, I'm a survivor of the Holy Sword experiments. In truth, though, you did kill me. I was only able to live by being reborn as a devil. But I could not die before I avenged my deceased friends." Kiba seethed as he ran towards Balba. "Hyoudou. Look out," Rias warned him. Kakabiel sent a huge light spear towards him. Kiba was able to barely dodge a direct hit. He laid there inside the crater that the light spear made. He avoided a direct hit. "Nimble little rat, he is." "Fried." Kakabiel called out to Fried. "Yes, boss." Fried answered back to him. "This is the last act. Use the power of the 4 holy swords and destroy these devils." Kakabiel demanded of Fried as he was next to the sword. "Gotcha. Oh, glorious Excalibur. You now rest in my hands. Now then, who's going first?" Fried asked with a sadistic smile on his face. Kaneko inched back from his words. "Looks like I'm going to have a nun steak for dinner," he yelled as he got closer to everyone. Zenobia jumped in front of Kaneko to protect her from Fried. Zenobia swung her sword at him, but he disappeared. "Too slow," Fried said as he suddenly disappeared. Fried suddenly appeared from behind her. "It's your good friend, rapidly, the chopper. This toasty Excalibur is fresh out the oven and nobody can stop it," Fried said insanely as he swung at her. Zenobia luckily dodged his swing and retaliated with a kick to his face. Oh. You fucking bitch. You're going to fucking pay for kicking me in the face. I'm gonna get you and then slice and dice you. Fried said as his sword started to expand in length thanks to its mimic attribute. Mimic ain't all I got. Nightmare. Fried started to duplicate himself visually. Here's Excalibur Nightmare. Boom. 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 Fried said maniacally as Zenobia continued to dodge all of her attacks. Which one's real? She thought to herself. Next up. Transparency. Fried's sword went invisible, as it was supposed to do. He continued to bombard her with attacks. Kaneko decided to step in and give him a kick to the face. Kiba struggled to get back up. He would try and try, but his legs were weak from the explosion. I did hear about a subject on the loose. But who would have thought he had become a devil? I'm very grateful for your contributions. Thanks to you, the experiments finally succeeded. Bulba said to him. Succeeded? What the hell do you mean? Kiba snapped at him. The power each of you subjects had was not enough to wield a holy sword on its own, which brought me to a solution. I simply had to take the power out of them. Bulba said with a maniacal grin on his face. Kiba was shocked and was getting pissed off at what he was hearing. Then, I found a way to crystallize it. Bulba said as he pulled out a crystal from his suit. This is a crystal made from the subject's power. The last one, that is. Bulba said. Everyone else died cause their bodies couldn't handle the power. Fried laughed insanely before swinging his sword at Kaneko again. Really makes you think, I've gotta be made of super awesome sauce, Fried said. Wait, he used those to give us the power we lacked in order to wield a holy sword. Zenobia wondered in shock. Those hypocrites. They shunned me as a heretic, yet they kept using the results of my research. If it were Michael, he probably took power from people without killing them. Bulba had a sadistic grin on his face. Then, there was no need to kill us. So why? Kiba yelled at him, asking why he murdered everyone. You were simply materials for those experiments. What was I supposed to do if I didn't dispose of you? Bulba asked him. We believed that we were serving the Lord and bore excruciating pain. Yet you materials. Dispose. Kiba stammered out of shock. Unbelievable, Asia muttered out of sympathy for Kiba. Bulba threw him the last crystal and it landed under his feet. Take it if you want. We have the technology to mass produce even more refined crystals. Bulba told him. Kiba picked up the crystal and remembered all the pain and suffering him and his deceased friends went through because of the experiments. My friends Bulba Galilei, how many lives did you put to waste for your experiments and your own greed? The crystal began to glow and people started to form around him. I've always wondered if I deserved to be the only survivor. Many of them had grander dreams than me. Many of them wanted to survive more than me. Did I deserve to live in peace? Kiba opened his eyes in shock to see the ghosts of his friends surrounding him. One of the ghosts tugged him on his shirts. Kiba looked down at the ghost of his friend that tugged his shirt. The ghost smiled at him before they all surrounded him even more. Don't worry, if we all come together, open your heart to all of us. Our hearts will always be one. The ghosts whispered to him. Tears fell down Kiba's face. Everyone was crying and smiling at the sight of this. Kiba was reaching his balance breaker. Oh? Kakabiel said, intrigued by this. My comrades didn't want me to exact vengeance for them. They never did. However, I must slay the evil that stands in front of me. Kiba started to walk towards Bulba. Scared, Bulba called for Fried. Fried. He called out to him. Humming. Fried ran to his aid with his Excalibur. You fool. You should have died when you had the chance. Hyoudou. Riaz got Kiba's attention. Show him what the Gremory family is made of. Riaz said to him. Everyone was cheering him on. Kiba summoned a sword to fight Fried. Come on. Enough with the Lovi inspirational moments. I wanna slice and dice me some devils and get some satisfaction. Fried said with his tongue out. I will become the sword. Kiba said as he raised his sword to the sky. My comrades, now one with my soul, let us fulfill our regrets and our dreams of those days. I will become the sword of the president and my comrades. Sword birth. His sword started to have magic envelop it. The magic was spinning circles around it and the sword was beginning to glow. Behold, the sword of betrayal, a blade that is both holy and demonic. Kiba said. A sword that's both holy and demonic, Riaz thought out loud. A holy demonic sword. That's impossible. Two opposing forces coming together. That could never happen. Bulba said in shock. Knight of Riaz Gremory, do we still stand as allies? Zenobia asked as she joined the walk towards Fried beside him. I hope so. Kiba answered her question. Then, let us work together to destroy that holy sword. Zenobia said. Are you sure? Kiba asked, looking at her. It is a holy sword, but it is not a sword that's holy. An anomalous sword. Zenobia said before she put her sword down. Petra, Basilius, Dionysus, and Mary, the Holy Mother, hear my voice. Zenobia commanded. A glowing portal opened up next to her. A sword that was wrapped with chains around it appeared from it. In the name of the saint that rests in this blade, I will unleash. Once Zenovia grabbed the sword's handle, the chain snapped, unleashing the sword. The holy sword, Durandal. Zenovia announced. The holy sword, Durandal. Kiba was shocked. It's an Excalibur tier holy sword said to be able to split anything in the world. Impossible. My research hasn't produced anyone who can wield Durandal. Bulba said. Unlike Hamarina, I'm all natural. Zenovia said with a smile. Flawless aptitude. You're a genuine holy sword wielder. Bulba was shocked of what he was both seeing and hearing. This thing cuts through anything it touches. I can hardly control it myself, so we must keep it sealed in another dimension. Zenovia said. Ain't that a bit cheap? Fried said as he started to attack Zenovia using the mimic abilities of the Excalibur. Zenovia was able to cut through the Excalibur mimic's abilities, destroying it to pieces. Didn't see that coming. Fried said. That isn't a complete holy sword. It's no match for Durandal. Zenovia tried to attack Fried, but he disappeared. Noticing that Fried was trying to attack Zenovia from behind, Kiba stepped in and took on the battle. After a while of Kiba and Fried slashing and slicing at each other, Kiba finally got the upper hand and broke the Excalibur that Fried was wielding. Are you serious? That devil shit is beating me? There's no awe. Fried screamed a little as a blue glow enveloped his right arm. Did you see that, my comrades? My power has surpassed that of Excalibur. Kiba said with a tear flowing down his face. I can't believe my eyes. In theory, the holy and the demonic can never awe. Bulba shrieked in fear as he saw Kiba move a bit closer to him. Bulba Galilei, prepare to die. Kiba said to Bulba. I see. I understand. Everything makes sense if the balance between the holy and the demonic are skewed. Therefore, both the Satans and God can. Bulba was interrupted by a light spear piercing his stomach. His body disappeared along with the light spear after he was pierced by it. Bulba, you were very capable. That fact that you reached that conclusion proves it. Kakabiel said as he flew in closer. Kakabiel, what's going on? Riaz asked him. I don't need these men to complete my plan. Riaz Gremory, maximize your power. Kakabiel commanded. Riaz did as he told him to. Magical power completely engulfed her entire body. The air started to get heavier. That's the power of ultimate class devil, Riaz Gremory. I can feel it. Kakabiel said. Riaz started to fire lots of heavy magic at him. To Riaz's surprise, it wasn't doing anything to him. Yes. This is power, sister of a Satan, sister of Surziches. Kakabiel yelled. Riaz increased her magic, but it would all be in vain. Riaz's magical power stopped flowing out of her and she fell to the floor from exhaustion. Akeno, she muttered. Akeno began to summon lots of lightning once more and sent it all towards Kakabiel. Like Riaz, it did nothing except make her feel more exhausted. Kakabiel used his wings to block her attack. You dare try to stop me, wielder of Barakiel's powers? Kakabiel asked. Don't you dare associate me with that name. Akeno get mad and tried to use some lightning, but found that she was too weak. I see you love to collect junk. Just like your brother Surziches. Kakabiel said to her. Riaz didn't have any energy to speak. Asia rushed over to Riaz and Akeno to give them healing. But now, Riaz Gremory. Should I finish you off before or after your brother comes? Kakabiel taunted her. Hurry up, you guys. I'm exhausted. Saji said exhausted from holding up the barrier. Saji. Concentrate. Tsubaki commanded. Why yes. Saji was now awake could keep going, but not for long. Tsubaki and I may be alright, but the other are running out of power. Riaz Sona thought to herself. The baby was crawling around the town. The baby was minding its own business until it noticed a big barrier surrounding the entire school. Interested, the baby decided to crawl its way to the school. Outside was the student council trying to keep the barrier up for longer. One of the members noticed the baby and made the president notice it too. A baby? President. There's a baby. One of the members called out to Sona. Sona saw the baby. She wanted to save it, but she was the main source to the barrier over the school staying up. No. Don't go in there. It's dangerous. Sona said, warning the baby. She and everyone else were shocked when they watched the baby crawl through the barrier. It. Saji yelled, very surprised of what he was seeing. Everybody watched the baby crawl into the school. He's going to get killed. Tsubaki said, worried about the baby. Well, what can we do? Sona stopped talking when she noticed the baby left behind a trail of blood. The baby crawled through the school all the way to the battlefield. There, it saw Riaz, Akeno, Kaneko, Zenovia and Kiba all suffering from a losing battle. The baby slowly crawled its way over to Riaz and Asia. Asia was healing Riaz of her wounds that she had. Akeno, Kiba and Zenovia regrouped with Riaz and Asia while Kakabiel took to the sky again. The baby with blood leaking from its eyes made its way over to Riaz. Riaz felt something tug on her shoulder. She looked over and saw a cute baby with blood streaming from its eyes down its face. Aw. A baby. Baby. What are you doing here? How did you even get in here? Riaz wondered. Everyone's attention was on the baby. "Aw, so cute," Asia said with a smile as she continued to heal Ria's and Akeno's wounds. Things started to take a turn when the baby started to heal Akeno and Ria's. They were both up and ready to fight, but they were too confused to. Ria's took the baby into her hands. "Those eyes," Ria's pointed out. The baby's eyes were red. Well. Now's not the time to be caring for children," Kakabiel said as he threw a giant light spear at everyone. Everybody was shocked when they weren't blown up. They slowly opened their eyes to see that someone had caught the light spear. "Issei." Ria's embraced him hard. Issei didn't do anything except embrace her back. Thank goodness. Ria said as tears started to fall down her face. "No way," Kiba smiled, realizing that Issei was the baby. "Oh. What do we have here? A red dragon emperor?" Kakabiel smiled. Issei's POV. "That's quite an entrance. Don't you think, Issei?" Asia embraced me too. I then gave Ria's a kiss on her lips. She kissed me back, no questions. We let go after some time. She then stared deep into my eyes. "I'm sorry." I apologized to her. Ria's gasped the moment I spoke to her. "Don't worry. I forgive you. I always will." Ria said. "She really does have a good heart." I snapped my fingers and everyone was healed up. "Go watch the show with Sona," I demanded. Everyone was confused, but they nodded and made their way to the barrier. "Ria's." Sona was surprised to see Ria's. "Take down the barrier," she yelled. Sona signaled that everyone stop using their magic for the barrier, and everyone did. "What happened? Are you okay?" Sona asked her. Just as Ria's was about to answer, two very important people showed up. "Sona." Serafal screamed as she hugged her sister tight. Hey. Sona said to her. "Ria's. Are you okay?" Serziches was quick to worry about her sister. "Yes. I'm fine, brother." Ria's answered him. "We heard what happened, I brought some help. Let's go." Serziches was quick to lead the way, but he was stopped by her sister. "Wait, we already have reinforcements," Ria said with a smile. Serziches was confused by what she meant. But it all soon came together. Serziches demanded that everyone follow him. Everyone followed him to the battlefield, but he stopped once he saw me and Kakabiel. I tore off my shirt, sprouted my dragon wings from my back, and flew towards Kakabiel. "I have a few questions I want to ask you," I said in a quiet, cold and scary manner. Okay." Kakabiel was getting nervous, but he continued to act tough. "I heard that you were trying to start a war. Is that correct?" I asked him in a quiet tone. "Yes. I want to start another war with the devils, the fallen angels and God," Kakabiel admitted. More blood started to stream down my face onto the ground. "Okay. Second question. Are you responsible for the devil torture prisons?" I asked him. "Don't worry about that." He answered me, avoiding the question with his stupid grin. "Oh. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you think you had a choice," I said as I summoned my pistol and shot him once in the stomach. He went flying into the ground. I chased after him and I grabbed him by his disgusting hair. "I'm asking the questions and you're going to give me the answers," I said, putting my pistol in his mouth. "Is that clear?" I questioned him. He nodded out of fear and I took the gun out of his mouth. He gagged and then got back into the sky with me. Everyone walked up to watch me show Kakabiel he was nothing. I noticed that Serziches was here. I summoned another pistol and shot at his feet. He got scared and backed up, along with everyone else. "Stay away if you don't want to die. You and I aren't on good terms, Serziches," I said to him. Kakabiel smiled and thought he could use this to his advantage later on. "Now, back to me and you. Did you start the devil torture prisons?" I asked him again. "Yes. I did start the devil torture prisons," Kakabiel admitted. "What was your intent when you started them?" I questioned Kakabiel. "My intent was to start another war with the devils and maybe get God involved too," Kakabiel admitted. "You know. You're the reason that I despise fallen angels," I began. "What's it to you? What are you possibly going to do?" Kakabiel laughed and then yelled at me. I shot my pistols to the sky to shut him up. "I need you to understand one thing and one thing only. You're not in control here. You were never in control and you never will be in control," I said, getting really close to him. "Do you realize what you've done to many people? You've probably scarred them for life. You know." "Oh. Never mind. You don't. Those prisons you set up to torture, gape and kill people. People who didn't deserve to die were killed. And you almost killed a lot of good people," I said, looking towards Ria's. "I was branded a criminal. I did some bad stuff, I will admit. But people didn't let me change. I saved lots of people from what could have happened in those prisons. Some people don't even appreciate it. That's why I want to go back to the first question I asked. Are you trying to start a war?" I asked him once more. "Yes, I am," Kakabiel admitted once again. "I want to join you," I revealed to him. Kakabiel smiled and everyone's eyes went wide when they heard me reveal this. "Issei. What are you doing?" Riaz yelled at me. Issei. Are you insane? Kibo also yelled at me. Issei Asia muttered out of fear for what was going to happen. I haven't exactly been getting the best treatment from the supernatural. Every time I've tried to do good, people bring up my past crimes and what I've done. I thought about ending everyone and everything. I have the power to destroy the entire world and everyone wants me dead for it. I explained to him. I see. Kakabiel smiled. So how about it? You've seen what I can do. The amount of destruction I can cause just by doing this. I demonstrated by snapping my fingers. All of a sudden, the entire town around us blew up. All the people in their houses were gone. Issei. Ria screamed at me. What are you doing? Serziches questioned me. You shut your mouth. I demanded. Serziches did as he was told. Don't you realize what you've done? The amount of people you've just killed. Zenobia also yelled at me. What difference is it going to make? I'm still branded a criminal. Right. I said. Everyone was getting pissed off at me. So how about it? I'm at your control. I do whatever you tell me to do. No matter what the task is. I said, trying to convince him. Yes. The Red Dragon Emperor at my power. People will have no choice but to listen to me. Why? Because of you. People hate you. People despise you. People won't ever listen to whatever you have to say or do. Why? Because you're powerful. Kakabiel started to let his imagination go crazy. What else is unbelievable is how the people of church can still fight after they've lost their master. Kakabiel said. What? What do you mean? Zenobia asked him. Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. Kakabiel answered her. Answer me, Kakabiel. Zenobia demanded. Oh yeah. That's right. I'm trying to start a war so I have nothing to hide. In the Great War, the 4 great Satans died and so did God. Kakabiel revealed. Everybody was shocked when they heard this. So? How about it? I asked him. That can't be. God is dead. Zenobia stuttered. Stop lying. Brother. Tell me he's lying. Riaz demanded. Serziches looked to the ground in shame. Riaz was shocked to hear what she was hearing. The war brought an end to all Satans and many high-class devils. As well as most lower angels and fallen angels. Pure angels could no longer reproduce and there are only a few thousand pure-blood devils. All 3 factions needed to rely on humans to survive. The leaders of the 3 major factions, angels, fallen angels, and devils, concealed God's death to make the humans, who believe in God, survive. Kakabiel explained to everyone. Then where has his love been coming from? Asia asked, shaking from what was happening. Michael's been doing a good job. He's taken God's role in leading both the angels and the humans. Kakabiel revealed to her. Asia then fainted. All of this was started to become too much for her. While watching Asia faint, Kakabiel had another idea. And do want to know who was responsible for it? It's him. The Red Dragon Emperor. Kakabiel said. This seemed to shock even more people. And the thing is, people will believe him. Why? Because I have the power that can point to me as the perpetrator. So, are we going to do it? I said, sticking my hand out for a handshake. My plan is working. Of course. Kakabiel shook my hand, excited about everything. Well, before that happens, I want to play a game with you. I went back to talking in a quiet, cold and scary tone. How interesting. Go on. Kakabiel smiled at me. You need to prove to me that you're worthy of being in charge of me. All you have to do is land a scratch on me. I said. Kakabiel thought this was going to be easy. He felt like he had all the confidence in the world. If you land a scratch on me, you win. But when I tear off all 10 of those disgusting wings of yours, I win. I said. Kakabiel immediately started to summon tons of light spears. I was able to dodge all of them easily. What? Kakabiel was starting to get frustrated. He and I started to fly around the sky. Issei, what are you doing? Riaz wondered as tears fell down her cheeks. Yes. I've got you now. Kakabiel said as he fired his light spears at me. They all missed. I then went behind him and ripped off one of his wings. Aye. Kakabiel screamed in pain as I ripped off his first wing. That was for telling Asia that God dead. I said as blood fell from my eyes onto the ground. Kakabiel continued to try and attack me. He started to get into really close contact. He started to use his light weapons to try and attack me. I backed up from him and then used my magic to make an exact replica of the sun. I started to bring it closer to Kakabiel. What the hell? What the fuck is that? He screamed. Yeah. I won't use that. You're not worth it. I put away the replica of the sun and he got back to trying to use close combat to his advantage. I decided to use it to my advantage and rip off another one of his wings. Aye. He screamed in even more pain than last time. That was for attacking Riaz. I said. We continued our battle. Kakabiel was still trying to land a hit on me. It was weird to watch. Serziches was still in shock from the sun attack and how I was able to do so easily. Serafal and Surziches were both thinking the same thing. Come on. Stop playing games with me. Kakabiel said as he summoned a giant magic ball. This was one of his most powerful attack. His smile showed that he was confident that it would hit me. He launched it towards me hoping that it will do something to hurt me. I snapped my fingers and summoned a giant black hole, bigger than anyone's ever seen. It could have been able to swallow up millions of galaxies, yet I used it for such a small purpose. It made his magic look so little compared to it. The black hole completely swallowed his magic, not leaving a trace left. After I did that, I got rid of the black hole like nothing happened. Such power. Serafal awed my power. It was so much compared to her own. It made her feel small. I went behind Kakabiel and then ripped off another one of his wings. Ah. Every time I ripped off one of his wings, his screaming gets louder. Are you even trying at this point? I asked him. Blood started to form where his wings were being teared off. Come on. I said as I summoned a cup and let my blood flow inside it. Once the cup was full, I sipped the whole cup full of my own blood like it was nothing. Erg. Kakabiel was still frustrated. He continued to bombard me with attacks using his light weapons. It was starting to sink into his mind that he wasn't winning this fight. I see why you're the most wanted in the supernatural. This power. Kakabiel said as he balled up his fist. Hey, I said as I expanded my huge dragon wings even more. Have you ever felt the wrath of a dragon before? I asked him. He was started to shake out of fear. I summoned some fire in my hand, I aimed it towards him. I shot the flames towards his wings. My flames were very fast so he didn't have enough time to do anything to stop it. Aye. Kakabiel screamed in pain as my flames burned three more of his wings. 6 down, 4 more to go. I said. I summoned Denzel and charged towards him. I struck him in the chest. He coughed out lots of blood and tried to cover his mouth to stop the bleeding. What is that blade? It's like nothing I've seen before. Zenobia wondered. Those 3 wings were for hurting Akeno, Kiba and trying to hurt Asia. I said it before and I'll say it again. You hurt my comrades or those close to me, you die. I said as I was shoving my sword deeper into his chest. I slowly pulled my sword out of his chest and watched him fall to the ground. Blood leaked from his mouth and his chest. I then came crashing down on him. Using my foot, I gave him the biggest kick to his back that he's ever felt before. I wanted to rip these last 3 off by force. To show you how weak you are compared to me. I put my hands on 2 of his wings and then forcefully ripped them off. He, of course, screamed in pain when his wings got ripped off. You think you'll achieve anything by killing me? Kakabiel said as he coughed out more blood from his mouth. Did you really think I would ever team up with you? How delusional were you? There's no way I would ever team up with a fallen angel. To destroy the world nonetheless. The world hasn't been kind to me, I guess. But it doesn't mean that I want to kill everyone. There are some surprisingly good people out there. I told Kakabiel as I put one of my arms on his last remaining wing. Besides. Things can change, you know. I said as I snapped my fingers, bringing back the entire town and its people. The people were confused for a moment but continued on with their business like nothing happened. The town. Serafal beamed. It's back. Riaz was also happy to see the town back to normal. As everybody was happy to have the town back, I turned to Kakabiel. Wait please. Spare me. Kakabiel begged me to spare him. You revealed that God is dead to Asia. You tried to blame it on me and moreover, you hurt my friends. I said as I slowly teared off his last wing. Aye. He screamed in pain for the last time ever. Game over. I win. I said as I used my sword to slice his head off of his body, killing him. All of a sudden, someone in a white balance breaker appeared. Oh. Hey Valerie. I greeted the White Dragon Empress. Hey rival. Sorry about what happened earlier, Azazel made me a promising deal. She told me. It's fine, I guess. I accepted her apology. And geez, partner. You look rough. You have blood running down your face from your eyes. Valerie said. Yeah. Was all I said to her. Unfortunately, I can't stay to chat. I've come to collect a dumb bird. Valerie said, referring to Kakabiel. I used my sword to slice open Kakabiel by his stomach. I reached inside and grabbed out his large intestine and his stomach. Which part would you like? His head, his large intestine, his stomach. I said, giving Valerie lots of choices. Valerie was starting to get sick. She came out her balance breaker to throw up out of disgust. Rival, that's disgusting. Valerie said as she threw up all over where she stood. Unfortunately, I don't forgive you just yet. I snapped my fingers. All of her clothes were teared off from her by an unknown force. Hhhhh. Valerie screamed out of embarrassment as she tried to cover her important parts. I need to take a few pictures. I said, holding a camera. Oh gosh. He's back. Riaz smiled. After I was done taking pictures of her, I snapped my fingers and gave her back her clothes. I then threw her Kakabiel's corpse and put my sword away. Now get out of here. I demanded of her. She nodded her head, got back into her balance breaker, and took off with Cacabial in her hands. Well, I guess that's over, huh? I said. I walked up to the others. Serziches and Serafo looked at me in shock and amazement. I guess we're no longer needed. I'll talk to you later, Riaz. Serziches said as he grabbed Serafo and his reinforcements with him and disappeared via magic circle. I never would have thought that you were the White Dragon Empress would have showed up. Sona said. Yeah. I guess you're right. His power is terrifying, but he saved the town. Riaz said with a smile. You're right. Now, Tsubaki. Let's repair the school. We should be done by the morning. Sona commanded. Is it over? No. Someone else has taken up that man's research. My battle is not over yet. Kiba said to himself. Wow. A holy demonic sword. I forgot I made one of these before. It's cool that you made this. Nice job, Kiba. I praised him. Issei. I see you're doing okay. Kiba said to me. Kiba, you'll come back to the club room, right? Asia asked her. Asia, Kiba said. I bet Asia is frightened by what she just heard. But she's alright. I'm sure she'll get over it. In the end, everyone's safe. Hyoudou. Riaz called out to Kiba. President. Kiba noticed her and she got his attention. Thank you for coming back. You even achieved balance breaker. I could ask for nothing more from my servant. Riaz said. Kiba got on one knee and put HS sword to the ground. President, I turned my back on my fellow club members and you, my savior. I cannot apologize enough for what I've done. Kiba said, really regretting what he did. Nevertheless, you came back. That's all I needed. Embrace your friendships. Riaz said to him. President, I will pledge here once again. I, Kiba Hyoudou, will serve as Riaz Gremory's kin and knight and protect you and your allies until the end of my life. Riaz gave Kiba a hug after his pledge. Thank you, Hyoudou. Riaz said as he got some magic ready in her hand. Now, it's time for your punishment. 1,000 spankings. Riaz said with a smile. Kiba. Wanna go to the gym? I asked him, trying to get him out of his punishment. Yes, Issei. It has been a while since we've went there, hasn't it? Kiba said nervously. Alright. Let's go, then. I suggested to him. You two, wait right there. Riaz said playfully as she sent Akeno and Kaneko after us. I snapped my fingers and gave Kiba some speed. You should be able to keep up. Let's go. I said as me and Kiba went speeding away from everyone. Zenobia was standing by, watching everything happen. Time skip. It's been a day since everything happened. Kiba's now back. So that's cool, I guess. Issei, you're not crying blood anymore. Riaz said, happy for me. Yeah. I still don't know why it happened. I said to her as she rested my head on her thighs. They're so soft. I thought to myself. Yurei and Cherry soon walked in on Riaz sandwiching me with her thighs. Issei. Cherry screamed at me. Both of the twins climbed on top of me and rubbed their thighs onto me. Does Issei like thighs now? Yurei asked me. Come on, you two. I muttered. Riaz chuckled at what she caused. Soon after, someone I didn't expect walked through the door. Greetings, criminal dragon emperor. Zenobia greeted me. Blood started to fall from my eyes again. I stood up from me being sandwiched with thighs. What are you doing here? I asked her in a dark and scary tone. After finding out about God's death, I didn't know where to go. So I begged Riaz to make me a devil. Zenobia explained to her. It will be nice to have someone who can wield Durandal. Riaz said to everyone. How ironic. You said yourself that you hate devils, but you've become one yourself. Asia may have forgiven you, but I haven't. I said as I summoned my pistols and aimed them at her. You're still a little bitch to me. How does it feel to be treated the way Asia did? Surely, you were branded as a heretic by the church or something. There's no way that let you off. A freak like you doesn't deserve to live. I do you a favor by killing you right here, right now. I said as I put the pistols to her forehead. Any last words? I asked her about to pull both of the triggers. Issei. Stop it, now. Riaz demanded. Fine. I sighed and put my pistols away and went back to sit down. I'm sorry about that, Zenobia. Riaz apologized on my behalf. It's fine. I know he's mad at me. Zenobia said. Welcome to my peerage, Zenobia. Riaz welcomed her. Zenobia shook everyone's hand and everyone welcomed her. When she tried to get me to shake her hand, I pushed her hand away. I won't be as friendly as the others. You'll have to earn my trust. I said to her before me and the twins left for the house. A trail of blood followed behind me as I walked. I'm sorry, Irina. But the next time we see each other, we will be enemies. Zenobia thought to herself. She had to tell Irina about her decision to become a devil. Irina was of course not happy with it. After all, they were partners. Irina labeled Zenobia a traitor and they went their separate ways. Time skip third person's POV. Riaz and Akeno were at the store choosing different kinds of bras and panties to wear to impress Issei. Oh my. I think Issei will be very fond of this. Akeno laughed. Yeah. I also think Issei's a fan of this, isn't he? Riaz asked her. I don't know. Send him a picture. Akeno suggested to Riaz. Riaz did as she suggested. She didn't know how he will react to it. I'm sure he'll love it, now come on. Let's head home, Akeno. Riaz said, referring to Issei's house. I'm sure he'll love the suits we've chosen for him to see us in. Akeno said with a smile on her face. They both headed home, carrying lots of bags that were full of bras, panties and swimsuits. They both smiled as they thought about what Issei's reaction will be to them wearing what they bought at the store. Chapter 21. Not so warm welcome date gone wrong. Issei's POV. I won't accept that bitch into Ria's peerage. She threatened to kill Asia and started a fight with me. She's going to have to beg for my forgiveness. Issei. Riaz called out to me from downstairs. I headed downstairs towards the door and saw them carrying a ton of bags with about 20 pieces of clothing in each. They were each carrying at least 5 bags. Geez. What the hell happened to you two? I asked as I summoned another pair of arms to make carrying the bags easier. I now had 4 arms attached to my body. Oh my, Issei. When did you learn this new trick? Akeno asked me with a smile on her face for helping her and Riaz with their bags. Oh. I was always able to do this. I just don't do it. There are a lot of things I like to keep to myself. I said to her, answering her question. I helped the bags up to my room. My room is pretty big and there's a lot of space to put things. Thank you, Issei. Riaz thanked me as she and Akeno walked towards my room to wash up. Anytime, I guess. Why do girls always shop so much? I asked, muttering to myself as I put away my extra pair of arms. Nighttime soon came. Riaz and Akeno decided to sleep with me tonight, making the bed even more crowded. I stayed up just to think about everything happened previously. I could hear all the girls in my bed snoring as I looked up at the ceiling. Issei. Riaz spoke to me as she rolled over to face me. Oh, Riaz, you're not asleep. I asked her. I was about to. But I decided to see if you were awake. Riaz admitted to me. I wanted to have a talk with my cute little pawn. Riaz said to me as she wrapped her arms around my neck and brought herself closer to me. Well, what did you want to talk about? I asked Riaz. I just wanted to ask you for one favor. Riaz said to me, raising my interest. I guess I can say I can do it, no matter what it is. So, name it. I told her to tell me her request. Please. I know how much you don't like her. But please, don't hurt Zenobia. Riaz requested to me with a smile. My eyes began to bleed. The blood sunk into the sheets. Issei. Your eyes are you're leaking blood from your eyes again. Riaz exclaimed, worried about me. Yeah. We found out that it happens to me whenever I get what's the word I'm looking for. I wondered to myself. Angry? Riaz guessed. Yeah, that's it. This happens whenever I get angry or hear something displeasing to me. I explained to her. Oh. Well, all I ask is that you at least give her a chance. She came to me with nowhere to go. Riaz told me. Well, you should have let her have nowhere to go. Now, not only do I hate her, but the church does too. Soon, she'll be killed. People might come after her. Aren't you worried about that? I asked her. Of course not. She answered me as a smile appearing on her face. Why? I asked her another question. Because she'll have you to protect her. Riaz answered me as she brought my head down to her breasts. She gave me a kiss on the forehead. I'm not going to protect her. She's as good as dead. We don't even need her. I will not protect that piece of trash. I stated to her harshly. Riaz gave me a death stare after what I said. Issei. Why are you so mean? You haven't even given her a chance. Riaz argued with me. She attacked Asia. I argued back with her. She apologized. Me and Riaz realized we could wake someone up, so we kept the noise of our argument down. Look, Issei. Just please, give her a chance. As your master, I command you to cooperate with Zenobia, now she is a member of my peerage. Riaz commanded. No. I answered to her commands. Please, Issei. I'll anything you say if you just do it for a day. Riaz said in a seducing tone of voice as she pressed her body up against mine. No. Seducing me won't work in this situation. I told her. Aw. I was sure that would work. Come on, Issei. At least call her. Talk to her. Riaz suggested to me. Fine. I sighed. I reached over everyone who was sleeping and grabbed my phone. I went to my contacts to see her number with her name were already saved to my contacts. Wait, why is she already saved to my contacts? I asked Riaz. I put it there. Riaz answered me with a smile. But how did you whatever? Doesn't matter now. I tapped on the number and pressed call. My phone began to ring. I started to hear another phone ring inside the house. That's weird. Why do I hear a phone ringing from inside the house? I asked her. I got off the bed to follow the sound of the ringing. Wait, Issei. Just stay here. You have no reason to go out and look for the sound. Ria said nervously, blocking the door for me to leave. I walked past her and continued to follow the sound. After a while, I was led to a room. The sound of a phone ringing was heard from the other side of the door. This must be it. I said as I walked towards the door. Ria's was running behind me. She was about to say something, but I didn't let her. I opened the door. Behind it was a blue-haired girl in nothing but her bra and panties. She was a little bit dizzy because she just woke up. What? I said. Zenobia was in my house. But how? I would never invite her in here. Issei. Riaz yelled as she ran into the room. Riaz. I'm going to ask you one time and one time only. How and why she here? I said pointing to the now awake Zenobia. Well, Riaz was nervous to answer. We put her on the wait list. Cherry suddenly appeared and answered the question I asked Riaz. Why? I didn't tell you to. I said to Cherry. Yeah. Well, Riaz asked me to. She also told me not to tell you. Cherry revealed to me. Cherry. You promised. Riaz yelled at her. There's no point in hiding it. He knows now. Cherry said as she headed back to bed. Yeah. I know now. I said as I summoned both of my pistols in each of my hands. President. What's going on? Zenobia asked her neutrally. You're very clueless, huh? You're going to die now. Any last words? I asked her as I put my pistols to her forehead. Issei. Stop. Riaz yelled loudly, getting my attention. Please. I beg of you. Don't kill her. She's trying to change. She's trying to have a life as a devil. Please. If not for her, then for me. Just please, don't kill her. Riaz was tugging onto my arm really hard. Her tugging started to soften up when I heard sniffle sounds come out of her. DP please don't, Riaz was crying. I promised that I wouldn't hurt her or anyone in her peerage. If I can't do that, then I would have lied to her by hurting Zenobia. I would have broken my promise to her. I removed the pistols away from her forehead and put them away. I grabbed Riaz and gave her a hug. I'm sorry, Riaz. I'll do this. For you, and you only. I promised her. Is that his affectionate side? I wish I were in her position. But right now, he hates me. The only reason he won't hurt me is because I'm a part of Ria's peerage now. If I wasn't, he probably would have thrown me around like garbage before finally killing me. Zenobia thought as she watched me comfort Riaz. Now head on back to the room. I suggested to her. Riaz nodded her head and slowly made her way back to the room. I promise we'll get Al. I summoned my pistol again and shot towards the wall next to her, nearly hitting her and shutting her up. Shut up. I said as I shot towards her feet, missing on purpose. And when we're at school, stay the fuck away from me. I'm doing this for Riaz. If you weren't here right now, I would have thrown you around like garbage before finally killing you. And yes, I did read your thoughts. I said to her, before I was out of the room, slamming her door behind me. What can I do to make him like me? Zenobia wondered as a tear rolled down her cheeks. She was surprised by this. I'm crying. Huh. So this is what it feels like to be hated so much. Zenobia buried her face in her pillow and let out all of her tears and sobs. As I was walking away, I heard her start sobbing. It was muffled and hard to hear, but I was able to tell that she was crying. I shrugged it off and went back to my bed with Riaz waiting for me. I climbed into the bed with her. Issei. Thank you. She said as she put our foreheads together. Don't worry. I always keep my promises. I promised her. Issei, for some reason, her words were now echoing throughout my mind. Her words were like magic. I could stare into her eyes for hours. Riaz. Can you get up for a second? I requested of her. Huh? Sure. I'll go get some clothes. She said as she got out of bed. I grabbed her wrist and put her on my shoulders. Don't worry. You don't need them. I opened up a weird-looking magic teleportation circle. Riaz was scared so she held on tight to me. Don't worry. We're not going anywhere scary. Well, we are, but don't worry. I'm here. I said as I walked through the magic circle with her mounting my shoulders. On the other side, there was nothing. I was showing Riaz the void for the very first time. Whoa. What is this place? Riaz asked, surprised of where she was taken. This is the void. There's also an alternate dimension of the void where times goes faster in the real world. I explained to her. This is where I've been mostly. Just training, making stuff, or just talking to Issei and Cherry. I added. Oh. How do you do anything in here? Riaz asked me. It's all up to your imagination. I snapped my fingers. A city suddenly appeared and we were in some average city clothes. Wow. Riaz thought to herself. After walking around and exploring the city for a while, the city simulation soon disappeared, along with our clothes. What? Riaz was confused on what happened to her clothes. Basically, I just wanted to show you something only me, Drake, Denzel and the girls know about. In this place, anything is possible. I said getting closer to her. And I mean anything. I whispered softly into her ear as I slowly embraced her from behind. She flipped herself around so that she was facing me. I made sure to hold Riaz close to me. Issei, this warmth you have, it's irresistible. I can't get enough of it. Riaz breathed as she brought our bodies together, closing the space that was remaining between us. Really, do you like this that much? I asked her, returning the embrace to her. Yes. I do. Riaz answered me. She's sweating. Is the warmth I have really doing that to her? Well, she said that she likes it, so I may as well enjoy seeing her like this. Riaz was breathing so heavily, like she was going to faint. You want to get out of here? You don't look so well. I asked Riaz. No. I want to stay here with you. Please, Riaz responded to me, still breathing heavily. I took her in my arms and brought her face up to mine. Riaz, I whispered into her ear. Riaz couldn't take it anymore. She then pushed her lips onto mine. She really wanted to get rough. And she wasn't usually like this, but I decided to be rough too. Our lips and tongues battled each other for each other's dominance. It went on for quite some time. Sometimes, I wish these moments could last forever. Soon, our lips parted from each other and we just stared deep into each other's eyes. Your body itself is so beautiful. I'm never letting anyone take you from me. I promised her. I know. After all, you are my one and only cute little pawn. Riaz cooed, smiling at me. Wanna go back to sleep in my room? I asked her. She nodded and buried her head in my chest. I opened a magic portal back up to the room. I walked through it carrying her and it closed behind me. I carefully placed Riaz down onto the bed. Please. All I ask is you give her a chance. Riaz said to me as I got into the bed. Fine. I sighed. I'll try. Nothing more, nothing less. If she does anything I don't like, I'm never talking to her again. I stated to her. Riaz chuckled at my stubbornness. That's all I'll ask of you for now, Issei. Riaz said as she wrapped her arms around my neck. Sleep well, my little pawn. She chuckled before giving me a kiss on my neck and falling asleep. Good night, Riaz. I wished her good night as I, too, fell asleep after that. Time skip. I still can't believe how big this place is. I feel like I've gotten lost. Zenobia said to herself out loud. She was walking around just exploring the place. She had never been in a place this big. After walking around the place for a while, she eventually found herself smelling something. What is that? Smells good. Zenobia smiled as she used her nose to find her way to the kitchen. Right now, she was playing a game of hot and cold with herself to find her way to everyone. She would be able to tell when she was getting farther from the smell and when it was getting closer. It's getting really close. It must be through here. Zenobia said, with the smell of food being really strong. She opened the door and was led to the kitchen. Everybody was sitting down waiting for breakfast to be served to them. Good morning, everyone. Zenobia greeted everyone sitting at the table. Everyone greeted her back except me. Oh. Good morning, Zenobia. Asia greeted her back. Sometimes, I feel like she's too friendly. Was it easy finding your way here? Riaz asked her. No. This house is just so big. I had to follow the smell of food to find you all here. Zenobia said, rubbing the back of her head out of embarrassment. Oh. When I was here, I had Issei tell me where everything was. Maybe you could just ask him. Asia was suddenly cut off by me. No. I interrupted Asia's question, already giving my answer before she asked it. Oh. Well, sorry Zenobia. It looks like he still doesn't like you. But he'll come around to like you. Asia assured her. I hope so, Zenobia said, looking down at the table. Don't worry, Zenobia. Issei is not mean, he's just different when it comes to people he doesn't know. Akeno told Zenobia. Or like. I added to what Akeno said. And that haha. Kiba chuckled. After everybody was talking, I was finally done with making everyone's breakfast. Alright. Breakfast is served. I announced to everybody, levitating everyone's plate of food to where they sat. Everybody except Zenobia had their plate of food. Once I sat down to eat, Zenobia spoke up. Issei. Where's my food? Zenobia asked nervously. You get nothing. Because that's what your worth is. I answered harshly to her. Issei. Riaz yelled at me, banging on the table. Fine. I sighed as I levitated her plate to her. I placed her plate of food on the floor next to her. Why is it on the floor? Zenobia asked me. You're a bitch. You lead off the floor like bitches do. I said to her. Issei. That's no language to use so early in the morning. Asia scolded me. Issei. You said you'd give her a chance. Riaz reminded me of what we agreed on last night. Fine. Here. I sighed, levitating her plate of food onto the table where she was sitting. There. Happy? I said, looking at Riaz. I feel like I'm not wanted here, so I'll just eat in my room. Zenobia said with a little sob coming out of her voice. She remembered where her room was, luckily, so she went to go eat there. She left behind little sob sounds as she exited the kitchen. Issei. This isn't what we agreed on. Ria said in a serious tone of voice. You didn't even give her a chance. Look at how sad you made her, and for what, Issei? For what? Ria's also scolded me as she ran up to Zenovia's room to check on her. You sure know how to hold a grudge, don't you, Issei? Kaneko asked me. You just have to hate someone for a long time. Kind of like what you have going on. I said, referring to Kaneko's hate for her sister. What do you mean? Kaneko asked me, slightly unsteady by what I meant. Never mind. Let's not go there. I said as I poured the breakfast down my throat. I didn't chew it much. It was just a pour and swallow process. I'm Skip. My name is Zenovia Quarta. I hope we get along. Zenovia introduced herself to the class. It's pretty obvious that Ria's pulled some strings with Sona to get her in my classes too. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Quarta? The teacher of the class asked my classmates. Yeah. Where do you live right now? One of the girls asked Zenovia. I am currently living with Ria's and a few others at Issei's house. She answered. You fucking idiot. I thought to myself. The class start to talk quietly against themselves instead of making a scene. Once everyone was done, they all looked towards me to confirm this. Issei, is that true? One of the many people in the class asked me. Of course not. There's no way I'd let this piece of trash stay with me. I answered them. Everyone was so surprised when they heard me call her a piece of trash. To them, she was just another person that was new to the school. How could you say that about her? Someone scolded me for what I said. I was going to let them hate me for it. I wasn't even going to try and throw words back at them. With Yurei and Cherry by my side, I got through the class. The end of the day came. I decided to not hold Yurei and Cherry back and sent them home. As I was about to head home myself, something really caught my eye. From afar, I saw Zenovia talking to Mitsuda. I decided to stay back and use my enhanced senses to listen to their conversation. Thank you for showing me around the school. Zenovia said, waiting for Mitsuda to give her his name. Oh. I'm Mitsuda. Mitsuda introduced himself to her as he stuck his hand out to her. Zenovia shook his hand. After a good 2-second handshake, their hands parted from each other. Well, I appreciate the tour. I should probably be heading home now. Zenovia said, walking in the opposite direction of Mitsuda. Just as I was about head home myself, I heard something else be said by Mitsuda. Wait. He said. Zenovia stopped walking away from him and turned around to face him. Is there something wrong? Zenovia asked Mitsuda. This was strange. You're living with Issei, right? He asked her. Yes, I am. Zenovia answered him with a hint of sadness in her voice. What's wrong, Zenovia? Is there anything going on between you and Issei? Mitsuda asked her. No, it's nothing, Zenovia answered Mitsuda, looking away from him. You don't have to tell me. But maybe telling someone is the best way to get it off your chest. Mitsuda suggested to her. Something's wrong. He's acting like a gentleman to her. I've never seen him act like this. He probably just wants her for her body. He probably doesn't even care about her. But I could be wrong. I continued to watch them talk to each other. Zenovia went on about how I didn't make her feel welcome in my house. Because she wasn't. After telling him her sad little sob story, Mitsuda had another question to ask her. Are you interested in him? In any way? Mitsuda asked nervously. This is clearly his first time actually talking to a girl. At the moment, no. He treats me like I'm nothing. Yet, I always see him being so nice to the others. I get jealous at times because whenever I try to like him, Zenovia tried to explain to him, but she couldn't help but let a tear drop from her eyes to the ground. He just pushes me away. He doesn't care about me. Zenovia got herself back together and didn't let any more tears out of her eyes. And he never will. Zenovia said out of defeat. He's constantly reminding me that I'm ugly and I'm an ugly person to be seen with. She added. I don't think that. Mitsuda yelled as he stood up. I don't think that at all. You're probably the most beautiful person I've ever seen. And I want to go on a date with you. Mitsuda confessed to her. Zenovia was surprised by this. Her eyes lit up and she too got up from where she sat. Really? You think so? She asked him, wondering if he was lying or not. Do you really want to go on a date with me? Zenovia asked him. Yes. I do. I really do. Mitsuda said to her. Zenovia brought him in for a hug. Mitsuda accepted the hug. This is getting weird. I should probably go now. I said to myself. Just as I was about to leave. I heard them planning their date already. Does this Saturday work? Mitsuda asked her. Sure. Zenovia answered his question with a smile. Anyways, I need to get going. See you for our date. Zenovia waved as she ran home, away from Mitsuda. Yes. I did it. Mitsuda congratulated himself. I decided to head home after seeing that. I didn't sense anything going on, so I'm probably just going to let this go the way it's going. I'm Skip. I was in the kitchen preparing dinner for everyone. While I was doing so, I heard the door open. Not to my surprise, it was Zenobia. Not that I wanted to, but I tried to start a conversation with her. "Where were you?" I asked her. She ignored me and didn't answer my question. So you're not going to talk? I guess you don't want any dinner then," I said to her. "It's none of your business," Zenobia said to me. "You're probably the most beautiful person I've ever seen. And I want to go on a date with you," I said casually. Zenobia was shocked when she heard these words come out of my mouth. "How do you?" Zenobia wanted to know how I knew about Mitsuda's confession to her. "I guess you're not that ugly, huh? Someone actually likes you," I insulted her. "I just happened to be there the moment it happened. It's just a coincidence," I told Zenobia. "Oh," she said with her guard up. "If you think I'm going to stop you from going on your date, then you're wrong. If anything, good for you," I said to her. "You have someone to look out for you. Probably. All I'm going to say is that Mitsuda is half of the perverted duo. You might want to watch him. He could be looking at other girls," I warned her. She took my warning into consideration. "And by the way, what do you want to eat?" I asked her. "Oh. Don't worry about me," she said as she walked up to her room. I used my magic to levitate her back down to me. "Tell me what you want," I requested. Zenobia pondered for a moment. "I was thinking stir-fry vegetables with oyakudon." Zenobia said. I sighed for what I was going to say next. "You want to help me make it?" I said, pausing between a few words each before saying the next. "Oh sure. But I might get in the way," she said, trying not to be a burden. "Oh no. That's actually a good idea for dinner. Grab me the vegetables out of the refrigerator." I told her to get me the vegetables. She was able to remember all the vegetables needed to make it. She placed all of them on the counter. "Good. You know how to cut them?" I asked her. No. I've never cooked before," Zenobia admitted to me. "Sheesh, you're going on a date as a girl who doesn't know how to cook?" I face-palmed. "Surely, you know how to use the microwave," I said to her. "Yeah, I do," she said. "Of course you do. Anyone can use a microwave. Just grab the knife and I'll teach you how to use it," I told her. She grabbed a knife and awaited my instructions. "What now?" Zenobia asked me. "Well, first, don't hold it like that. Hold it like you hold a teacup. Minus the pinky finger sticking out." Zenobia guided her hands to do what I said with the knife. "Now hold it horizontally with the edge of the knife pointing to the counter. Not the tip, the edge," I instructed her. Zenobia did as I told her to do. "Is this good?" she asked me, wondering if she had the holding position of the knife correct. "Yeah. That's good. Now put the food on the counter. Put the knife over the food and press on the knife to cut the vegetables. Sound clear?" I asked her. She nodded and got started on chopping the vegetables. After watching her for a while, I saw that she's actually good at this. "Wow. You're doing better than I thought. I should probably get started also," I said as I walked to grab the ingredients for oyakudon out of the refrigerator. Me cooking with her actually went really well. I taught her a few other things to know about cooking. Like temperature, basic safety, and important things to consider when cooking. Things were going pretty well. Zenobia was pretty good at this. It was hard to believe that she had never ever cooked in her life. After an hour or two of just mixing ingredients and just keeping an eye on everything, dinner was finally done. Everybody sat at the table as I levitated everybody their corresponding plate of dinner. "Oh my, what do we have here?" Akeno said, added a laugh to her words. "It looks a lot different than what you usually make." "What is it?" Asia asked, excited to know what it was. "Well, looks like they actually like how it looks and smells, Zenobia. I guess I can commend you for that," I said to Zenobia who was sitting next to me. "Wait, Zenobia made this?" Riaz asked with a smile sprouting across her face. She suggested the idea and did most of the work. For a bitch who's never cooked in their life, she did pretty good. I just taught her how to use the utensils properly. So give it up for Zenobia, I guess. I sighed. First it was Kiba, then it was Asia, followed by Cherry and Riaz. They were all clapping at Zenovia's attempt at making this dinner for them. "Well done, Zenobia." Kiba congratulated her with his usual and well-known smile. "Great job, Zenobia." Asia was next to congratulate her. "Come on. At least try it before you congratulate her. For all you know, it could be the worst thing you've ever tasted," I suggested. I'm the one that helped her season everything. Everyone was taking bites of their food. It was safe to say that her oyakudons were a hit with everyone. Zenovia's face lit up as she watched everyone sigh with relief as they finished everything that was on their plate. "Wow. You all liked it?" Zenovia asked them. "Of course. It was delicious, Zenovia. Are you sure this is your first time cooking?" Riaz asked Zenovia. "Yeah. He just taught me how to cut and use the kitchen tools well," Zenovia said. "Aw. Is that it? I wanted more." Akeno whined, wishing there was going to be more dinner than there was. After Akeno whined, stating that she wanted more, everybody glared their eyes at me. I sighed and snapped my fingers, duplicating the food that was already eaten and multiplied the size. It's safe to say that everyone's stomach was satisfied after dinner. Time skip. During that dinner, everyone was going crazy, just wanting more. I kept on giving it to them. Why? Because they were asking for it. They eventually got their stomachs full of the stuff and just headed off to bed. Riaz, Cherry and Yurei were sleeping with me as usual. So? How was it? Riaz asked me. She wasn't that bad, I guess. But my opinion on her still hasn't changed. She's still just another piece of garbage that you picked up. I said, answering Riaz's question. Come on. You promised that you would get along with her. Riaz whined. Well then, you should have sealed it then. I whispered under my breath. What was that? Riaz asked me. Nothing. I answered her, avoiding her question. She didn't know what I meant. A seal is an absolute agreement made by two parties. We can use our rings to have Issei make us absolute promises. Cherry answered Riaz for me. Gosh. Why can't you ever just be asleep? I asked Cherry. I can't help it, I wanted to help her. Cherry answered. Just as I was about to say something, there was a knock at the door. Riaz walked out of bed naked and grabbed a towel to cover herself before she walked over to the door and opened it. I'm really sorry for waking you up like this, President Zenobia apologized. She was stammering and there were tears rolling down her cheeks. Riaz covered her mouth in shock. You better be sorry. If I was asleep and I was woken up like this, you'd be leaving this room in a body bag. I promised her. Issei. Riaz yelled at me. President. Can I please talk to you? Alone in my room? Zenobia requested. She seemed desperate. I don't trust a thing that you're saying. I'm coming with you. I announced as I was about to get up from the bed. Issei. Please. I promise that I'll be back. Riaz promised me, hoping that I was going to get back into the bed. Fine. If she does anything, I'll know. I said. Zenobia nodded shakily. Something is clearly wrong with her. Riaz and Zenobia exited the room. I decided that I wanted to keep whatever they were talking about to themselves and themselves only. I didn't want to intrude on Riaz's privacy. Oh that's horrible, that's so horrible, who would do such a thing? Riaz wondered. That was the only part of their conversation that I was able to catch. Riaz was sniffling as I heard her walk into the room. Tears were dropping from her face onto the floor. I levitated her to my embrace. She accepted my comforting embrace with open arms. What happened? I asked Riaz softly. That's so horrible, Riaz sniffled into my chest as I held her closer to me. Whatever the conversation was between Riaz and Zenobia, she didn't want to tell me. First Zenobia walked in the room crying, she takes Riaz for a moment and then she comes back crying. Issei, I want to make a seal with you. Riaz stated to me. I was surprised by hearing her say this, but it didn't affect my facial expression. What? I questioned her. Surely Zenobia must have done something to her. Please. I want to make a seal with you. I want to give me your absolute word that you won't hurt Zenobia. She requested as she began to tighten her embrace on me a little bit more. Riaz. I've said it multiple times, I was interrupted by Riaz. Well, I don't believe you. Riaz interrupted me by yelling at me as she threw off her towel aggressively. I want your absolute word. PP please, Riaz was shaking. She's afraid I might do something to her. Alright. I sighed. Riaz immediately lit up like a Christmas tree when I said this. Really? Riaz smiled. Of course. Clearly, you don't want me hurting her, and from what I'm guessing, she told you about an experience that was very personal to her. I guessed. Riaz nodded slightly towards my suggestion. Well, then. If that's what you want, then I'll do it. I said. We were both on top of the bed. Riaz was on top and I was on the bottom. I, Issei, hereby promise to Riaz Gremory that this seal will prevent me from doing any harm to Zenobia, so long as this seal is in effect. I chanted. Both of our rings on our fingers started to light up. I knew what it meant, but Riaz didn't. What's happening? Riaz wondered with a worried expression on her face. This means that it's almost done. We just have to seal the promise. I told Riaz. What? Seal it how? Riaz asked me. With a kiss. I revealed to her. Surprised by this, she turned away from me and began to blush. Don't want to? I asked her. No. I want to. It's just I wasn't expecting that to be have you guys sealed each other's promises. Riaz said. With all of that out of the way, Riaz slowly brought herself closer to me. Once I felt that we were close enough, I laid my lips on hers. Riaz closed her eyes to try and enjoy the kiss as she kissed me back. Our rings began to light up the entire room. Once the lights calmed down, so did our kiss. Well, now you have my complete word. I said as I guided Riaz, making her sit on my lap. Are you satisfied? I questioned Riaz. Yes, I am. But wow. Riaz paused her words. I looked down at her and waited for the next thing she was going to say. That kiss, it really made me dizzy. I don't even have the strength to move. Riaz admitted as fell deeper into my embrace. I see. You want to go to sleep? I asked her. She nodded softly and buried herself into my chest seeking for warmth. Cherry and Issei were holding onto each of my arms. The soft snores of 3 cute girls in my bed were heard throughout the room. Their snores would soon be accompanied by my own as I drifted off to sleep with them. Time skip, third person's POV. 2 days have passed since then. It's now the day of Zenobia and Mitsuda's date. Zenobia was nervous about it. She went shopping the day before with the girls to go find some outfits. Issei wasn't going to help her, so Issei and Cherry took his place. They all came back with a lot of outfits that were her size. Once they got back, they went up to her room to help her try on the outfits. Some were hits and some were misses. But the very last outfit that she put on was judged to be the best out of all of them. I like this one. Zenobia said. Same. Issei agreed with her. I have a feeling that this date is going to be awesome. Cherry said with a smile. Yeah. I hope so. This is my first time going on one. What should we talk about? Zenobia asked them. Just talk about yourselves. Tell each other about your lives. What kind of music you listen to. Don't worry. Your date isn't until tomorrow. Cherry assured Zenobia. While they were having their conversation, they heard the sound of someone running. All of a sudden, the door opened. Hey. Have any of you seen Irina? She ran off. Samu. Issei's words were paused as he got a look at what was happening in the room. Zenobia was wearing some date outfit and Cherry and Issei were assisting her with it. And I thought you couldn't get any more ugly. Never mind. I'll just look for her myself. Issei said to them as he closed the door and continued to search for his pet rabbit. Oh. Please don't mind what he says. We think you look beautiful. Right, Issei. Cherry assured Zenobia while asking Issei if she agreed with Cherry. Yes. Issei answered her. Thanks. By the way, who's Irina? Zenobia smiled and asked them a question. That's his pet rabbit. He named it after his best friend from his childhood. Pretty sweet, right? Cherry smiled, answering Zenovia's question. Time skip. It's now the day of the date. Zenobia was in her outfit while she had a perfume on her. Everyone stood at the door, wishing her good luck on her first date. Everything was going fine. She was fixing herself, made sure that she had everything prepared for her date. Good luck, Zenobia. Asia said to her. Make sure you have a good time. Kiba said with his signature smile. Don't get into any trouble. Akeno smiled. Issei suddenly walked out the front door and began to walk towards her. Things got dim for a moment and everyone went silent. Issei took his sweet time walking towards Zenova. Zenobia didn't move from her position. Soon, Issei was right in front of Zenobia. I've noticed that you don't have any money. Issei noticed. Issei then handed her a purse with a wallet full of cash. Zenobia was shocked by how much money there was inside of it. Inside that purse is about 400,000 yen. Come back safe, otherwise I won't have a punching bag anymore. Issei said threateningly. He walked back into the house without saying a word to anyone else. Oh my. Wasn't expecting that. Akeno smiled. I guess this is Issei trying to keep his promise. He could have done it without the threatening though. Riaz facepalmed. Well, I guess you'll be paying for everything then, Zenobia. Kaneko said to her. Yeah. Where does he get all this money from? Zenobia wondered as she took some of the money out of the wallet to show how much there was. Have a safe date. And try not to worry about that. Just make sure you have fun, okay? Riaz said to her. Got it. I will. I guess I have to go. I don't want to be late. Bye. Zenobia waved as she ran off into the road. Everyone waved back to as she ran off. Time skip. Mitsuda was sat waiting in the middle of the mall. He was wearing an all-white outfit with a tie. Despite being known as a pervert, he did have some class with him. He sat there for about a minute until he saw Zenobia running his way. Mitsuda. Zenobia waved at him as she ran closer to him. Zenobia. Is that you? Mitsuda asked her. Yes. It is. Why does this look bad to you? Zenobia asked with a blush on her face. This perfume. It smells so good. Mitsuda thought to himself with a perverted grin starting to spread across his face. Are you okay? You're making that face at me. Zenobia asked him out of concern. Mitsuda snapped himself out of his perverted thoughts. Yes. I'm fine. Come on. I have a place that I really want to take you to. Mitsuda said, grabbing onto her hand. Oh. Sure. But where are you taking me? Zenobia asked him. Mitsuda started to guide her to where he was going. Zenobia made sure to keep up with him. The mall was a big place, so they had to run for about 3 minutes. Okay. We're here. I really want to show you this place. I eat here all the time. It's amazing. Mitsuda said, speaking highly of the restaurant they were walking into. Zenobia followed Mitsuda into the restaurant. Mitsuda had already made a reservation for the two of them. Zenobia followed Mitsuda to the spot that he reserved for them. "Have a seat," Mitsuda offered. Zenobia accepted his offer and sat down in the chairs next to them. "I've never been here before. It's pretty nice," Zenobia said. The waiter came around to take their order. "What would you like?" the waiter asked them. "Can I have the scallops?" "I've never heard of those," Zenobia requested. "Sure. And what will you be having?" he asked him. "I'll have the usual," Mitsuda answered him. "Okay then. I'll be back with your orders when they are ready." The waiter then ran off to get their orders ready. While that was going on, Mitsuda turned his head towards Zenobia. Zenobia received a tip from Cherry that it's good to show interest in who you're dating by trying to look into their eyes, so she did the same. "So, Zenobia, how has your day been going?" Mitsuda asked her. "It's been going pretty well. I got to go on my first date with a guy," Zenobia answered, showing a little bit of excitement in her voice. "Really? Is this that special to you?" Mitsuda asked her. "Yes, it is. Everyone's been giving me their support since I've gotten here." "Well, almost everyone," Zenobia said to him, referring to Issei. "Oh." Mitsuda looked down at the table. "He told me to watch over you because you could be looking at other girls," Zenobia said in a rather serious tone. Mitsuda's facial expression changed to one of being surprised and freaked out. "Oh. Sorry, I didn't mean for it to sound like that," Zenobia said with a blush appearing on her face out of embarrassment. "Oh no. I know my reputation isn't really the best. After all, Issei gave me and Motohama an ass whooping for it." Mitsuda laughed a little. "Oh. Really?" Zenobia asked, interested in the topic. "Yeah. Here's how that happened. Issei just came back to school and we had all of our classes together. He caught looking at his girlfriends in a weird way and we said some pretty perverted things to them. We got our asses kicked for it. I'm not even joking. He beat us up so bad that we got sent to the hospital," Mitsuda yelled, gathering attention from everyone dining in the restaurant. "Oh heh. Sorry, everyone." Mitsuda apologized to everyone at the restaurant. "Wow. From how big Issei, that should have been your first sign not to mess with him," Zenobia joked with him. "Yeah. He has muscle like I've never seen. And he's like 10 feet tall. I stood no chance. Plus, I did kind of get what was coming to me." Mitsuda chuckled a little. "Did you?" Zenobia asked. "Yeah. I'm half of the perverted duo, so that alone defines me. After we got our asses kicked for ogling Issei's girls, Issei would then hold a huge grudge against us and I'm pretty sure he still does," Mitsuda explained to them. "He sure knows how to hold a grudge," Zenobia confirmed. "Enough about that, though. What kind of music are you into?" Mitsuda asked, moving on to a different subject. "I don't really listen to music," Zenobia answered his question. "Oh. Well, I listen to," Mitsuda was interrupted by the waiter. "Your food is ready," the waiter said as he was holding their plates of food. The waiter placed their plates of food in front of them. "Thank you." Zenobia thanked the waiter. Mitsuda did the same. Mitsuda looked towards Zenobia's food, wondering if she was going to like it. "Oh. So this is a scallop. They look good." Zenobia picked a piece with her hand and put it in her mouth. When she closed her mouth and began to chew, the juice from the scallop began to spill onto her tongue. Zenobia squealed as the flavor of the scallop didn't leave until she swallowed it. "From that, I'm guessing it was good. Right?" Mitsuda asked her. "Yes. Very good." Zenobia told him as she put another scallop in her mouth. "I told you this place was good," Mitsuda said as he cut his fish down into pieces and ate them one by one. They both ate what they ordered respectively. They were moaning at how good their food was, but it wasn't so loud that everybody could hear it. As soon as they finished their meals, the waiter came by with a check. Mitsuda picked it up to read how much the cost was. "What? 20,000 yen. I only have 16,000. Mitsuda said as he looked into his wallet to confirm it. "Oh. Here. I'll pay," Zenobia said, pulling out her wallet. "Oh. I feel ashamed. Letting a girls pay for my meal," Mitsuda said. "What was that?" Zenobia said, starting to get a little mad. "Oh, no. I didn't mean it like that. It's just, I wanted to be the one to pay for everything." Mitsuda simplified it for her. "Don't worry. I have money. I can pay for it," Zenobia assured him. She put the cash needed to pay for the meal and then they left. Mitsuda led Zenobia to a game arcade after their meal. "Wow. It's so colorful," Zenobia said as she looked around at all the games. "Come on." Mitsuda led her to a strength tester machine. "What's this?" Zenobia asked her. "It's a strength tester game. You hit the punching bag as hard as you can and a score will come up showing how strong you are." Mitsuda coached her on how the game worked. Zenobia nodded to his instructions. She got her fist ready and launched her fist towards the punching bag. Zenobia ended hitting the punching bag so hard that it ricocheted off of where it was hanging and hit Mitsuda in the face multiple times. "Oh. Are you okay?" Zenobia got down to help Mitsuda up off the floor. Yes, thanks. I'm good. But look at your score. Mitsuda screamed. The scoreboard showed that Zenobia hit the punching bag so hard it got her into the 4000s. Is that good? Zenobia asked, clueless of what the score meant. It means you're crazy strong. It's probably best if I don't get into a fight with her. Mitsuda thought to himself. Mitsuda. Come on. Let's go try that game over there. Zenobia said as she grabbed him by his hand and led him to a hockey game. Zenobia and Mitsuda laughed together as they went around and played every game in the arcade. To them, it didn't really matter who was the winner or who was the loser. They were just two teenagers having fun. Soon, the end of the game came. Mitsuda ended up buying Zenobia a huge pig plushie with the last bit of money he had. Wow. Thanks Mitsuda. No one's really ever bought me anything as a gift before. Zenobia told Mitsuda as she gave the huge pig plushie a squeeze. No problem. Say, you wanna head back to my house? Mitsuda asked Zenobia. Oh? Sure. Why not? The day's not over just yet. Zenobia smiled as she answered Mitsuda's question. Zenobia followed Mitsuda back to her house. Mitsuda was nervous but wanted to ask Zenobia a question. Hey Zenobia. Mitsuda started by getting her attention. Which he did successfully. Can we hold hands? Mitsuda asked her. Oh. Wasn't expecting that. Zenobia was a little surprised by Mitsuda's request. Yes. I want to hold hands with you. Zenobia answered the affirmative to his request. She put her hand out to him while she continued to squish the plushie against her with her other hand. Mitsuda lit up with happiness as he interlocked his hand with hers. A smile spread across Mitsuda's face. Soon, they ended up at Mitsuda's front door. Mitsuda unlocked the door and held the door open for Zenobia first. Ladies first. Mitsuda said with a grin on his face. Thanks. Zenobia walked into her house. Sadly, my parents aren't home. I wanted you to meet them. You should probably go and clean yourself up. Wash your hands, you know. He said to Zenobia. Zenobia nodded and went upstairs to find the bathroom. Perhaps I should have told her where it was. She'll be fine. Mitsuda thought to himself. I should probably head up to my room and wait for Zenobia. Mitsuda said as he walked up the stairs to his room. When he got to his room, he instantly went towards the mirror to check to see if there was anything out of place. He opened his mouth to check if there was anything stuck in between her teeth. Oh, thank God. Mitsuda said. He then heard something wiggling around in his closet. He slowly inched his way over to the closet. He grabbed a broom that was in the corner of his room and continued to approach the closet. What the fuck is that? Mitsuda thought to himself. He eventually reached the closet. He opened it as fast as he could and was about to start attacking whoever was in there, but stopped when he saw who it was. Motohama. What are you doing here? Mitsuda asked him in a serious tone of voice. Nothing. I just thought I'd come to see my boyfriend. Motohama answered him with a sheepish smile spreading across his face. I'm on a date. You know that we have to keep our relationship a secret from everyone. We don't want them to know that we're in a relationship. Mitsuda said in a worried tone of voice. I know. But I just had to see your face one last time. Motohama said as he cupped Mitsuda's cheek. I know. I promise you that there will be a time that we can announce our status to everyone. Mitsuda made a promise to Motohama. Hey Mitsuda. What are we going to do now? Zenobia's words slowed down as she got a good look at what was happening. As if the timing couldn't get any worse. Zenobia. This isn't what it looks like, I promise you. Mitsuda yelled, flailing his hands in the air, trying to not let her get the wrong idea. Oh. I see. So you thought I would never guess what's happening here, Zenobia said to her. I can't believe you did this for our first date. You decided to bring your friend over so we could all have fun. Zenobia confirmed. Mitsuda and Motohama just looked at each other confused but happy that Zenobia was so stupid. Time passes by. Zenobia, Motohama and Mitsuda were playing a board game. To be exact, they were playing Chutes and Ladders. Zenobia was the winner of the game. Yes. I won. Zenobia celebrated. Mitsuda and Motohama just looked at each other. They were both sad, but they knew it was going to go this way. Zenobia. I have something to tell you. Mitsuda said, gaining her attention. What is it? Zenobia asked him. I've actually already been in a relationship while I was dating you. Mitsuda admitted. Yeah. You're in a relationship with me. Zenobia said to him. No. The thing is I'm actually bisexual. I'm in love with Motohama. Mitsuda revealed to her. Zenobia started to go really quiet as she was letting what was happening sink in. Oh. So you were just using me? Zenobia questioned Mitsuda. Yeah. Exactly that. I'm really sorry for trying to use you. Mitsuda apologized to her. So you never liked me? Zenobia asked him. Mitsuda was too ashamed of himself to answer any more of her questions. Zenobia could tell that the hard and cold silence meant yes. So this gift you bought for me didn't mean anything? Zenobia asked him. Zenobia was doing all she could to hold in her tears. You were just using me to hide your true Hexuli? Zenobia asked him. I put this on for you. You took me to the arcade just for me to find out it doesn't mean anything to you. Zenobia put her hand out towards them. Mitsuda was confused and afraid about what she was going to say next. I mean, Zenobia said coldly and slightly. Thanks for the worst date ever. Zenobia yelled to him as she ran out of his house. Zenobia, why? Don't ever talk to me again. Zenobia exploded as she slammed the front door when she left. Zenobia just ran and didn't look back. Time skip. Zenobia eventually landed herself at the house. She unlocked the door and let herself in. The first things that she saw were Issei, his pet rabbit on his shoulder, Asia, Riaz, Akeno and Kaneko on the couch, and Kiba was out in the backyard training. Upon her arrival to the house, tears were streaming down her cheeks, ruining her eye makeup. Oh, my gosh. Zenobia. What happened to you? Riaz asked as she ran towards the door where Zenobia was. Riaz was accompanied by Akeno, Asia and Kaneko. It was horrible. He used me, President. All he was doing was using me. Zenobia exclaimed as more tears ran down her cheeks. Hey Zenobia. You and that pig plushie look exactly alike. I guess you made a new friend on your date, huh? Issei insulted her. Issei. Now is not the time for those kinds of jokes. Look at her. Riaz yelled at Issei. Unfortunately, Issei had his headphones on and he was listening to music. It was the worst first date ever. Zenobia said with anger deep in her voice. Hey, cheer up. At least he was right about one thing. You are pretty. Issei said as he walked up to her. Kiba, Yurei and Cherry heard what was happening and came to see it. Kiba came back from his training in the backyard. Really? Zenobia stammered with her words, hoping what Issei was saying is true. Pretty ugly. Issei insulted her. Zenobia began to sob really hard as she ran to her room to isolate herself from everybody. Issei. Come on. That was so mean. Kiba scolded me. Meanie? Kaneko added. Come on, Issei. I get that you don't like her, but at least cut her some slack. She just went through the worst experience of her life. No girl should have to go through a bad first date. Cherry also joined in scolding Issei. Issei didn't say anything. He just walked forward towards the door. Issei. Where are you going? Riaz yelled at Issei, wondering why he was leaving. Hey, Asia, Akeno. Do me a favor and continue cooking dinner, please. Issei requested, in a cold, deep and scary manner. Sure. Asia said as she ran to the pot, followed by Akeno. Issei, you're doing that thing again. Where are you going? Riaz asked him, scared of what his answer was going to be. Issei turned towards Riaz, revealing that blood was streaming down his cheeks once again. Riaz muttered his name under her breath. Don't worry about where I'm going. I'll be back. Issei promised her. Issei closed the door behind him. Riaz, Kiba, Yurei, Cherry and Kaneko were left wondering what was going to happen. Riaz decided to forget about it and went upstairs to comfort Zenobia. Time skip. Motohama and Mitsuda were sitting in the room playing some perverted game for adults. They were both enjoying each other's company. All of a sudden, Mitsuda heard a knock at the door. I got it. He announced as he got up from his seat and went to go open the door. However, when he opened the door, he was met with a super buff, 8-foot-tall man holding a large baseball bat. Hey. Issei greeted Mitsuda with blood streaming down his face. Mitsuda gulped out of fear. Time skip. Everybody was at the dinner table, eating in their own plates. Well, everyone except Zenobia. She was called down to eat, but she wasn't eating. Zenobia was still sad from what happened. When the door opened, everyone turned to see Issei holding a baseball bat with blood covering the whole thing with a little bit of blood staining his shirt. I'm back. Issei said, acting casual. I'm back my ass. Issei, what happened and where did you go? Riaz asked Issei. Nothing to worry about. Issei threw his bat to the side and removed his shirt. He then took a seat at the table next to Zenobia. Hey. You know, there are a lot more worse things than what happened to you tonight. You know, some people are gaped as kids. Truly a horrible experience that I hope never happens to anyone. Issei said to Zenobia. Zenobia didn't say anything. She just got up from her chair and went to her room. That's it. I've had enough. Issei. Why are you being so insensitive towards Zenobia? Riaz exploded at Issei. Issei wasn't even going to get the chance to speak. I don't want to hear it. I want you go upstairs and comfort her right now. Riaz demanded of Issei. And what if I don't? Issei asked her, retaliating to what she was saying. How about I don't ever sleep with you ever again? And the next time we have Hex, I'm going to crush your balls. Riaz said in a cold, threatening and angry tone of voice. Everyone at the table oohed at what she said. I'm sorry you have to hear this, Asia. Issei apologized to Asia. Issei sighed. Issei knew that he was being insensitive towards her, but he didn't stop. Issei gulped down everything on his plate in less than 5 seconds and let out a huge burp. "Excuse me." Issei said to excuse his massive burp. "Fine. I'll do it." Issei said as he headed up to Zenovia's room. "Oh my, Rias. It seems you were able to tame the Red Dragon Emperor." Okeno said in a seducing tone of voice as she smiled. He's just so mean to her. "Come on. Let's finish up so we can head to bed." Rias demanded everyone to finish what was on their plate. Issei knocked on Zenovia's door. He could hear Zenobia sobbing from the inside. "Come in," Zenobia said. Issei let himself into the room and closed the door behind him. Zenobia was sobbing into her pillow hard. If she took her face off of that pillow, she would be letting out sobs that could wake up God from the dead. Issei took a seat beside her. Issei then put his hand onto her shoulder. Zenobia shook his hand off forcefully. "Don't touch me. You hate me, don't you? Isn't this what you wanted to happen to me? Are you happy?" Zenobia screamed into her pillow even more. Issei grabbed her by her waist and placed her on his lap. "I guess I have been really mean to you, haven't I?" he asked her. "Look. The reason I've been mean to you was because I saw you as someone who tried to hurt someone close to me. I guess Rias was right. You are changing. You haven't even tried to hurt Asia once. I guess I should change too," Issei said. Zenobia stopped sobbing and looked up to Issei to hear what he was going to say next. "You see, Asia's one of the nicest people that I know. She's had people try to take things from her and she was branded as a heretic for having a power many would kill to have. She was almost killed for her sacred gear. Asia's been through so much, yet she has such a pure soul. She'll forgive anybody, no matter how big their sin is." Issei explained what happened with Asia. "Asia doesn't deserve anything that's happened to her. She deserves a life better than this," Issei added. "And you tried to kill her. I guess that alone was it for me," Issei said to her. "I've been through a lot too, you know," Zenobia said. "I was gaped as a kid. I got lost one day and this man led me to a dark alley. Where him and his friends did as they wanted with me. I was only 7 at the time. They took away my first time from me. They basically ruined me. I screamed for help, yet no one came. I was broken for days. I decided not to tell anyone what happened. I thought that no one would believe me." Zenobia began to sob again. "Wow. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. I can tell that you're being genuine with me. I'm really sorry that happened to you," Issei apologized. "It's fine. It happened a long time ago." Zenobia sobbed into Issei's chest. "That doesn't matter. Whether it happened a long time ago or whether it happened yesterday, gape is still gape. And I'm really sorry you had to go through all of that." Issei apologized to her again. "And I'm sorry for being so mean to you." Issei gave her a hug. Not a hug she wanted, but a hug she both wanted and needed. Zenobia, of course, embraced him back. "And I was wrong. I guess you are one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen," Issei revealed to her. Zenobia tightened her embrace on Issei after hearing that. "Wow. I guess you really wanted to hear that, didn't you?" Issei asked, teasing her with a question. Yeah, I have. What took you so long, criminal dragon emperor?" Zenobia returned the teasing to Issei. "Why do you call me that?" Issei asked her. "Because you're a criminal," Zenobia said with a smile. "Well, I'm sorry for everything I've put you through. If you don't want to forgive me, then that's fine," Issei said to her. "No. I forgive you. I 100% forgive you," Zenobia said to her. "And come on. Wipe those tears away. It ruined your makeup," Issei said as he put his hand on her cheek to wipe some of the makeup marks off of her face. "HMPH. Thanks." Zenobia thanked him. "Are you okay now?" Issei asked Zenobia. "Yes. Thanks to you," Zenobia said as she pushed Issei into the bed. "What? You want to sleep together or something?" Issei asked Zenobia. "Yes. I do, criminal dragon emperor." Zenobia made Issei embrace her from behind as they sunk into the sheets. "He did it. He finally noticed me. He knows that I exist. I'm so happy." Zenobia thought to herself as she enjoyed the warmth that Issei was generating from his body. "Anything else you want?" Issei asked her. "Well, I was hoping that you would say something along the lines of Zenobia, I promise to make sure that you always stay safe or something like that. But you don't have to. Us being like this is enough," Zenobia told Issei with a blush on her face. "Zenobia. I promise you that from the bottom of my heart that I will always protect you." "That good?" Issei said to Zenobia. "Yes. Really good." Zenobia answered Issei's question. "Time skip." "Osh, Issei. Where are you?" Rias wondered as she got out of the bed too and looked for Issei around the house. It was late at night and usually Issei would be in bed by now. Rias searched around, peeking in everyone's room to try and find him. Where haven't I checked? Zenovia's room maybe?" Rias went up to Zenovia's room. She opened the door and to her surprise, Zenovia was asleep with Issei watching her. Issei noticed that Riaz opened the door. Riaz walked over to Issei. "I've been waiting for you, you know." Riaz teased him. "Sorry. I was a little occupied." Issei said as he looked down at the sleeping knight of Gremory. As Issei was getting up, he felt something pulling him down. "Issei, are you leaving already?" Zenobia asked as she was half sleepy. "Yeah. I have to head back to my own bed," Issei told her. "Well, can I ask for just one more thing then?" Zenobia asked him. "Sure. What is it?" Issei asked her, letting Zenobia give him her request. "See, can I have a kiss?" Zenobia said with half of her face buried in her pillow. "Sure." Issei said as he brought her face up to him. Issei laid his lips on her own. It took a moment, but Zenobia returned the kiss. They shared a passionate 30-second kiss. Zenobia was sad when their lips had to part, but the kiss left a smile on her face. "Thanks." Zenobia thanked him. "No problem. Come on, Riaz." Issei said as he took Riaz into his arms. "I can't believe it. Looks like you can get through to anyone." Riaz said. "Well, I guess it is like that. I don't know how though." Issei said as he closed the door to his room. "Please don't crush my balls." Issei pleaded nonchalantly. "I'm Skip. Tell everyone, or else I will myself." Issei threatened Mitsuda. Right now, Mitsuda was in a wheelchair because his legs were broken. Flashback, Motohama and Mitsuda were sitting in the room playing some perverted game for adults. They were both enjoying each other's company. All of a sudden, Mitsuda heard a knock at the door. "I got it," he announced as he got up from his seat and went to go open the door. However, when he opened the door, he was met with a super buff, 8-foot-tall man holding a large baseball bat. "Hey." Issei greeted Mitsuda with blood streaming down his face. Mitsuda gulped out of fear. Issei let himself into the house. He slammed the door shut. "Issei. Please let's talk Abu, Aya." Mitsuda screamed as Issei swung his baseball bat towards his legs, instantly shattering his bones. "What's happening?" "Ah." Motohama screamed and put his hands onto his head, panicking. "I don't have an issue with you. Just stay away and we won't have a problem," Issei told him. Motohama nodded and slowly made his way back upstairs. "How could you do that to Zenobia? I should kill you. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell everyone that you fell down the stairs and broke your legs. If you tell anyone what happened here, I'll make sure that no one will ever know that you went missing," Issei promised them. "It's because we're bi, isn't it?" Mitsuda asked him. Issei swung his bat at his legs. Mitsuda screamed once again. "You seriously think that's why I'm doing this? I'm doing this because you hurt Zenobia. I could care less if you're bisexual. This was Zenovia's first date. Yet you ruined it for your own selfish desire to try and keep everybody off your ass about whether you like guys or not. Don't you see how selfish that is? You ruined somebody else's first date," Issei asked him. Mitsuda looked down at his legs and the ground in shame. He knew that Issei was in the right and he was in the wrong. "So what are you going to do to me?" Mitsuda asked, shaking and afraid to look Issei in his bloody eyes. "I'm going to make you say what you did to the entire school. I think that's a good enough punishment. I mean, unless you want me to kill you," Issei said to him. Mitsuda nodded to Issei's first suggestion. "Okay. Then it's settled. See you at school, scumbag. And you might want to visit a hospital," Issei suggested as he left Mitsuda with his broken legs and blood on the floor. Flashback over. "No. I'll do it. Excuse me, everyone," Mitsuda said to gain everyone's attention. All the girls were now paying attention to what he was going to say. "I used Zenobia and ruined her first ever date," Mitsuda admitted. Everyone gasped in shock. Zenobia was new to the school still, so this shocked a lot of people. "Why did you do it?" Issei asked him. "Because I wanted to hide the fact that I had a boyfriend by pretending I only liked girls," Mitsuda revealed to them. The entire kendo club of girls was pissed off at him. They didn't care if he was bisexual or not. He ruined Zenobia's first date. With Motohama pushing his wheelchair, the entire kendo club chased them throughout the hallway. While all of this was happening, Zenobia walked up to where Issei was standing and gave him a tight hug. "Thanks for doing that," Zenobia said with a smile. Issei sighed and hugged her back. "You're welcome, I guess." Issei accepted her thanks. The occult research club and the student council watched the scene from the sides. "So sweet," Kiba commented. "Issei is very evil. But, Issei is also very nice." Kaneko smiled. "You've got that right. Now, back to work." Sona commanded her peerage. "Yes, President." The student council ran back to the council office to do their work. "Come on. Let's let them have their moment," Ria said as she got everyone away from Issei and Zenobia. Those two hugged for about 4 minutes. After the hug was done, Zenobia took Issei's hand. "Can I hold your hand?" she asked him. "Sure." Issei's hand interlocked with her own. They both took their sweet time walking to the occult research club room. "I'm so happy. Really. I'm so happy," Zenobia thought to herself as a smile went across her face. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.